Before I mention any of these cards, I'll let y'all know that we will be doing a rating system. So if you type in exclamation point ratings into the chat, into the Twitch chat, you will see what we have personally given these cards. But before we get into any cards, Bloodyface, what is your overall impression of this set? Thematic wise, card wise, what's going through your mind right now?
So when I looked at the new set, I always look at it in the context of the old metagame. In the old metagame, we had Quest Druid and Quest Shaman being like infinite value decks, and we also had aggressive decks like Combo Priest and Highland Hunter. I think the biggest winners of this new set are going to be the Highland Hunter aggro decks because they just get more tools to play with. There's some like really sweet value dragons. And I think also in addition, the Galakron and the dragons, there are enough support that I think we'll end up seeing at least one or two of those end up being tier 1.
Okay, awesome, perfect. I guess we'll have to, look back after we review these cards individually and see, what classes may have gained the edges. But I guess let's just stop talking about other stuff. Let's get into the cards. Let's see what people were here to see. First class we have on the table is Warrior. We're going to go class by class, review the class afterwards, and then get on into your neutral cards. So first we have Warrior, and let's jump right into the first card. It is a common card called Sky Raider, 1 mana, 1/2 pirate. Battle cry, add a random pirate to your hand. So Pirate Warrior maybe back on the table, Bloodyface.
Yeah, I think in order to evaluate this card, you kind of have to look at pirates overall for warrior class. And just doing a quick glance through the collection, there actually aren't any other there aren't any other pirate warriors. So, in the past, it's mostly been rogues that's been supported by pirates. So in this expansion, it's kind of strange to me that they're all of a sudden kind of pushing pirates onto warrior. But I think this card alone is like kind of like a little bit like Sky Pharaoh or the Pharaoh Cat from the Rogue class, the 1 mana 1/2 that gives you Reborn. It doesn't give you like a super good minion, but at least gives you like a decent value, and it's a nice little 1-drop. So
Yeah.
it's not going to make or break the archetype, but if Pirate Warrior does end up being a thing, this will be a staple for sure.
Makes sense. I mean, it's just like a little search engine for pirates. They didn't really have that in the past. Most of the times it would just, be relying off the top of the deck. I mean, you get this into something else. Maybe it gets you closer to one of your weapons or something else. So it definitely has potential, but you're right. They have been pushing pirates in a different direction than they typically have. So I guess on a scale of 1 to 5, what are you giving this?
I'm giving it a 2 for now. My ratings are more based on the context of the current metagame, not necessarily in future ratings, but this card could end up going up if pirates get more support.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I think a solid 2 is in order because, this card, like you said, is definitely playable, but we have to see in the future what it's going to turn into. Maybe the more better pirates will be coming out. So next card we've got is a 3 mana spell for the warrior class, Awaken. And it reads, invoke Galakron, deal 1 damage to all minions. So a pretty expensive whirlwind, but you do get to invoke Galakron.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Galakron and Warrior is that it has to directly compete with Dr. Boom. And it's kind of hard to compete with that when Dr. Boom's hero power, in my opinion, is just a little bit better. Warrior also already has like insane AoE. It has Plague of Wrath, Brawl, and Warpath. I don't really think Awaken's going to compete for that slot. Invoking Galkaron is like it's decent, but like, is it really going to be end up worth overthrowing the previous iterations of Warrior? I'm kind of like pretty doubtful on that.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Like you said, the thing with Warrior is it really wants to like use its removal efficiently, and if you're paying 3 mana to deal Whirlwind, I guess it boils down to how much mana is invoking Galakron worth, right? Is it worth 2 mana? I'm gonna say probably not. I don't think so. And I think Warrior might be one of the weaker Galakrons if I remember correctly, but only time will tell. I'm gonna have to give this a 1. I don't really see this being played unless Warrior needs like an invoke Galakron card.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually think some of the neutral invoke Galakron cards are stronger than this one.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on how strong invoking Galakron is. You don't want to really be too mad. We'll go to the next card. We got a Evil Quartermaster, 3 mana 2/3, battle cry, add a lackey to your hand, gain 3 armor. So multiple battle cries on this card, and I'll show you the lackeys, all of them real quick. We do have a new lackey coming into play. It's called a Draconic Lackey. It is a 1 mana 1/1, of course. Battle cry, discover a dragon. So what's your feelings about this card? Looks like a pretty decent tempo tool while gaining armor.
Yeah, I mean, Highlander Warrior has been like a pretty decent deck in the past, and I'm not sure if this is really something they want. They're usually trying to get more on the board early on. This card doesn't really generate all that much tempo, like it replaces itself, but I wouldn't say it's super strong. The 3 armor can end up being relevant. To me, this card is something that's good. It's kind of like your 28th, 29th, 30th card in Highlander Warrior. And I think it comes down to how the meta shakes out. If the meta ends up being more tempo and aggressive, then this card's great because it's just something you can play on curve. The armor becomes relevant. But in a lot of matchups, the armor is just not going to matter that much. I think it's definitely playable, but I think I give it like a 2.
Yeah, it's kind of rough to evaluate this card because, like you said, I mean, maybe in a Highlander deck, I definitely don't think you're ever putting 2 of this card into any of your Warrior decks. It's like really situational, especially with Highlander Warrior. They really want to like do tempo plays, and this isn't like quite tempo enough. I mean, gaining 3 armor. I mean, like you said, and like people have said in the past, if you're hero powering as Highlander Warrior, you're doing something wrong. I'm gonna have to give this a 1. I don't quite seeing it even making the cut in Highlander Warrior. I guess it depends on how good getting that lackey to your hand is, but you know, really tough to evaluate some of these cards so far without seeing, the whole ecosystem. So we saw the lackeys earlier. We're going to go into the next one. Ritual Chopper. It is a 2-mana weapon. 2-mana 1/2, 1 attack, 2 durability. Battlecry, Invoke Galakrond. So pretty weak for its stat line.
Yeah, I don't know why they made this so weak. Like, even if it was 1 mana, would it have really been that big of a deal? Um, yeah, I don't know. This is a 1 from me.
I think you're being generous over there. I wish we. I think they told us, scale of 1 to 5, but I guess in the spirit of the holidays, I'll give it a 1.
Like, are you actually going to attack minions with this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you just going to hit face twice?
And it's not even like, I mean, maybe they could have made it a little bit better by saying, like, if you swing with this weapon, you invoke Galakrond, but it's not even that. Maybe they're worried, some upgrade Ritual Chopper shenanigans. They just invoke Galakrond 3 times, over the course of the game. But nah, I don't really see this card seeing play. Alrighty, we'll move on to the next one then. 3-mana 2/5 Mech, Sky Barge. After you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So I'm getting some real Ship's Cannon feel over here.
Yeah, I think this is Ship's Cannon fix. Ship's Cannon was like a really insane payoff for pirates and even sees play in Wild to this day. Which, if it sees play in Wild, it's a really insane card. I think this card is a little bit more fair. 3 mana doesn't come down as often. But like at the same time, its power level is going to be highly dependent on the rest of the pirate cards. And yeah, I tried building Pirate Warrior and it didn't feel that strong. So I don't know. I give this a 2.
Yeah, this one, a lot of these cards, like especially for the warrior class, seems dependent on what the other cards can do for it, especially the pirate engine. So I do like that they're kind of reintroducing, pirates in the past. I mean, I was a personal huge pirate warrior fan. I'm sure you were too, bloodyface.
Yeah. I like to win.
Yeah, I know, right?
I like to win and go face.
But this, unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's going to be doing either of those. I'm going to have to give it a 2, though, because on the slim chance that there's some pirate mid-range deck, this card could be good. All right, let's see what we got next on the table. 4-mana spell, Molten Breath. This is a rare card. Deal 5 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, gain 5 armor. So a little bit situational for the gain 5 armor, but it will always deal 5 damage to a minion. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, if your deck is built reliably to have a dragon in your hand, this card's pretty insane. Bash was a warrior staple for a long time. That was 3 mana, deal 3, gain 3 armor. I mean, this card's a little bit less flexible. Actually, no. It's only 4 mana. Yeah, for only 1 more mana, you deal 2 more damage. Plus, like, the floor on it's really low, right? Like, it's always going to deal 5 damage to a minion no matter what. Bash could go face, which was, like, relevant sometimes, but I kind of like the extra damage on a minion more. I think this card's really solid. It actually might help make the dragon warrior archetype. I would give it a 3.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty decent control tool. Like you were saying, like a lot of times you want to compare these newer cards to older cards of the past to seeing how they were performing in the past. So being 1 more mana than Bash and doing effectively 2 more damage and gaining 2 more life, even though it is a little bit situational with holding a dragon, like you said, if you build a dragon deck, you probably will have a dragon in your hand. I do like this card. I don't think it's like meta defining. I don't think it's super solid. But in a Dragon Control Warrior, I feel like you putting in 1 to 2 copies of this. So I'd have to agree with a 3. Pretty solid cards so far. I mean, the Warrior class, I think, your one so far.
I feel like Warriors usually more straightforward to evaluate. They don't really like. It's tricky when you get to classes like Shaman, for example, where the cards get a little bit more wacky. Warriors usually just about killing minions. So
that's fair. That makes sense. Either killing minions or killing your opponent's face. Only 2 things Warriors ever done. All right, your next one is 3-mana spell, Ramming Speed. This is an epic spell. We're getting into epics now. Force a minion to attack one of its neighbors. So, you got that Super Collider effect on a spell now, rather than swinging. Interesting that it's 3 mana. Do you think that's too expensive? Do you think that's not enough? Like, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's appropriately costed. I think 2 would actually make it very, very strong. And I think 4 would make it unplayable. 3 is kind of the sweet spot. To me, Super Collider is a very polarizing card. There's some matchups like against Quest Druid where knocking 2 Oasis Surgers together is insane. But part of what makes Super Collider so strong is that it just sits there and play, and it forces your opponent to play around it constantly. Whereas with Ramming Speed, it's just a one-time effect. It can be powerful, but it lacks that. It doesn't really force your opponent to like play too differently out of their game plan. So, I mean, as long as Super Collider's in play, I think Super Collider's just going to be a better option. So I give this a 1.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, the thing is with these cards is like you can always play around. Super Collider, it's got 3 charges. So effectively, if this mechanic, like it says, is worth 3 mana, Super Collider is a 5 mana worth of 9 mana stuff. Like that's pretty crazy. So
you can also develop it too. Like if you just, as Warrior, sometimes you just have nothing to do. You can just play your Super Collider and just develop it. Like with this, it just rots in your hand if you can't use it for a turn.
That's true. And you've got cards like Molten Breath. Like why would you want to use another removal spell? And a Super Collider can go face. This can't. So
that has been relevant. Yeah.
It's won a couple tournaments or 2. I'm gonna have to give that a 1 as well. I don't really see the applications for it, but I do like how they're experimenting with this kind of cleave mechanic and forcing neighbors to attack, making you think a little bit more when you're playing the game. Alrighty, next epic is a minion, is a 3-mana 3/2 Scion of Ruin. It has Rush and Battle Cry. The Battle Cry is if you've invoked twice, summon 2 copies of this. It is also a dragon. So quite a bit going on with this card right here.
Yeah, specifically with Galakron's ability, he draws minions out of your deck and gives them +4/+4. So this kind of works synergistically with that. If you're already invoked twice, you're more likely to draw this. It'll be a 7/6, and 3 mana for 2 7/6 rushes is the ceiling, which is insanely powerful. The floor is pretty low as well. 3 mana just for 3 damage. Since it does rush, it's basically a removal spell. It can be tutored with Town Crier as well. Unless you're reliably getting buffs on it, I don't think it's going to be too strong. And if you're not playing it with Galakron, you have stronger rush options and Militia Commander and Restless Mummy. So it kind of fits in this weird in-between place where it's only going to make the cut if you're exactly playing Galakron and you're also playing... it's I don't know. Whenever I try to build Warrior Galakron, it's I just keep asking myself, why am I playing this over Dr. Boom? Is it for the tempo? Is it for the effect? I mean, getting +4/+4 and some minions in your deck can only be so good sometimes. It's not going to reliably win you the game, in my opinion. So
yeah, that's true. Especially when the game gets that late. If you're in that late stage of the game, if you're against an aggro deck, you're probably already winning. It doesn't really, like, what are the extra stats going to do on a minion if it's in another control deck? Well, stats really don't matter against control decks. It's more so the effects like an Elysiana or something like that. So it definitely is interesting to see where this card is, because I think it has potential, but I mean, we've got other powerful cards, like you were saying, Restless Mummy. That's 1 mana more, but it always summons 2. This one doesn't necessarily always summon 2. I guess maybe if you do build that dragon control deck with like a Dr. Boom, like some weird dragon mech thing, this does give you a dragon in your hand, but for most dragon decks, I don't see that being a problem. I unfortunately have to give this a 2. I don't really see it being too strong, but it's got potential.
I'm giving it a 1 just because if I draw this off Town Crier over Restless Mummy, I'm pretty upset. So
I don't think you'll ever have that issue, because I think when you build a deck, you'll probably But yeah, no, I feel you on that one. Alrighty. This is probably one of my favorite cards of the set just because of the flavor of it. Didn't realize it was a legendary weapon when I first saw it, but it is a legendary weapon. 3 mana, 2/3. Anchor. After your hero attacks, draw a pirate from your deck. So 3 mana, draw 3 pirates over the course of 3 turns. Seems like it could be powerful some in like mid-range decks.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Master's Call, which is 3 mana, draw 3 beasts as long as your deck only contains beasts. This gives you a little bit more deck flexibility. You don't have to only play pirates in your deck. I could actually see this card being relevant in Wild, where, there's a lot of already busted Warrior Pirates, but for this current iteration, I just don't think Warriors hit a critical mass of Pirates yet. I think this is definitely the strongest of all of the Warrior, or out of all the Pirate cards that have been revealed for Warrior. And something I've actually noticed that they've done is they'll print support cards, but they won't necessarily print a critical mass for that set. And then usually 2 or 3 sets later, they'll print a lot more support. It's kind of similar to how we saw Scale Worm and Fire Tree Witch Doctor printed a long time ago. And there's like the 4 mana 4/3 warrior that copies dragons. And then like 2 or 3 sets later, we get a lot of support for dragons. So, maybe if in the future we see a lot more support for pirates and warrior, this will be insanely strong. Like this card has the potential to be like a 4 or even a 5, really. I mean, draw 3 cards for 3 mana and also deal 6 damage is really strong. I think
mentioning like it works with like upgrade effects too.
Yeah. Green skin it. You can attack with it, draw a green skin, like synergizes itself. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a 3 for now, just because of like how insanely powerful it is, but it definitely has the potential to do better.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those cards like you were mentioning. Using like Fire Tree Witch Doctor and Scale Worm as examples is perfect. I mean, heck, those cards are probably going to be coming back now. I believe Fire Tree Witch Doctor is still in standard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they are. I actually completely forgot about it because I was building all my dragon decks and I completely left them out. And then when I went back and I was like, holy shit, I can actually still play all these cards.
I know, right?
I mean, those cards have been legal ever since like.
What set did they come in? Which one was it?
Was it Witchwood? I think
it was Witchwood because I
think it was Witchwood. Well. Yeah, I think it was Witchwood, but Witchwood's been around for forever. So
that's crazy to think about. I mean, they'll rotate next time, but this one will stay around for a while. Maybe it gives me hope that there will be a Pirate Warrior again, because I've been wanting that day for ever since Pirate Warrior was a deck. So I'm gonna give it a 4. I love this card. I love the art. I love the theme of it, and I think it has some insane potential. But I think 3 is probably a little bit more appropriate because it probably won't be too strong right now. Alrighty. Let's go to the big bad hero card, Galakrond. The unbreakable 7 mana class card. You gain 5 armor. The battle cry is draw 1 minion, give it +4/+4. If you invoke it twice, you upgrade it. Let me see if I have the upgraded versions here. I do. The next one is draw 2 minions, give them +4/+4. You invoke twice, upgrade it again. And the last rendition of this is draw 4 minions, give them +4/+4. Equip a 5/2 claw. So 5/2 claw is generic, doesn't have any effect. And then the new hero power becomes Galakrond's Might, 2 mana, give your hero +3 attack this turn. So there's a lot going on with this card. What is your initial thought about it? Because I remember we've been talking about this quite a bit throughout the Warrior class.
Yeah. So, I mean, compared to the other Galakrons, my biggest issue with it is it doesn't impact the board the turn you play it. If you have it fully invoked, you get a 5/2 weapon, you get 5 armor, but that's no different from the other Galakrons. All this does is just draw minions from your deck, and unlike the Rogue, they don't cost 0, so you can't play them immediately. So a lot of times you're going to be spending 7 mana just for the armor, and maybe you'll get the weapon. And the hero power giving +3 attack. So all these things together makes me feel like the Warrior Galakrond fits better in an aggro type deck, or like a tempo warrior type deck where you're trying to like reload at the end of it. But if you're playing a tempo warrior type deck, then you have to play all these like underwhelming invoke Galakrond cards. And that kind of like goes against the whole philosophy of the deck, which is play the strongest tempo cards on turns 1, 2, and 3. So I feel like there's a lot of issues. There's like a lot of anti-synergy that naturally happens with the Warrior Galakrond. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna give this a 1.
Dang, on the first Galakrond. Gosh, where's the love for Galakrond? I can't disagree though. I'm just looking at this card right now and I'm like, my biggest thing when I evaluate like hero cards is, does it impact the board? Because I'm going to be spending a lot of mana to play this card. I mean, 7 mana is a lot. I mean, the only one really exception I've ever seen that like impacted the board that I'm sorry didn't impact the board has been really good is like Doctor Boom, but even Doctor Boom, like the effect is just that insane that you don't really need to impact the board. You'll impact it on the following turn. Whereas this one's kind of like an iffy. I'm gonna give it a 2. I see their potential for it maybe in the later stages, but right now I don't think it competes with Doctor Boom. Maybe when Doctor Boom rotates out.
Yeah, I think that they just fit in 2 different decks.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, we'll skip through these portraits now. Unless you want to see Dragonclaw, looks kind of nice. Maybe does that change your mind, Bloodyface?
I mean, it's pretty sweet. Like I like some of the other Galacrons. I'll play some of the other ones. Just Warrior's already too OP. It doesn't need it.
I can't argue with that. Alrighty, and then we get to the last legendary. It is an 8-mana 12/12 dragon, of course, fitting the theme of this expansion. Deathwing Mad Aspect. Battlecry, attack all other minions. Whew, what an effect on this card. That is like a sandworm on steroids. What do you think?
I think this card's nuts. 8 mana. Like, this card's just insanely pushed. 8 mana for a 12/12 is already, like...
That's big. Like, that's thick.
Yeah, and then it's basically just a removal. It basically has Rush, but it attacks everything. And if you're playing this in, like, a control deck, usually you won't have any minions yourself, so you don't have to worry about, like, suiciding. And the other thing is, even if you do have minions, you just trade them all off before you play them. So you get to even take some power off the board to make sure your Deathwing sticks afterwards. Like, I love this card. I think this card's amazing. Honestly, it's kind of frustrating because Warrior's already so good. It doesn't really need this. Like, one of the biggest weaknesses of Warrior is lack of development. They float mana too often because they lack good minions to develop. Well, now they have Deathwing, and if you're playing Warrior versus like an infinite combo deck or some like infinite value deck, you can at least threaten them. A 12/12 is kind of difficult to remove sometimes, so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Yeah, this card is pretty big. I like the effect of it. I can't wait to see perfectly clear their opponent's like 7 minion board with this, and it still lives as like a 12/1. That's gonna be great to watch. But I do really like the flavor of this card, and you can obviously tell, like you were saying, this card is pushed. 8 mana 12/12. I don't think I've ever seen something that big stat line in this game for that like cheap. I mean, 8 mana is still a lot, but it's pretty cheap, and it impacts the board. Wow, what a card. Well, the question is, like, I don't think it's a 5 ever. The question is, do I even go down to 3? Because, like you were saying, Warrior, I don't know if it needs this, man. Like, does it need this? Like, or is it just gonna be slapped in because it's a 1 of legendary?
I think it's mostly just a support for Dragon Warrior.
That's fair.
Which actually, I kind of like Warrior moving towards Dragon Warrior because, like I said, the lack of development from Warrior is its biggest weakness. If you're playing Warrior versus Quest Druid, for example, and you pass turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you don't start playing minions until you hit your Omega Assembly, you're just basically doing nothing the whole time. At least with some of these new dragons, they're pretty good on curve, and when you play stuff on curve, it doesn't matter if they're like not the strongest things because it forces your opponent to answer them. When you're playing Warrior and you're just doing nothing, your opponent just gets free reign to take all the time they need in the world. So I don't know. I think this being used as a curve topper for Dragon Warrior decks can actually give them like some aggressive starts.
It's good. I mean, cards that have versatility have always been good.
Yeah, the versatility, exactly. That's why I think it's so strong.
You convinced me. It's definitely a 4. Definitely think that's a 4. So I think that's it for Warrior right now. Warrior. I personally think Warrior is going to be one of the weakest coming out of this from the cards that they got, but Warrior is already so strong that it may not matter. They may just like back down to the power level of everything else, in my opinion. But I mean, there's some solid cards in here, especially that Deathwing card we just reviewed.
Yeah, I think Warrior's archetypes just get split up even more. Before we had Straight Control and Bomb Warrior, and now we have Dragon Warrior. So it's going to be interesting to see how those 3 archetypes compete.
Really will. Alrighty, well, that's it for the Warrior class. A little underwhelming, but I mean, I think everything's going to be overwhelming. We're going to be moving on into Shaman next. Shaman's got some interesting tools. They're also one of the Galacron classes, so we will be doing their Galacron card. First one we got up on the table, though, is 1 mana spell, Invocation of Frost. Freeze an enemy, invoke Galacron. So freezing has been pretty powerful in Hearthstone over the years.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Ray of Frost. You just lose the twin spell side of it, and in exchange you get the invoke Galacron. I think this is as close as we can get to like mana efficiency plus like having a reasonable effect plus invoking Galakrond. Like I think this card is very reasonable, but even despite all of that, I still think it's very underwhelming. Like it's not something like just this effect alone is like not good enough for a control shaman deck to play. I do think it is playable because of Spirit of the Frog. You know,
Okay.
with Spirit of the Frog is something that Control Shaman already wants to play, and being able to have a decent one. Because right now there's not a lot of great ones for Control Shaman to play, so this can kind of like take that slot. I could see it as being a one of, so I think it's playable. I'd give it like a 2.
That's a pretty interesting way to think about it. You know, with Spirit of the Frog being so powerful of a card, I mean, it does give you that bridge that I guess Control Shaman kind of wanted. Maybe the Control Shaman plays like Zap. You can go Zap into this, into Witch's Brew, into the Hauntings. You know, you just keep going and going. So that is interesting. I think this card could be very powerful if pulled off, say, a Lackey. Like if you get the Spell Lackey, Ethereal Lackey, and then you discover a spell, you get this one. Maybe it helps you survive for a turn, so you can live longer. I mean, then again, you can always get Frost Shock. But no, I'm in agreement with you. I think this card is a little underwhelming. I guess it all depends on how powerful Invoking Galakrond is. I'm going to have to give it a 2, because I think it'll be good off random effects, but I'm not sure if it'll be played. What'd you end up giving it?
I gave it a 2. I think it's playable, but still a little weak.
Makes sense. Alright, next one. Ooh, it's really giving me Tunnel Trog vibes. 1 mana, 1/3 elemental, Surging Tempest, has +1 attack while you have overloaded mana crystals. So I guess Hearthstone, they finally learned that Tunnel Trog was a mistake. It was a bit too powerful, but here is the the newer version of Tunnel Trog. What do you think about this one?
I mean, back in the day, 1-drops had 7 attacks. Right? Like Mana Worm, Undertaker, Tunnel Trog. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Nowadays, they're a lot more reasonable. This card it looks really strong on the surface because most of the time it's going to be a 1 mana 2/3. The issue for me is the token shaman decks. They kind of like run out of cards pretty easily, and they're very highly dependent on synergistic starts. It's not like the old classic burn shaman. They would just curve out. They'd have Tunnel Trog and a Totem Golem. They would have just burn at the end. They had Flame Wreath. But with the current iteration, you need like a critical mass of tokens, and this isn't a token maker, and it's not a token payoff. So you're gonna have to cut one or the other, right? You're gonna have to cut a token maker, or you're gonna have to cut a token payoff. I think this card is worth it though. Shaman doesn't really have any other good 1-drops besides Sludge Slurper, and that's kind of like a pseudo 2-drop because of the overload. But yeah, I mean it's hard to pass up on 1 mana 2/3. Like stat wise, that's just good.
Yeah, I mean 1 mana 2/3 is pretty good stat wise. Yeah, no, I mean I like this card. I like the aggressive versions of Shaman. I've always been an aggro player by heart, so I definitely see potential in this card. I guess it depends on how consistent you can get that overload off on like turns 2, and it is pretty easy with cards like Zap. And then you've got Lickum. Like there's some real makings here for a new version of aggro Shaman. But you're right. I mean most Shamans now have been that token based version. So like you were saying, do you just cut these token generators? I think this card is pretty good, though. I'm going to have to give it a 3. I don't know. I love the design of this card. I like it a lot.
Man, I'm torn between a 2 and a 3, but because we gave because we gave Invocation of Frost a 2, this has to be a 3. Like this card's just definitely better than the last card we reviewed. So. Yeah.
And to go back on Invocation of Frost real quick, I'll show it again. I've been informed that you cannot discover Invoke Galakrond. I think someone in chat mentioned.
Really?
I didn't know that before. If that is true, I found that out. I think it was someone in chat mentioned you can't discover Invoke Forehead or something like that. Someone didn't do their homework, so I didn't do my homework. I apologize for that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If you're not a Galakrond player and you discover a Galakrond card, it's pretty underwhelming. So
I mean, that being a non-Galakrond player, I would hate to see in my hand. Yeah. So. All right, let's move on. This card, let's look at some real Shaman cards here. 4 mana, 5/7 Dragon, Squall Hunter, spell damage +2, overload 2. So, a weird version of Flame Wreath Faceless, just a little bit less stats.
Yeah, I mean, this card's nuts, right? It's just another card that's just so pushed. Flamery Faceless was a pillar of the format, and for 2 less power, you get +2 spell damage, which arguably could be better. Like it's less good on its own, more focused on like synergistic effects with cards like Lava Burst and Zap. But I think Aggro Shaman wants to be playing those cards anyways. I mean, this card seems very, very frustrating to play against. Like, if you're a class like Druid, for example, that how do you even handle this? Like, how do you handle seven power this early?
You don't.
Even Warrior, even Warrior has a tough time just dealing 7 damage outright on turn 4. Like, that's a lot to ask for.
You better hope you've been hitting that hero power button. That shield slam works because this this dragon is big. I mean, 4 mana 5/7. I mean, the funny thing is like it also would curve out with like something like a lightning storm if you were playing that like as a tech card against an aggro deck. You'd go like this into a lightning storm that would guarantee clear any aggro board that tries to go wide against this card. And then this card is just so big in and of itself that against most control decks they won't be able to answer it. And like when you're playing something like an overload, you know, it activates Lickum. You can keep going face, and then you could just like lava burst the next turn for 7 damage, and then just keep going. Like this, I think this card is nuts. Like I think this is one of the better cards of the set. Like this, I don't know.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
It's very pushed. Like 4 mana, 7 health is, and 5 attacks a lot.
I gotta give it a 5. I gotta give it a 5.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I think this card. Like I think this is gonna be seen in aggro every Shaman variant. Like I don't know. I love cards like this, man. Even though you know they're pushed, it's just I want to play this card so bad.
If it was the only reason I give it a 4 is because it's a little bit underwhelming against aggro. I think a lot of times aggro just like the 2 mana overload really hurts you on the following turn, and most of the times like really aggressive decks will just ignore it and just let you have the 5/7 and just like sure if you have the lightning storm you win. But yeah, I mean I can definitely see your reasoning though.
Yeah, just imagine playing this on 4 and then zapping like their 4-drop.
No, yeah, I mean this flip zap is insane. Zap is like if you could run more zaps, Shaman would be like too good because every card in Shaman just like wants to play more zaps, like Thunderhead, like Zap's just insane with everything. The Spirit of the Frog as well.
I guess this card does compete a little bit with Thunderhead in the 4-drop slot, but
that was the other thing. Yeah, and also when I play the Shaman deck, it's kind of awkward like trying to develop my Thunderhead because you know I want to like wait until a later turn where I can like Thunderhead, Anvil Take first, but you know if I'm overloaded by playing Squall Hunter, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. Like I don't know. I mean, I really like the design of Shaman. I think that's good that they're finally pushing like more. Like they're pushing good Shaman cards, but they're not like too overpowered, right? Like this is basically Framely Faceless fixed, and the other card was Tunnel Trog fixed. I don't think they're like you're not going to get those OP starts where you're just dealing 30 damage by like turn 4, turn 5. So yeah, I like the design a lot better than the previous iterations.
Dang, I missed those starts.
Hearthstone was just a different game back then.
I know, right? Oh my goodness. All right, yeah, but no, I really like this card. Let's go to the next one though. Next one is a rare spell. Sorry, I haven't been saying the rarities. I'm sure, like, if you're listening along, I'll try and do that better. But as you can see, it is a rare spell. 1 mana, Storm's Wrath. Give your minions +1/+1, overload 1. So this goes pretty hand in hand with that token version of Shaman we've seen quite a bit. You know, Soul the Murlocs. Maybe they kill off the Murlocs, and you do this for like a mini version of Bloodlust. Like, it's got potential.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of an underwhelming. Like, the payoffs that we have right now are so much better. We have Bloodlust, we have Asina, we have Sea Giant, Mogu Flesh Shaper. Like, giving your team +1/+1 isn't really what's relevant with the token Shaman payoff. I think this card's still playable. I mean, I keep bringing up Spirit of the Frog, and the reason is just every Shaman spell interacts with it. Yeah, I don't know. I actually think that every time I try to build the token Shaman decks, they feel a little bit. There's too many options, and I think this is one of the ones that gets pushed out. I think a lot of times this actually doesn't end up making the cut. Especially given how powerful the other options that we've been given are. So
that's fair. Do you know how it works with Thunderhead? Do you get the 2/2 copies, or will it?
Oh, actually, I don't know. It depends on how Thunderhead reads. Some of the cards say whenever, and some of them say like after. If it's after the spell, obviously it's.
I think it is after the spell, because I think like in the case of like Lightning Bolt, the damage goes off first, and then you get the minions. So unfortunately, I don't think it works with Thunderhead that way.
Yeah, it says after you play a card. Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but I mean, still, like if you have like a crazy turn where maybe you Thunderhead, Zap, and then this, like it could be pretty powerful. But yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, looking at the other Shaman, this does seem a little underwhelming. I think I'm gonna have to give it a. What did you give it? Because that's gonna determine what I give it.
I mean, I'm giving it a 1. I just don't think it's playable.
Okay,
Like,
that's fair. I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm pretty generous. That's why I'm wrong a lot of the times. All right, we'll get to the next card. Next card is a 3-mana rare spell called Lightning Breath. Deal 4 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, also damage its neighbors. Whew. So Dragon Shaman is a deck, which we've seen it, a little bit in the past. This card's pretty powerful removal.
yeah, I mean, it feels like every dragon synergistic spell is being pushed really hard. Like the warrior one was deal 5. I know the hunter one coming up later is also pretty strong. So it definitely feels like these are like the push spells of this. So they really want to make sure that dragons are good. Yeah, so it's hard to give this a bad rating. I mean, if Dragon Shaman ever becomes relevant, this card will fundamentally change how people position things, because it's very easy to get blown out if you just put 2 mid-sized minions next to each other.
3 mana too. Like that is cheap.
Cheap, yeah, insanely cheap, especially when you're overloaded a lot. 3 mana is gonna be.
I mean, heck, even like deal 4 damage to 1 minion for 3 mana is like fairly decent. You look at like something like Frostful, that's 2 mana deal 3. Like this is like this has the potential to be 3 mana deal 12. Like just a minion on the board.
Honestly, this card probably replaces Lightning Storm if you have enough dragons. Just because usually with Lightning Storm, you're just only picking off like 3 or 4 minions. Very rarely will someone just extend like 7 2 toughness minions into it. Yeah, I don't know. This card seems really strong. I'm thinking between a 3 and a 4. I think it kind of depends on how strong the other dragons are. So like one of the other dragon shaman cards is the one we reviewed previously, and I actually don't think they go very well together. The Squall Hunter is more of an aggro type card that goes in aggro shaman, and this is more of like I don't really believe in like mid range per se, because Shaman has Shudderwalk and it has this new Galakron, which also works very favorably with Shudderwalk. So I think that those kind of styles of decks lend themselves more towards control, which like Squall Hunter doesn't really fit in. So you kind of lose a little bit of dragon synergy there, and you're gonna have to find your dragons in the neutral pool, which is like I don't know. I've built Control Shaman a lot, and a lot of times it feels like there's like 50 cards you want to fit into a 30 card deck, and this just complicates it even more. So I think like the realistic side of me wants to give it a 3, although the potential for this card being consistently able to deal 8 to 12 damage, just obviously it could be even a 5. I think it really just depends on how good the dragon support is. I'm gonna give it a 3 for now, though.
Yeah, I'm about to get this a 4. I do like how you're bringing up the fact with this card with like Squall Hunter. Although they kind of seem like they would go together, they kind of fit in 2 different decks as well. A devil's advocate here, though, it will curve out if you go 4 mana 5/7.
Yeah, it does curve out
everything. But I have to give it a 4.
I mean, maybe there is a mid-range like Dragon Shaman deck. If there is, this card if you can play this card with Squall Hunter, and have like the rest of your deck be cohesive, then this card's like insane. But if you have to separate the 2, then I think this card's a lot less good.
Makes sense to me. All right, moving on to the Shaman cards. Next one is a minion, 5 mana 3/3, Corrupt Elementalist. Battlecry, invoke Galakron twice. There's also a rare card. So really weak stat line, but you're already going to the next level of Galakron. Is that worth it for the stat line?
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting because ideally you want to play as few invoke Galakron cards as you possibly can, while also invoking Galakron as often. This kind of helps you do that. You don't have to necessarily invoke it twice. You can just draw this card. The problem with this is a 5 mana 3/3 is just so underwhelming, especially if you're playing overload cards. Like it doesn't impact the board at all. it's only going to be good. It's like a necessary evil almost. It's like one of those dead cards you have to put in your deck just to make the rest of your deck cohesive. Man, I don't know. I don't really like this card, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of a necessity to play.
That's interesting. I think everyone chat saying something about like, you know, you get 2 rushing 2/1s with the Galakron, like, so maybe it might be to upgrade the Galakron, because this Galakron probably is one of the better ones upgraded.
I agree, especially with Shutterwalk. If you can get Galakron fully uploaded or upgraded, you know, get the 2 large rush minions, and then later on in the game you just play Shutterwalk, it triggers Galakron again, you get another 2 large. Like, the payoff is definitely there. It's just a question of how many dead cards can you afford to put in your deck? You know, dead cards being something that invokes Galakron.
Okay, hear me out, Bloodyface. You know, we do a quest version of this. We get the quest done. We get the hero power. We play this on turn 7, and Galakron's just, you know, he's just fully upgraded. He's just done. No more.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there's a way to tutor this. Like, if there's a way to reliably draw it, then I'd be a lot more sold on it. But my biggest issue would be, I mean, maybe it's not relevant. Maybe you just play one a copy and the rest of your deck is already cohesive. And, you know, if you maybe in only certain matchups do you need to invoke Galakron twice. It might only be relevant to invoke it once, or maybe not at all.
Okay, so chat's saying real quick, invoking also triggers the Galakron hero power.
Oh, wow. I didn't do my homework.
So I did not know it worked that way. So
wow, we look like such scrubs.
I know, right? So that gives us a little. So I'm assuming I want to go to Galakron real quick. Just skip over to him real quick. Let me go to him right there. Summon 2/2 Storms of Rush. So if we're reading this right, if we play this card, you get the 2/2s rushes immediately. So it's 5 mana, 3/3. Summon 2/2 rushers. If that's how it works. Because like I said, I've been like, I'm really delving into like the official mechanics of Galakron and everything. I've just kind of been looking at the cards at their base value.
Oh, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, I mean, okay, this is kind of embarrassing. I wish I knew all the. So if
I didn't know that either.
So you don't actually have to control Galakron either. If you're just invoked twice and you play it.
Okay, 1 second. They're saying hero power, not battle cry.
Okay, so it gets 2/1 elemental. Okay,
summon a 2/1 elemental with rush. All right, let's just clarify this real quick. I apologize for this. I did not know that's how it worked. I'm gonna blame this one on Bloodyface though.
That's fair. I'm usually pretty informed, but
all right. So we'll look at this hero power real quick. So invoking, you summon. Where was this information? Like, was this on like the review or something like that? Like, I didn't hear this anywhere. No, that changes it up a little. All right, Bloodyface is on the look for that. I did not know that. That changes like quite a bit because I don't even change like the other ones. Might need to reevaluate. Someone's saying might need to reevaluate the warrior stuff. So the warrior one was gain 3 attack in the turn. Is it if you invoke once or twice? Huh. Are you seeing the information on a Bloodyface? I'm just curious.
I don't see any specific. It's just other stuff about Galakron so far.
That's pretty interesting. Because that does change up a little bit. For instance, like we go back to those warrior cards. If you look at something like, I guess, Awaken, if the way it works is you also get the hero power. But I'm not sure if you have to invoke twice to get that hero power. Every invoke is a trigger. All right, huh.
Wait, so even if you're not fully invoked, like let's say you've never invoked before and you just play this, you're saying you get 2/2/1s with rush?
That's what it seems.
That sounds too good. I'd be very surprised if that's the case. Because then, actually, isn't this card just too good then? It's just 5 mana for 4 power. Like 4 power that you can trade that turn. And then you also get a 3/3. Like that's...
Every invoke triggers Battlecry once, is what they are saying in chat.
Even if you're not invoked.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh my gosh. Wow. So, do you want to go back to the warrior cards real quick and reevaluate? You want to look at this one?
No. Actually, I'm pretty confident that warrior's not going to change all that much.
Yes, 2 rush 2/1s is what they are saying. We're either getting insanely pranked right now, or this card's much better.
Does anybody have a link to the? Like, I can't find anything that says that anywhere.
Yeah, I would like a link to that as well, because I feel like I would have heard that, but I mean, then again, I haven't, like, when I review cards, I don't necessarily like try and look at them too much before they're like fully reviewed. I kind of like being surprised by watching, like, going through and looking at them. Huh.
Yeah.
Someone linked it. Games linked it. Let's look at this real quick.
Wait, that's the link I'm looking at.
When an invoke card is played, the hero power of Galakron will be activated.
Yeah.
Holy moly! All right. So that does change Warrior up a little bit, because like if you invoke, you get +3 attack, and that's more aggressive.
All right. That weapon's definitely playable then. So that weapon's basically heroic strike plus
For
like,
1 turn, and then the next swing is a 1 attack, but like you're fine with that. All right. Let's for the sake of the integrity of the stream, go back and reevaluate the Warrior cards. Maybe not Awaken, but I will go back and reevaluate them. So the hero power for Warrior is give your hero +3 attack this turn. All right, and the 2 invoke ones that we saw, Ritual Chopper, Battlecry, Invoke, Galakround. So the first turn you have this, you will attack for 4 because it has 1 attack, and you'll get the +3 attack. The next time you will attack for 1, but it is 2 mana.
Yeah, I mean, this card's actually decent in a tempo warrior deck then, because like heroic strike is already borderline playable most of the time. It can either be removal or it can just be like straight burn. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I guess. All right, I'll give +1 to I think all my Galakron warrior cards. +1 rating to all of them now.
Yeah,
I still kind of stand by the whole notion warrior being too strong in other builds, but I think at least now it's a little bit more cohesive. Like you can actually play like a tempo warrior strategy.
Makes sense to me. I'm gonna give this a 2 again though, because like, maybe with the +3 attack it's pretty decent, but I still think this card overall is not that strong. And then for Awaken, I think I'm gonna keep Awaken at a 1. Like I don't think any aggressive like version of I'll have Awaken right here for you. I don't think any aggressive version is going to be playing this, so I'm still gonna keep this at a 1.
You
think you're gonna change it?
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, if it's 3 mana, pseudo deal 4 damage and 1 to everything else, because everything takes 1 and then you get 3 attacks, so you can like kind of like deal 4 damage to a minion. It's a little bit better, but yeah, I think I agree with you. I think if I'm playing Galakron, I want to play like more of a tempo warrior kind of Galakron, and yeah, I don't want to Awaken in my deck, so
that makes sense.
All right.
All right, so we'll reevaluate the Shaman because we didn't like that at first, but knowing that you get a 2/1 rush with the freeze as well,
what the hell?
Changes it quite a bit. So freeze an enemy, invoke a Galakron, which will in turn give you a 2/1 elemental with rush.
All right, this is a 3, like easy 3.
That's
actually really good. That's like insane early game, and also like really at any point in the game, this card's good. Like freezing is always relevant.
So like, it's like we already thought all these cards were good, and now we're just like, wait a minute, these cards are better.
Wow, this makes so much more sense because I was like building decks yesterday, and I could never get behind a Galakron deck. So I was like, I have to put all these crappy cards in my deck. But oh my god, now
that's insane.
All right, this makes me a lot more excited for the new set.
Yeah, wow. Someone in chat said better Glacial Shard, and I'm like, you are right.
Yeah, like this
much better Glacial Shard.
Yeah, this card's actually real. This card's an auto 2 of. Like I thought it was like maybe we can fit 1 in. It's kind of crazy how just adding 2/1 rush to a card makes it insane.
I know, right? And then we go back to this one right here. Add 5 mana 3/3. Add 2/1 rushes.
I mean, my instincts want to give it a 4. Like that seems so. Giggling Inventor was a 5 mana 2/1 get 2 Annoyotrons, which was like obviously very frustrating to play against because of the Divine Shield taunts. But I think the best part of it was you spread your stats out. It's kind of similar with this. It's kind of reminds me of Giggling Inventor. Obviously, it's not as powerful, but being able to spread your stats out and you get the versatility of being able to like do your trades. This card is 5 mana for 7 damage, right? Like it's 7 damage spread out. You get 4 of it immediately, and the 3/3 body left over is actually like pretty sizable.
That's true.
Wow. And
Yeah,
also
that
with
changes a lot.
Shudderwalk, when you factor in Shudderwalk as well, like you don't even necessarily have to have already played Galakron, you know, because then when you like play Shudderwalk, you also get 2 more elementals too later on.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm torn between a 3 and a 4. So like I built all the decks yesterday, and it helped like give me context for my ratings. I haven't really built Galakron, so now I'm like kind of lost in I don't really have as much context as I would normally have. Um, I don't-
I just think it's funny how powerful we thought that was, and like that was with my assumption that I didn't remember this or know this, and now I'm just like, wait a minute, like this is absurd. I'm gonna have to get this a 4. Like it's like Giggling Inventor that had to be nerfed, but it's a different kind of power. Like Giggling Inventor, you kind of gave your opponent the option to play like a certain way. Like it was obviously really obnoxiously powerful to get those Annoyatrons. This one, you like dictate the trades with the 2/1s because they have rush, and you have a 3/3 body afterwards. Like you deal 4 damage, have a 3/3. Like that's pretty good, and you invoke Galakron. So obviously you're going to be playing that in this deck. And when you have Galakron, upgraded more, it just gets more and more insanely powerful.
yeah. Man, yeah, I don't know.
We're like lost for.
I'm still gonna give it a 3. I don't think it's as strong as Giggling, but
Fair enough.
this card's definitely really strong.
It's good. Thanks, chat, for keeping us straight. By the way, we apologize for that. Like I said, I'm gonna blame it on the GM player bloodyface for not knowing. I'm the lost up caster host. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. Next one we got is 5 mana 5/5 elemental. It is an epic. Cumulo Maximus. Battlecry, if you have overloaded mana crystals, deal 5 damage. So, like Firelands Portal, a little bit. You get the guaranteed 5/5, and you deal 5 damage. You have to have overloaded mana crystals, though. I know you're probably a big fan of this card.
Oh yeah, I mean this is just another really push card. Firelands Portal is a really good comparison because a lot of times you will only have like you'll only be able to play it on turn 7, right? Unless you have like Zap, you can play it on turn 5 with Zap, but it's really going to be hard to play it on turn 5 without a 0 mana overload. Yeah, I mean being able to go face is the biggest thing. I'm actually very surprised they let this go face because that's something that's like the whole thing that like Hearthstone has moved away from is they've gotten rid of charge, they've replaced it with rush. A lot of these new cards, like the new warrior card that's similar to Bash, only deals damage to minions. But this for some reason just bypasses all of that, and it's allowed to go face, which makes it not only playable in like control shaman decks, it's just like a tempo tool, but also extremely powerful in the token shaman decks that can be more aggressive. Yeah, this is like between a 4 and a 5 for me.
Wow, that confident. Wow, that's.
I mean, the condition is just so easy to meet.
That's true.
You just have to have any overloaded mana crystals. So, yeah, I mean that's just such an easy condition. I think I lean more towards a 4 though. It is kind of clunky, and it can be kind of difficult to get down. And it usually won't come down till later stages in the game. But if you're a really good shaman player, I think that it's all about just trying to figure out how to line your turns up so you have something to do every turn. And this guy just has a curve topper, or even as a top deck, right? Like a lot of times, shaman just gets in these spots where they did their big push and now they're starting to lose. And being able to top deck Lava Burst or this just gives you so many outs. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. I can see that. This card definitely has some potential. I'm actually, when it comes to like aggressive shamans though, I feel like a lot of cards you want to be playing on curve, and this is one of those you don't necessarily, I think you can play on curve, but you don't necessarily want to. So I guess the real question is how good is, playing this on like turn 6 or 7 after you've overloaded. I'm gonna have to give it a 3. I'm not as optimistic as you are for this card, but I definitely can see where this card, has the potential to be very powerful. Let's go to the next one. Next one is 5 mana spell, epic, shaman, Dragon's Pack. Summon 2/2/3 Spirit Wolves with Taunt. If you've invoked twice, give them +3/+3. So it will then be 2, 5, 6 wolves with taunt for 5 mana. So if you thought Oasis Surger was good, this is taunt Surger. Pretty powerful if you've invoked twice. Though.
So yeah, I mean, I gave the other card the invoke twice a 3, but if you're playing the Galakron deck, like I'm pretty sure you just always keep that card in your opening hand. Because so much of your deck is just contingent upon being invoked twice, especially with this card. Like this card is just so bad. Like this card is so bad if you're not invoked twice. It's basically Feral Spirits, but you have to pay all the mana up front, so you can't even play it like on curve when it matters. But yeah, if you're invoked twice, this card's amazing. To me, this is something that's not necessarily something you want to play a 2 of in Fear Galakron. Maybe like a 1 of, maybe even 0. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because this card does have a lot of power potential. But I think the one thing that makes this a little weird is when you're the one card I would look at to this is I'll go back to it real quick. The Corrupt Elementalist. So the idea is you play Corrupt Elementalist and then you play this out. So the most powerful turn I can see you having is you coin Corrupt Elementalist, remove some stuff, and then play this on curve. Like that would be insanely powerful. The question is if you were saying, if you have this card before you have Corrupt Elementalist or you've invoked twice, it's really bad Feral Wolves. Like it's really bad. So the question is how often are you going to be able to twice before turn 5? Because I don't really want to be playing this by turns 7, 8, 9. I'd rather be playing Galakron or Shutterwalk or something more powerful.
Yeah, and you kind of compared it to Oasis Surger. So the thing with what makes Oasis Surger so good is that the quest starts in your hand, and if you have Innervate and you're on the play, or if you have Coin, you can play it on turn 5 almost guaranteed. You don't have to be dependent on drawing your quest in order to make Oasis Surger good. And even on top of that, if you're playing in Sagro and you're not able to complete your quest, Oasis Surger is still 5 mana, deal 3 damage to 2 minions, or deal 5 damage to 1 minion, which makes the floor on Oasis Surger still pretty good. The problem with this card is the floor on it's super underwhelming. You would probably only play it in a desperate situation. So, I mean, it's still definitely playable just because of how high the ceiling is on it. It's just I really don't like dead cards. Like in Hearthstone, kind of the flip side of that is I really like versatility cards that can be played in almost any situation, whereas this card's kind of the opposite. It's highly dependent on another card in your deck. And you have to be invoked exactly twice. It's not like if you're invoked once, it gets +1/+1, whatever. You get +1/+1 every time it's invoked. So having to be invoked twice, you're you have to draw the other card in order for this to work. So, but if you do and you curve out with it, it's really good. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm kind of torn. I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it's playable, but I think the inconsistent nature of it makes it
I'm just not a huge fan of the inconsistent cards.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, this is very powerful if played on turn 5, but I'm a huge person if I'm not playing a control deck where I want to be playing my most powerful cards on the turns that they can be played. So, if I'm playing this later on down the road, I could have been playing something else that might be more powerful. On top of, you look at all these Shaman cards that are really good. Where am I going to find room for this? In the Galakron deck, I'm playing 2 of the Corrupt Elementalists. I'm playing 2 of the Invocation of Frost. I'm playing probably some other stuff, maybe Storm's Wrath. If I have dragons in there as well. Where am I finding room for this? I don't know if it is powerful enough to find room, so I'm going to give it a 2 as well. Okay, my favorite art of the set is coming out. Here's Spirit Wolf, by the way. If anyone wants to see the token, it's not quite Feral Wolf, but it's Spirit Wolf. Here's my favorite art of the set. 5 mana, 5/5 legend. Bandersmosh. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a 5/5 copy of a random legendary minion. The flavor of this card is awesome. The art of this card is awesome, but what is this saying? If you start talking about the art of a card, how good is it?
I mean, yeah, this is just one of those fun cards, right? It's not really meant for competitive play. It's just, yeah. Why would you ever put this in your deck? Is kind of what I'm saying. Unless the pool of legendaries gets a lot, and I can, figure out what types of scenarios I'm looking for. But this card's just way too random, and there's not enough legendaries that have good add-on effects. I mean, Karen is probably, I think, one of the best ones you could get. But like, what if you get like Deathwing, for example? You
No,
just have
you're
a
playing
5/5.
it.
There's just some legendaries, or even like Aviana, where makes your opponent have a free spell next turn. There are actually some legendaries that just make this stone unplayable. And like, yeah, you could wait till the next turn, but Hearthstone's all about being able to play cards right now, like when they matter. Like, you don't want to have to hold cards in your hand. I mean, it's a fun card, but I'm going to rate cards based on competitive play, which means
That's fair.
I'm going to get a 1 from me.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 1 too, but I would love to see the wild player get Shifter's Heiress turn into this and then, break the game's code because it can't transform into 2 different legendary minions.
This might be this could be a future Battlegrounds card, actually. I could see that maybe. Maybe it like changes while it's in play.
Okay. But it changes like, okay, all right, I see that. That's pretty cool. This card's definitely cool in flavor-wise, but definitely not in a competitive sense. Let's go to the next one. Next one is Nithog, 6 mana, 5/5 dragon. Battlecry summon 2 0/3 eggs. Next turn, they hatch into 4/4 drakes with rush. And here's what the eggs look like. For 1 mana 0/3s, start of your turn, transform into a 4/4 storm drake with rush. And it is just a 4 mana 4/4 dragon with rush. So, it's a little bit of a delayed effect, but the effect has the potential to be powerful.
I think this is one of the hardest cards to evaluate because it's not very clear on where its home is. It's definitely not an auto. Like, you wouldn't play this in maybe an all-in aggro, and you probably wouldn't play it in control. So it kind of leaves you wondering, what would you play it in? I think it fits best in the Galakron deck. A lot of especially with a lot of these Galakron cards don't really have overload on them, so you're able to curve out a lot easier. And they all make tokens, right? Like the 5-mana 3/3 makes tokens, the Frost effect makes tokens. So it feels like the Galakron deck is going to be able to play on curve, and it's going to be able to keep up with tempo. It's not going to have to rely on, like Control Shaman, it relies on Haggat the Scheme, it relies on Lightning Storm, it relies on these big AoEs and all these removals to keep track on the board. Whereas I feel like the Galakron Shaman deck can just kind of play on curve and just naturally stay on. And if that's the case, I think Nithog is really strong, because obviously the most ideal scenario is you play this on an empty board and your opponent doesn't have any minions to trade into. So I think that makes this card strong. Also you can kind of like play around with your curve. It's a card that you can set up into where you can try and keep the board clear. Instead of like going face, you can like try aggressively like keep trading on the board to keep the board. And then at the end of like after all the trading, you play this guy, and all of a sudden your opponent's like shit. Like if your opponent's playing like Highlander Paladin, for example, or like Highlander Warrior, and it's just going to be really hard for them to answer it from their hand. I'm torn between a 3 or 4. I think the card's kind of hard to evaluate. Well, what do you think?
I think this card's definitely hard to evaluate, like you were saying. I mean, it's in a weird spot because I don't think it's super powerful against control decks, because like they'll should have an answer for this most of the time. Against aggressive decks, like I don't think you're gonna have the time to play 6 mana 5/5 summon 2 0/3s unless you're like pretty far ahead already. And then in that case, why would you play this card? But against mid-range decks, especially like the Highlander decks, this card could be insanely powerful because they're not gonna be able to answer the 0/3s, and then you just took board back, and once you take board back, there's no coming back for that deck. So I definitely think that there is some potential for this card, and I could see it, but I'm between a 2 and a 3. I'm probably going to give it a 3 though, because I think it will see play, at least at the start.
Yeah, I guess I'll give it a 3 as well.
All right, we need to start arguing over cards. I can't keep like agreeing on. All right, next card we promised to argue. No, I'm just kidding. Alrighty, so now we have the last legendary for Shaman. We have Galakron the Tempest. 7 mana hero card. Replace your hero, of course. You gain 5 armor. The battle cry is summon 2 2/2 storms with rush. If you invoke it twice, you upgrade it. Here's the hero power for it. Now we were mentioning earlier, 2 mana. Summon a 2/1 elemental with rush. It's called Galakron's Fury. This is what the token looks like for it. And I'll be scrolling through these as we talk about the card, just so you can see if you missed it from earlier. Here is the upgraded version. Summon 2 4/4s with rush, and you can obviously upgrade it again. And the final version is summon 2 8/8 storms with rush and equip a 5/2 claw. Here's what those tokens look like. And they get bigger and bigger, buffer and buffer. They've been going to the gym. And Dragon Claw looks the same. I think they're all the ones that can equip Dragon Claw. So overall, Galakron the Tempest. Now that we know how Galakron actually works, what is your thought on this card?
I think this is the best Galakron card. Like I've seen the other ones and we haven't gotten them yet, but I think this is the best one because it gives you board presence. Like even if you have to play it and you're a little bit like desperate trying to hold onto the board, and it's not invoked yet, getting 2/2/2s and gaining 5 health, and also getting a 2/1 rush is way better than getting a random totem. So
Yeah.
this is like one of those situations where you get a straight hero power upgrade, the 5 health, and you get like damage immediately on board. Or if it's just like an empty board and you just want to develop it, playing as like aggro or playing as controller or whatever, you have that option as well. So it's really versatile. It like does a lot of different things, which I think makes it really strong.
Yeah, I think from all the Galakrons that I've seen, this probably is the most powerful because, like I said, when it comes to something that impacts the board immediately, and now that with the other ones, when you invoke, you get 2/1s with rush. I mean, you're going to be able to live to this pretty consistently with the other cards, and especially with like Corrupt Elementalist being invoked twice. You just play that card twice, and this card is fully upgraded. You will summon 2 8/8s with rush on top of being a 5/2 weapon. Like that is absolutely bonkers.
And if you ever get to play Shutterwalk too, like, that's just
start on that.
So win more. But like, honestly, in this format, you might need to have that with like Quest Druid and Quest Shaman. If those decks are still pillars of the format, it actually is going to matter a lot if you can just consistently go over the top and keep putting large amounts of pressure on. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess actually on second thought, if you actually might be like, you're going to be constrained for space with Shutterwalk because all the other invoke cards summon 2/1. So Shutterwalk will like, it might not trigger on Galakrond. It might actually flood your board with 2/1s.
But even flooding with 2/1s is like,
yeah, even flooding with 2/1s is still good. Yeah, I think this card synergizes really well.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think there's gonna be a Galakrond Shaman, so I'm gonna give this a 4. Like I think this card's pretty good.
Yeah, and like,
that's fair, give it a 4. What were we saying?
I don't know. I was like trying to think about. I haven't given a 5 yet, and this card might be a 5 just because.
Think so?
Well, it just makes it actually just makes an entirely new archetype all on its own. Like obviously, it has a lot of support, able to be so successful, but I actually could see like an entirely new archetype just because of this card alone, and maybe that makes it a 5. But I'm gonna stick with 4 for now.
Okay. All right. Well, Bloodyface is 5.
I already know what my 5 is.
Oh, okay, you're saving it for something special?
Yeah.
Alrighty, awesome. So that has been Shaman so far. We've gone through Warrior and Shaman. We're going to go, I think, take a little bit of a break. We got to go use the restroom and also rethink about everything we've ever thought about now that we realize, what invoking Galakrond actually means. So bear with us. It'll only be a couple minutes. We'll be right back and continue this set review. Next up is Hunter. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tempo Storm's Descent of Dragons set review. Again, I'm Dr. J, joined by Bloodyface. We've already done Warrior and Shaman, so we're going to go ahead and get into Hunter next. Thank y'all for being patient with us. We apologize for the Galakrond mistakes earlier, but now we are good because Hunter does not have Galakrond, so we don't have to worry about it. So let's go ahead and get into Hunter. I'm really excited for Hunter because I've always been a Hunter gamer myself. First card we have on the table is a 1-mana 1/3 common minion, Dwarven Sharpshooter. Your hero power can target minions. This reminds me of that old 2-mana 2/3. I can't remember the name of it, but this one seems to be a little bit better than that card. What are you thinking on this one?
I think this card is extremely frustrating because, I mean, if you just imagine if you're on the play as Hunter and you play this turn 1 and like your opponent's playing a tempo deck, like what are they supposed to do? Like your hero power deals 2 now. Like almost every 1 and 2 drop is just gonna like die to your hero power. Yeah. So and like even if they play like a 1/3, you can just trade like hero powered as well. Yeah, we're starting off really, really strong. The thing is, right now there's only, as far as I know, like there's like I guess 3 flavors of Hunter. There's Highlander Hunter, which usually plays secrets, but is flexible, doesn't really have to run it. Which this card is like an auto include. Obviously, it's like one of the best 1-drops ever made. And the other option is Master's Call Hunter, which is only focused on Beast, which this card won't make the cut, obviously, because it's not a Beast. And then there's Mech Hunter, which like this card actually might even be strong enough to be played Mech Hunter. I don't think Mech Hunter gets any new tools, so that's probably not as relevant, but just kind of goes to show you that even decks that aren't built around to synergize with this card is still absurdly strong.
Yeah, maybe there's like some new dragonish hunter that comes out and you just want this for a one drop. And I mean, obviously, one drop, we can all agree, stat line is insane. 1 mana, 1/3s throughout the history of Hearthstone have always been good. I mean, we look at Northshire Cleric, we look at Mana Worm, we look at Malkazar Zimp, we look at all these one drops, they are insane. So it's got the stat line to be one of the insane one drops of history. Its effect is pretty solid. The only reserves I have about this card is, do you want to be spending your 2 mana to shoot something for 2? And I guess in tempo matchups, yes, you will be spending your 2 mana to do that. But in most control matchups, you probably don't want to do that. But this card, I think, has potential. I have to give it a 3. Like I don't think it's 4 or 5 worthy, but I definitely think it's good.
Yeah, I give it a 3. Like, it's gonna die pretty often, but yeah, like I was saying earlier, turn 1 in a lot of matchups, this card's gonna be extremely frustrating.
I do like how a lot of the Hunter stuff that we're going to see has like hero power synergies. I thought that was really cool because I always love hitting the Hunter hero power button, so it's going to really make me want to hit it more. Next one is a 2 mana common spell called Corrosive Breath. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, it also hits the enemy hero. So it's kind of like, deal 3 damage, Frostbolt, but if you're holding that dragon, you also get 3 face damage. So pretty solid card for Hunter if you can fit dragons into Hunter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be largely depend on how many good dragons there are. I think when I built Highland Hunter, there were 3 dragons. I think there were 2.5. There was like between 2 to 4 dragons that I wanted to play. So I wasn't really sure if I should include this card or not. You compare it to something like Wing Blast, for example, and Wing Blast hardly makes the cut, and that's like 1 mana deal 4 like a decent amount of time. This card's more flexible because you don't have to have a minion die. So 2 mana deal 3 is like usually like just pretty good. But a lot of times hitting the face is going to be relevant. I think in Highlander Hunter I think it like barely makes the cut because you want the extra damage, but at the same time, like if you do care about hitting face, you can usually just hold it or whatever until you draw a dragon. Like I don't think it's going to be that hard. There's also Nightmare Amalgam as well. Nightmare Amalgam might be good because it's also a dragon and it's a beast, so you can like Houndmaster it and stuff.
That's interesting. Some like weird beast dragon hybrid variant you could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't even think about it that way. I like what you're saying about this card. I mean, I think the most important part about this card is going face. I think deal 3 damage is obviously good, but when you've got cards like Wing Blast, you may not necessarily want to. We did see Bomb Toss saw a little bit of play in that Mech Hunter variant. This is like a slightly better version of Bomb Toss, I would say. I guess it all depends on how good those dragons are. I mean, I think the cool thing about this card is good enough to kind of support that archetype if it were to be put into one, like an aggressive dragon hunter deck. The question is, how viable is that archetype going to be? I unfortunately have to give this a 2. And as weird as it is, I don't potentially see that being a deck, but if it is, this card will be good.
Yeah, I think I agree with the 2. It's like this effect is super powerful. Like if you can reliably if this card was just 2 mana, deal 3 to a minion, deal 3 to face, it would be like a 4, maybe even a 5. Yeah. Probably even a 5 actually, because this 2 mana 6 damage is pretty absurd. But yeah, the cost is pretty real on this.
Now, if it said you're holding a beast.
Ooh.
Now that's a beast. Put me on the design team. All right, let's go to the next one. Here's one of those dragons that Hunter is getting. It is a 3 mana 2/3 common dragon, Primordial Explorer, poisonous, battle cry, discover a dragon. So this dragon basically means that you almost always have a dragon in your hand. It is also, 3 mana 2/3 with poisonous, pretty decent. We don't really see poisonous tag on too many minions. So what do you think about this dragon?
I think this card's really good. I think it's like an auto include in every Highlander Hunter deck. Poisonous is not like the most relevant, but it can be like kind of annoying to play against, especially if we haven't gotten to Warlock yet, but potentially Handlock, like Twilight Drake, will probably start making a comeback. And if you could imagine playing this on curve before your opponent plays a Twilight Drake, it's not only going to replace itself, but it's also going to make it very awkward. Your opponent's going to be more incentivized to kill it first and then play Twilight Drake like later on.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's really strong. I do want to mention that, there was a patch a few patches ago where the discover pool was changed, so you're less likely to you're just as likely to discover class dragons as you are to discover neutral dragons, which takes all the discoveries a tick down. This isn't like as good because you can't you can primordial explore and primordial explore sometimes, but it's going to be kind of rare to do it.
Yeah, it won't be as consistent as it was in the past.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 2. Like it's definitely playable. It's not like an auto including hunter, but I think if you're playing Highlander hunter, it's definitely good.
Okay, yeah, I'm good with giving it a 2. I think it overall is like a decent card. I guess it depends on how, because the way I wanted Hunter Dragons to go was be, especially with the Corrosive Breath, was be a little bit more aggressive, and this doesn't quite to be an aggressive tool. This is more of like a kind of a control. Reminds me of like Stone Skin Basilisk that you saw sometimes be played in certain decks. So I think it's got potential to be C play, especially in Highlander decks, because they're going to be looking for one of those. But yeah, I don't really care for this too much.
Yeah, and like the thing with the Dragon Hunter decks is you need a power spike in this format. And Highlander, like you have Brain and Zephyr, so those are your natural power spikes, and you also have the new Alex Draws that we haven't revealed yet. Whereas if you just play this as straight dragons, like what's your power spike? Just Corrosive Breath, like you get you get a more efficient like removal tool that can do a base. Like that's not really that great of a payoff if you're going to build your whole deck around it. So that's why I'm mentioning Highlander so much, is because I think Highlander decks have the payoff that you're looking for.
That's fair. All right, next one. This is the first side quest we're going to review. So side quest is kind of like a new mechanic. It's essentially quests, but it's not as powerful as a quest would be. It's kind of like it says, side quest. You do this small little thing and you get a pretty decent reward. It's not like you sculpt your deck around it and then you get this insane payoff. It's more so, as you can see by these side quests, what they will be. So 1 mana rare, called Clear the Way. Side quest, summon 3 rush minions. Reward, summon a 4/4 griffin with rush. And it is just a basic beast, 4 mana 4/4 with rush. What do you think about this first side quest we're getting into?
Well, just right off the bat, it's going to be hard for me not to give a side quest a 1, because most of them are just dead the turn you draw them, and a lot of them actually require like multiple turns before you can like they're actually impossible to complete unless you take multiple turns.
Okay, so we should say that they do not start in the opening hand.
They don't. That. We know that. Viewers.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that. They do not start in the opening hand, so you will not like open your mulligan and see Clear the Way in your opening hand. You will have to draw it, which does change the card quite a bit.
So to like kind of balance out how harsh I'm being on side quests, for this one in particular, Spring Paw makes it a lot easier to complete. Although a single Spring Paw will require you to drawing another rush minion, there aren't a lot of good neutral rushes. Ziliax is really the only one that comes to mind. But there's another rush card that we haven't gotten to. It's a 3 mana 4/1 rush for Hunter, and that'll draw another rush minion. So if you play that and you draw Spring Paw, and then you play the thing that Spring Paw gives you, well, that's 3 rush minions. That's like the dream scenario. And then the dream scenario, only the payoff is just a 1 mana 4/4. Like, I mean, it's cool, but it's like it's not like you're getting the 4/4 on turn 1. There's a big difference between turn 1 4/4 and like spending 1 mana for 4/4 if you get the dream scenario on like turn 6 or whatever. So I think for those reasons, I'm still going to give it a 1.
Alrighty, I fair that. One of our viewers said, Desert Spear. Does that change your mind at all? Because it is not play, it is summon.
Nah, it doesn't change my mind. It's just
okay.
like again,
just throw it out there.
that falls back into the scenario of requiring multiple turns to complete. Like I don't. If I draw a card and it costs 1 mana, I want the effect now. Like I don't want to like wait. Like I can wait if the effect is like going to win me the game, but if it's just summoning a 4/4 with rush, that's not winning the game.
It's your effect. Use it when you need it. Nah, there's some commercial that taught me that. All right, yeah. No, that makes sense. I'm going to have to give it a 1 as well. I don't think any of the side quests are going to be that good. None of them I really liked that I saw. I think there's every Galakrond class, or let me phrase that. Every class that does not have Galakrond, I think, has 2 side quests, at least 2 to 1. I don't think any of the Galakronds have side quests, but I could be wrong on that. We'll see when we go through. Alrighty, your next card is a 2 mana 2/3 rare beast, Phase Stalker. After you use your hero power, cast a secret from your deck. So the effect seems like it's pretty powerful, but you have to use your hero power.
Yeah, and it's also a beast. So there was a few expansions ago where we saw a beast secret hunter that ran like subject 9, then like ran like one of each secret. So it is like possible to build a secret beast deck. This could also fit in the Highlander secret deck. But like I don't know, that version's kind of already bloated. Like when you play secrets in your deck, you don't really have a lot of room because the secrets take up like usually 6 slots, so you only have 24 other slots. And I think that there's better secret support. Like I like Mass Contender a lot more because you don't have to use the hero power. Like if I have to use my hero power twice before this card becomes worth it, I think that already makes it not worth it, because I think most of the time you just want to keep playing your stuff on curve as Hunter. You just want to curve out. Like I don't want to like on turn 4 just like play a 2/3 hero power and like get a secret. Like that's like an okay turn, but I wouldn't really call that a power spike. That's more of just like okay value.
Yeah, I think you'd rather play the secret into a Mass Contender. That way you kind of guarantee the next secret.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool design. Like I like it. Like I think it's pretty cool, but it's unfortunately I don't think it's powerful enough. I'm giving it a 1. I originally thought that this has potential, but I just don't like it. I don't know. I guess maybe having the beast tag makes it a little bit more viable because you can play Master's Call in some weird deck. But no, I gotta give it a 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Our next card, you were talking about this card earlier. I think you really like this card. This is a 3-mana 4/1 beast, rare, diving griffin, rush, battle cry, draw a rush minion from your deck. So it's kind of like a small removal card for Hunter.
Yeah, I think there's not really any good rush. Like there's the 1/3 poisonous, I guess, if you really wanted to have like a tutor effect for removal, but I don't really like running the, it's like skittering spider or something. I think most of the time it's just gonna be playing Highlander Hunter, just tutor Spring Powered Ziliax, both of which are fine. It's still 3 mana, deal 4. So even like worst case scenario, you've already drawn all your rush minions. This is still gonna be a pseudo removal spell, which I think makes it solid. Like it replaces itself. This card seems good. Like probably give it like a 3.
Yeah, it definitely has potential, especially if they print like better rush minions for Hunter in the like feature sets. I mean, it's just the only thing with Hunter is like we've always talked about, for the history of time, Hunter has had a hard time fitting in 3 slots because like the 3-drop slot has Animal Companion, it had Eaglehorn Bow, it had Kill Command. Like there's so many like good 3-mana spells that Hunter has had. But I do think, or sorry, 3-mana cards. But I do think this has potential to be one of those 3-mana cards, as it does a cool thing in Hunter that it doesn't typically have the chance to do, and that is remove something for 3 mana. I mean, Kill Command, you didn't want to remove stuff. Eaglehorn Bow, you'd rather push that face as well. This one, you're essentially forced, and it replenishes itself, so I definitely think it's pretty decent. I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah.
All right, what's up next for Hunter's table? Another side quest, 1 mana, epic side quest. Toxic Reinforcements. Sorry, I just had to laugh at that image real quick. Use your hero power 3 times. Reward to summon 3/1/1 Leopardome. So it's like Attack of Reddit right here. I'm just messing. What do you think about this quest?
I think you basically said it. That pretty much covers all this card has to offer. I mean, it's 100 dust, I guess. I mean, it would have been cool if they summoned unnerved Leopardomes, but
I know,
even then it still isn't playable. Like having to use my hero, like what the hell, 3 times? That is, I have to draw this, and then I have to wait 3 turns to get 3 1-drops. Like it's
the inner like face player in me wants this to be like good, because you play it hero power, you just keep hitting that button.
So no, like, if you actually could have this start in your hand, it actually would be good, I think. Because like if you could actually play Face Hunter then, because then the hero powers start mattering a lot more. But right now there's not really a good Face Hunter deck, and even if there was, I don't think you'd play this. So
fair enough. I'm gonna give it a 1 too. I like the I love the flavor of the card, but it's 100 dust. Like let's be real here. All right. Oh, and if you didn't know what Leopardome looked like, here's Leopardome. He's gonna be summoning 3 times never. Let's go to the next one. 3 mana weapon. Stormhammer. It is a 3/2, 3 attack, 2 durability. Does not lose durability while you control a dragon. So it's not dragon in the hand, it's while you control one. But I mean, this thing can swing for quite a bit if you have a dragon on the board.
Yeah, and we already have the dragon that discovers other dragons, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to just keep like stacking more and more damage. I mean, Eaglehorn Bow is kind of similar, right? Like a lot of times Eaglehorn Bow is infinite durability.
Yeah.
and it's a little bit easier because it doesn't require you to have anything in play. I don't know though. Like the problem for me is the dragons with Hunter just doesn't really mesh too well, and I don't think that if you're playing Highlander Hunter and you only have 3 to 4 dragons, it's going to be hard to fit this in there.
So I guess this goes along with, will there be a new pseudo, you know, aggressive dragon variant? Because think about it. I mean, you've got corrosive breath. You've got this one. I mean, let's say you don't lose a durability once. That swings for 9 at the face. You could then, let's say you play like a fairy dragon on 2. You then equip this. Maybe start swinging. Maybe there's a 4-drop dragon like the new Fey Rith, I think it's called. That is like kind of like fairy dragon, but upgrade it, and you just keep swinging face. And get like, I mean, let's imagine you get like 4 swings out of this weapon. Like that is insane. So I mean, I see potential in this deck actually being a thing. The question is, I don't know how good it is to compete with everything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think that if you keep this in your opening hand, it's actually really, really good. The problem is, in order for me to like rate a Hearthstone card really highly, it needs to be good as a like in all situations. And as like a later game card, the infinite durability matters a lot less. But if you play this on turn 3, then you go like turn 4 dragon, turn 5 dragon, turn 6 dragon, yeah, this card's nuts. But outside of that scenario, it's just kind of underwhelming.
Fair enough. I'm gonna be optimistic about this card and give it a 3 because I want to build that deck. And I think someone asked if like someone tries to go Bloodsail Corsair. I don't think Bloodsail Corsair. If you have a dragon on your board, I'm pretty sure you will not lose a durability because it doesn't say while you're swinging. It just says doesn't lose durability while you control a dragon.
Yeah.
So I don't think Bloodsail Corsair will work. I've never been wrong about any Hearthstone interaction in my life, so. Alrighty, now we're getting into legendaries. The first one is a 4-mana 3/5 mech. Dragonbane. After you use your hero power, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. 5 damage. So you're hero powering them for 7 when they got nothing on board.
I feel like this card's just a giant troll. Like they made so much support for Dragon Hunter, and then they make this guy, and he's a mech, and he's called Dragonbane. Like, what?
Imagine this was like a dragon.
I wish it was a dragon.
God.
If this was a dragon, the Dragon Hunter deck's starting to feel pretty good. But this being a mech, it's kind of going the opposite direction. But I still think his card's really strong. It's just like it's kind of similar to Houndmaster Shaw, where when you leave a Houndmaster, you feel really bad because all your minions have rush and it can start snowballing. It's kind of similar with Dragonbane. You don't want to leave this guy up. Like, even if it hits face, it's hitting your face for 7, and it's attacking your face for 3. Like, you just took 10 damage.
That's 10 damage by turn 5. That's insane. And then you couldn't answer it last turn. Who thinks you can answer it? The following turn.
Honestly, this card is probably going to be like the new Ragnaros of the set or format or whatever. I think a lot of times on turn 6, you're just going to play it in hero power and just hope it hits what you want to hit. And then even if it doesn't hit what you want to hit, it's still fine. Like, it's still going to deal 5 to face or like kill a smaller minion, and they're going to have to kill it next turn.
Okay, hear me out. You know how Mech Hunter was like a good deck?
Right.
You slap this in a Mech Hunter, you put a War Gear on this on turn 5, you just keep going.
I also just realized Ursatron can draw it too.
Yeah, so maybe even running like Highlander decks. So like you either draw Ziliax or this, and like you could play this on curve with the Ursatron after they kill it.
Yeah, maybe you just cut Snip Snap because you just want to draw Dragonbane more often. Like, this card's really strong.
Oh my god, I love this card. I don't know. I mean, one of the first decks I'm gonna build is with this card. So, oh my god, I want to give this a 5 so bad. Like, I actually think this card is insane. That's my opinion. I want to give it a 5 so bad, but I think like I have to be reserved and give it a 4.
You don't have to. But...
All right, I'm giving it a 5 then. You convinced me.
I'm saving my 5. I already know what my 5 is.
Oh no, that's look at the man holding like that. What is that? A huge like crossbow? What do you call that? I don't know. He's intimidating. That's going to face, man. Alrighty, we'll get to the main dragon Hunter has. It is a 6-mana 7/6 legendary dragon. Battle cry: change the health of all enemy minions to 1. It's called Varanus. I'm a little confused by this dragon. I was kind of hoping for something else.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit confused. A lot of times this just won't even do anything because I guess what it does, it kind of has like an equality effect where sometimes with equality you play it and you just trade all your minions into their minions, and it's like kind of a pseudo clear. So this card can kind of make the game interesting to play, where if you have big minions and your opponent has small minions, you kind of have to think about, well, do I want to play around for honest? Like I could go face for however much amount, or I could like trade into his minions and play around it. So I like cards that change the landscape of how you play, and there are situations where you're going to feel compelled to play around it. I think that alone might make it worth an include in Highlander Hunter. It's also a dragon, so going back to the corrosive, whatever card it's called.
Fair enough. I hate to break it to you, but I'm giving this a 1.
You're giving this a 1?
I think this card's awful. I think the most application for it is playing with Unleash the Hounds on turn 9 and clearing a board. I hate
Desert Spear up too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to give it a 2. I think it's playable. I actually had the same instinct you did. I wanted to give it a 1 the first time I saw it because, like, why the... It's just not... It has a battle cry that literally impacts every enemy minion, but at the same time, it almost doesn't do anything at all.
No.
Like, it actually requires you to have either a board or, like, something... Yeah, like you said, Unleash the Hounds in hand, which in that case, it costs 9 mana, not 6. And 2 cards, so... Yeah.
Sounds about right. Alrighty, well, done with Hunter. Move on to Paladin now. Or, that's a weird looking Paladin. Alright, Paladin.
Nice.
Alrighty, next one's up Paladin. Let's go through these. I think Paladin was a little underwhelming, but I can't remember. 1 mana, Sand Breath. Give a minion +1/+2. Give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. So it's kind of like, I can't remember what that one card was, but it was the 1 mana, give 1+1/+1/2.
Yeah, I remember.
You know what
I don't remember what it's called. I know what you're talking about.
I don't really like this card, but I think it has potential. Actually, maybe. I don't know. I think it's decent.
No. It's going to be a 1 for me.
Ooh.
Like, I was actually thinking about how the new 5 mana 3/5 dragon can draw it, because it draws like 2 1-cost spells.
Okay.
But then I just always wanted to draw Crystology if I play that card, so this card's just going to get in the way.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I Paladin didn't really get like that many, like, Paladin's in a weird spot with dragons because this Paladin wants to be an aggressive class. I think that's where it's most successful. But in this set, a lot of the dragons they got kind of lend themselves more towards like a late game control-y style. So if you're playing a late game control-y style dragon Paladin, this is not going to make the cut.
Yeah, I think I think it got some mid-range support though, so we'll see those cards coming up. So I give it a 2. I think it has potential, but maybe in the Highlander decks, that's about it. Next one is one of the cutest cards of the set. 3 mana 2/3 dragon, Bronze Explorer. It is a common. Has Lifesteal, pretty good tag. Battlecry, discover a dragon. So we see this trend of like 3 mana 2/3 dragons in some of these classes that ultimately, you get another dragon. So it replenishes the hand, and Paladin's got some pretty sweet dragons that you can discover. I think it's a pretty decent card. I'm going to have to give it like a... No, I'm going to give it a 2. I was going to give it a 3 at first, but I'm going to give it a 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's Hunter counterpart. Compared to that, it's a lot weaker. Poisonous is like infinite attack versus Lifesteal, which is +2 health on your hero. Who cares? Yeah, I struggle to see... I think this is a 2, but I honestly think it's probably going to end up being a 1. I think it's just going to be something you flip through when you're building your Paladin deck, and you're almost always going to end up ignoring it. Payoff card that we haven't gotten to yet, the 3/3, the Death Rattle gives a dragon in your hand +3/+3, and then it gains that effect. So that can like work really well with Bronze Explorer because you can keep replenishing your hand with dragons. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like I don't even want to play this in Highlander Paladin.
Nah.
Whereas like with the other one, with the Poisonous, it at least like impacts the board and like force like your opponent can't play like a Twilight Drake or Mountain Giant or like some big minion into it. But this guy, who cares? Like, unless you're discovering like insane dragon, it's not going to be worth it.
Especially when you have like better dragons for Paladin. We're going to see those coming up. Like there's an insane dragon for Paladin. So let's just move on to the next one, which is the insane dragon for Paladin, in my opinion. 5 mana 4/6 dragon, Amber Watcher, Battlecry, restore 8 health. So wow. Anti-Killbot, move out the way. We have a this card is insane. I don't know. I like this card a lot.
It kind of reminds me of the Druid 6 mana card. What's it called? It's like gain 12, get a 6/6 taunt. Obviously, it's like
Oasis Springs or Hidden Springs or something like that. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name off the top of my head.
Oh, like, yeah, obviously with that card, it costs 1 more mana and also requires you to be quest complete, whereas with this one, it's a little bit easier to get the effect off. Um, the issue for me is I don't know where the home for this card is. Like, I don't think you played in Shirvala Paladin because it's a bit too expensive and you don't care about the body. Control Paladin is, well, what is Control Paladin? In
Fair
this
enough.
format, you need a power spike, and Highlander Paladin's power spike is Finley, and Finley lends itself to being like a more aggressive, like curve out type stuff, whereas
Okay.
not really control styles. So obviously this card is very good. I just don't think it really has a home yet. Maybe possibly in other expansions if we can have more reasons to play Control Paladin, then this card would be better.
Yeah, maybe there's like a new version of like Paladin that has like the Shirvala engine as like a win con, but it doesn't necessarily do like the rush, like deal 50 damage. Maybe it's more so like a mid-range deck, and then if you need to, you can do 25 damage in one turn. You only run like 1 Baleful, 1 Holy Wrath.
There was a Highlander Paladin that played basically that. It used that as the win condition. I think and it's actually interesting because now that we're bringing that up, just want to mention there's the 5 mana 5/5 destroy all armor, which is like kind of an awkward card to include in the current iteration of Shirvala, where you're trying to draw your deck as fast as possible because in a lot of matchups it's a dead card. But if you're playing this Highlander Paladin Shirvala, where you get to play that and you get to play Alexstrasza, it's going to be a lot easier to get your opponent within range before you OTK them. And in that case, Amber Watcher is going to make the cut. So,
Fair enough.
I'll give it a 2 just because it's
Okay.
so powerful, but I don't think it's going to see play right now.
Makes sense to me. All right, next one we got is one of the side quests. Side quest. 1 mana Righteous Cause is a rare side quest. Summon 5 minions. Your reward is you give your minions +1/+1. Can we please just skip this card and give it a 1? Like,
Yes.
I don't even want to review this card. I'm sorry. I hate the side quest so much. Any applications? I guess no. All right. The next...
20 dust, I guess.
Next card though, I like this one a lot. Skyclaw, 3 mana 1/2 mech. Your other mechs have +1 attack. Battlecry summon 2 1/1 microcopters. And here's what the microcopter looks like for anybody. It's one of the cutest like tokens I've seen in quite some time. I love this card. Like I don't know if it'll be exceptionally powerful, but I think it's a good one-up for Highlander, and I think it's a pretty decent card.
Yeah, and also to note, you can draw it off Christology as well. So I think that's also pretty good.
That's pretty important, yeah.
Especially with like Highlander Paladin right now, a lot of the one attack minions they draw are like pretty bad, like top decks like Abusive Sergeant or Beaming Sidekick. So it's kind of nice to have like a card that it's a lot more impactful than the other ones. Yeah, and then they're like it's also kind of awkward because they want to kill the 1/2 so it can take off all the buffs. But at the same time, if they spend their time killing the 1/2, it also leaves tokens behind, which are also mechs, which synergize well with the whole mech synergy. So this is like auto include in Highlander Paladin, and then even potentially in this new mono. I don't know what to call it. We haven't gotten to the cards yet, but the reward for
only
only playing...
Paladin.
Yeah.
So what'd you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 3. I think this card just. Well. I think this card's going to be a staple in any mid-range Paladin deck.
Well, what do you give Microcopter?
A 5.
Okay, thank you. That needs to be put there. Microcopter is definitely a 5. Alrighty, here is where we were talking about earlier with this kind of new version of Paladin that might come into play. It is a 4 mana 4/2 minion, rare, Light Forged Zealot. Battlecry, if your deck has no neutral cards, equip a 4/2 True Silver Champion. So if you can manage to make a Paladin deck with just all Paladin cards, which is possible, this card can be really good.
Yeah, I tried building a few decks, and it feels like it's really tough to build because you don't know if you want to include dragons or not. You don't know where you want to stop the curve at. There's a 7-drop you're going to have to play as well, so you kind of want to play like a more mid-rangey type deck. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the best payoff for the card because it's such good tempo. It just comes down really early, and if you like curve Microcopter into this card, you're just going to have board, and you're going to be pushing face damage because I think you're going to overwhelmingly have board. Yeah, I don't know. Just the question is it going to be easy to play no neutrals? As more and more sets come out, this card's just going to get better and better. But for right now, I'm just gonna give it a 2 for now. I'm gonna a little asterisk say it has a lot of potential. It's just that I think for this set overall, Paladin kind of got the short end of the stick. I don't think it got like
Okay,
a lot of powerful
that's
cards.
fair. I think
But,
I personally think mid-range Paladin could be like a strong thing because I think these cards are pretty good for what they are. So I'm really hopeful for mid-range Paladin, but I'm gonna give it a 3 because I think it has a lot of potential. Let's see the next one. If you didn't know what True Silver Champion was, here you go. Alrighty, another side quest. 2 mana, epic, Sanctuary. Take no damage for a turn. Summon a 3/6 minion with taunt. I would like to give it a 1 with your permission.
well, I think Raven tweeted that this is like top 3 cards of the set. So I mean, that basically means it's a 1, right?
Poor Raven, man. It's like 2 mana, sometimes a 3/6 with taunt. I can't see it being good. I have to give it a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1.
Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Now we're into the last epic. It is a 7 mana 7/7 Light Forged Crusader. Battlecry: if your deck has no neutral cards, add 5 random Paladin cards to your hand. This has the potential to be insanely strong or insanely weak in that Paladin deck.
I mean, five Paladin cards, you're bound to get something good.
I know, like maybe a Tyrion. I guess you can get itself. That's insane.
It's going to be a very wide range because there's a lot of bad Paladin cards. Like all the secrets and all the random things that like give +1/+1 or like Divine Shield that cost 1 mana. But then on the other side of things, you could get this guy again. You could get the True Silver guy. You could get Tyrion, like a quality conch. There's a lot of good things you could get off of it. Draw 5 cards is like pretty nuts. But I think I'm still gonna give it a 2 just because of like same reasoning with the counterpart. It's just not enough support right now.
Okay.
Maybe in the future. I could be wrong though. Like, I mean, I very well could be wrong. I think like, and the reason I say that is because on paper, Highlander Paladin seems like one of the worst decks to me. Like, it just includes like all these terrible cards I never want to play. But then every time I play Highlander Paladin, it just never loses. It's like nuts because you just like curve out.
This is the same thing.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's a question of like how good is the power spike. And the answer is like it's really good. Like the 4 mana 4/2 on curve is nuts, especially if you curve into it. And this card like on curve is nuts, especially if like you're keeping up with tempo. So maybe
I think this deck will be a deck. Like I'm really like hoping for it, along with like that weird like dragon hybrid deck. So I think this one has more potential than the dragon, the hunter one. But I'm really looking forward to building that kind of deck. But let's move on to the next card. It is one of the legendaries, 3 mana 3/3 Dragon Rider Talritha. Hope I pronounced that right. Death Rattle. Give a dragon in your hand +3/+3 and this Death Rattle. So pretty solid card.
I think this card just carries the other dragon we saw earlier, the 2/3 lifesteal. I think without this card, that card would not be very good.
Okay.
But like, I think you have to play that card in order for this card to be good because Paladin just doesn't really have very many other good dragons. It is like Nazari, but that's like 10 mana. So there's just not very many other options. But this card's just obviously insane if you can consistently have a dragon in your hand. And it's kind of also tying into the power spike of these other Paladin cards. Like maybe those 2 reward cards along with Dragon Rider does make Paladin a thing because now you have 5 power spike cards and you're pretty reliably going to draw 1, maybe even 2. I don't know.
I was a little bit optimistic for that at first, but I don't think it's as good as I want it to be. I don't know.
It's really slow. It's like Valinor.
Yeah.
Like Valinor was like really good in some matchups late game, and it could even win you the game sometimes because if your opponent doesn't have silence and they're playing control deck, they just cannot deal with like the continuous onslaught. I think this is a little bit less consistent with Valinor. Obviously, with Valinor, you didn't need anything else. You just needed a minion in hand, and having a minion in hand is like pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And you also got Valinor back in play. Whereas with this, you have to spend mana on the dragon. You might not necessarily want to do that. I would give it. I would give it a 3, I guess.
I'm gonna give it a. I want to give it a 2, but it might just be a 3. I'm gonna give it a 2 for now. I don't know. It's like
I just think about Whenever I evaluate cards, sometimes I just think about how scared am I if my opponent plays this. If my opponent plays this on curve, I'm pretty worried. Like I don't want to kill it, but it's gonna die, you know. So
I mean, yeah, that's good. You better have that Iron Beak out already.
yeah.
Alrighty, the next one is the last legendary for Paladin. It is a 4-mana 8/8 dragon, huge stat line. Knows Dormu the Timeless. Battle cry set each player to 10 mana crystals. Whew. And when you do play this, I will clarify, if you play this on turn 4, you will not have 6 mana to spend. You will not have those mana crystals. It will just be 4 mana 8/8, and then it passes over to your opponent, and they will have 10 mana. Weird card to evaluate. I don't think it's that good. What do you think?
I've tried getting creative with it. Like I was thinking about playing this with Shirvala, like maybe just getting to 10 mana really fast, and you unlock like really powerful turn. Like basically, if you played in a deck where your opponent does something powerful with their 10 mana, and you can effectively answer it with like an Equality Conk or Shrink Ray type effect, then you kind of invalidate this 10 mana that you've given them, while at the same time, like you want to make it so the 10 mana benefits you more than it benefits them. But that's tough to do because if you play this on curve, they're going to get the 10 mana first. So you need to have like a good equalizer effect.
Okay.
But like then if you're playing a control deck, well, why do you care about this card? Like it's just it's like obviously a great stat line, but you're not going to be hitting face to win the game if you're control. So it's very weird, anti-synergistic with what you want to do with it. Like I think it's just a meme. Like I think it's probably a 1.
I gave it a 1.
I really tried hard to figure out, like, but I don't know. I could actually no, I'm gonna revise it to 2 because oops, I put 12. It could be really good in the only Paladin deck because getting the 7/7, the 7/7 that like draws 5 cards or whatever. Like if you just have infinite gas, you can play. This also works well with the 3/3. Give a dragon in your hand +3/+3, the one we just reviewed. So I can see some synergies happening there. And the other thing is with the mono Paladin deck, after you get to like turn 6, turn 7, turn 8-ish, the drawback on this becomes a lot less relevant, and it just mostly becomes like a 4-mana 8/8. Like if it's turn 8 and you just go like develop the 4/2, get a True Silver, and play No Storm in the same turn, that's a huge threat to like place in the single turn. So I think being able to like couple this with another threat in the same turn kind of offsets the 10 mana that you give them. Like I don't think it's a card you really want to play on curve unless you just have that 7/7 already in your hand. I think it's playable.
All right, that's fair to me. I'm still gonna give it a 1 just for memes. Let's go ahead and move on into the next class. That was Paladin. Now we're getting into Druid. Druid is in a little weird of a spot because you really want to play quest cards. But let's go ahead and look at what we got here. 1 mana, side quest, strength in numbers, spend 10 mana on minions, or ward, summon a minion from your deck. The only potential I see for this card is if there's some like weird way you can keep Malygos in your deck. You like Sarthavar your Malygos, and then maybe do something like I potentially there's like some weird OTK with this. But I'm going to say no. I think this card's bad. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, you could like anchor your Mechathune. I don't know. It's tough because every Druid deck is going to want to play Flute. So like there's always going to be dead cards you can hit. There have been decks in the past. There's been like big Druid decks in the past. I think like one of the more successful ones was the Mechathune Druid deck that ran Dark Arakoa, and like just like all these like giant minions, and it was pretty easy to spend 10 mana, and pulling something out might have been decent for 1 mana, because like spending 1 mana is pretty low. Like if you can pull out a 5 or a 6 drop and you only spent 1 mana on it, because spending mana on minions is just something you're gonna do anyway as Druid, like at any point in the game. Like I think this is the quest, one of the only side quests I can see having potential.
Okay.
But I think with this current expansion, just quest Druid's too good, so I don't think it's going to be playable. But I think in previous metagames, or even in future metagames, this might actually be playable. So
makes sense. So do you give it a 1 or a 2?
I'll give it a 2 just to make it stand out from the other side quests.
That's fair. I do think if any side quest stands out, it's probably that one. Alrighty, your next one is a 2 mana 1/1 minion, Shrubadier. Battlecry, summon a 2/2 Trent. I don't think Druid wants to go this way. I don't think the Transcend energies are that good. I'm gonna have to give it a 1.
Yeah, I'm giving this a 1 as well. I see some people trying to include this in token druid decks, but I don't know. I think it's just too weak. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm fine spending 1 mana for a 2/2. I'm not really fine spending an extra mana just to get a 1/1. You know what I mean? Like there's 2
Yeah.
cards in this set that Druid can play. They're both 1 mana 2/2s, and I'm fine playing either one, just not fine spending 2 mana to get my 2/2.
Yeah, and here's what the Trant looks like. They obviously adding new arts for him, so that's pretty cool. Next one, 6 mana 4/8 dragon with taunt, Emerald Explorer. It also has Battle Cry, discover a dragon. So a lot of discovering of dragons here. 6 mana 4/8 with taunt, pretty decent stat line. The question is, does Druid want to play this card? You know, Quest Druid's already a thing. Is this going to fit in those Druid decks?
Yeah, definitely not in Quest Druid. And right now, none of these cards are good enough to deviate from Quest Druid. This card's an excellent arena card, I guess.
I'm gonna give it like a 2 because if Dragon Druid does become a thing in the future, like maybe. But
yeah, I think this card's a
don't
2.
think so.
Like 8 health on a taunt is really good.
It's pretty big. Alrighty. All right, we got Tree Enforcements, 1 mana spell, rare. Choose one, give a minion +2 health and taunt, or summon a 2/2 Trent. I think this has potential in Quest Druid. I don't know if you want to be playing it in that deck, but I think, I mean, maybe. I mean, a lot of times you would like Worthy Expedition on one. This allows you for a little bit more game against aggro. You're going to be losing some of those good like health tools, like you're losing Come the Forgotten King. So maybe you want to be playing this to try and give something taunt so you can live longer. I don't think so. What's your thoughts on
that? I think it's a Quest Druid nerf because it makes Worthy Expedition a little bit weaker.
Okay.
But yeah, the reason I don't want to play it in Quest Druid is because when you're playing Quest Druid, you already start down a card with the quest, and if you're on the play, Tree Enforcements can exacerbate that problem. They're like sometimes you just draw like Sephiroth Nomi and just like other kind of late game cards or release, for example, in your opening hand. And Tree Enforcements is just going to exacerbate that problem. A lot of times you need to find card draw or like gas or like actual removal spells. And a lot of times 2/2 just won't be enough. But I think in like maybe Token Druid, like we saw Enchanted Raven was good back when it was
yeah.
And this is basically Enchanted Raven with the slight upside, so it's definitely playable. So I give it a 2.
Yeah, I give it a 2 as well. I think it has potential, but I mean, I like your note that it's like a Worthy Expedition nerf. Because like a lot of times you'd be getting like insane choose one cards like Nourish or Cenarius, and now you're gonna be like looking at this plus like something else. You're like, wow, this could have been a Cenarius right now. There's the Trant again. You didn't miss him earlier. Alrighty, next one. This one was one of the first cards revealed, and a lot of people were like, holy crap, what are they doing to us? 2 mana spell, rare, Breath of Dreams, draw a card. If you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. So if Dragon Druid is a thing, this is automatically 2 of. You slap them in there. This card has the potential to be insane.
Yeah, I just don't think there's like not enough dragons right now. So like the thing that made 2 mana wild growth really good back in the day was it was a tempo tool. You know, if it was in Malygos Druid, you could curve out into Twig of the World Tree, or if you go way back in the day, you could curve into Piloted Shredder and get closer to your Ancient of Lore, so you can do your Force of Nature combo. But historically, the 2 mana wild growth effect has always been really good in a tempo style deck. And the thing with the dragons is it's not really tempo-y. It's more of like this weird value deck where you don't really have a finisher. You're just kind of just playing dragons after dragons after dragons, and that might win some games, but I think in Hearthstone right now, you need to have like some really good power swings, and it just feels like the support isn't necessarily there. Like I could see this being played maybe in Malygos, like maybe you play Malygos and Alexstrasza, and you know it's just kind of like there to offset if you have something bad in opening hand. It's a pretty low floor because those decks want to be drawing cards anyways. So late in the game, 2 mana draw card is just like regular wild growth or whatever. So the floor is pretty low.
Maybe like some new like Malygos Druid gets started by it because you can like use this and use like a Least Trailblazer and try and copy some things. I mean, there's potential for that. So what do you give this card?
I give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
When I built the Druid decks, there was only 4 dragons I wanted to play, and if I have to play bad cards to make this card good, then this card is not that good.
Okay. Alrighty. 5-mana Druid spell, rare. Aeroponics. Draw 2 cards. Cost 2 less for each treant you control. This card is really weird. I don't necessarily like it. It reminds me of that one 5-mana spell that was like draw 2 if their minions reduce them by 2. I think was the card. I can't remember. It was like a long time ago. It might have been like Mean Streets or something. I think this is like a 1. I could be wrong. I could be missing something, but I don't see
Anytime I
this
see the word treant, I just
I
black out. I just black out. I'm just like, stop feeding me treants. I'm just done.
Alrighty, you gave it a 1 as well. I guess we can go to the next one. Alrighty, the first epic is a 0-mana epic spell, Embiggen. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. They cost 1 more, up to 10. I mean, kind of a weird Prince Keliseth, but it does have a drawback.
+2/+2 is a lot.
Does increase all the mana in your deck though, so you do have to consider that.
Yeah.
But is it worth it? I guess.
Probably not. Like, for one, like, this is just a terrible top deck. At least when you like top deck Prince Keliseth, it was still like always insane because at least you got the 2/2 out of it, and you also could like bounce it and stuff. Whereas with this, you just get the one-time effect. The 0 mana on it doesn't really like pull me that much because if I'm playing like I guess it works in like a very low curve deck. I've seen people play this with Auctioneer as well, just as a 0 mana like cycle.
Okay.
But then you also increase every other card in your deck by 1, so it's kind of like it offsets the cheap cycle that you got. Yeah, I don't know. This card's a skip. I would just give it a 1.
I would give it a 1 as well. I think maybe, but I mean, if it gave minions in your hand, I think you could like argue for it being much better.
Yeah.
For sure, but it's just in your deck. You have to draw the minion, and it's like at that point, it's like not worth it. So
you have to draw the minion, and you have to spend mana to play it.
Exactly. And 1 extra mana, might I add.
Yeah. Forever and ever.
So the next one is the next side quest. It is a 1-mana side quest. Secure the deck. Epic spell. Attack twice with your hero. Add 3 claws to your hand. Can I give this a 1?
Yes,
I think that's been the verdict on side quests, is to give them a 1 and move to the next card so people don't get bored.
Yeah.
And here's Claw, if you didn't know what that was. Alright. Next one. It's a treant cards. I don't know if you like this one. 7-mana 5/10 with Taunt. Goru the Might Tree. Battlecry for the rest of this game. Your treants have +1/+1. I do not like this card.
Yep, it's a 1.
No, I mean, maybe if it was cheaper and like less stats, I mean, there'd be some merit. But by the time you're playing a treant deck and you get to this point, it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
All right, we can move on to the next one. Ysera Unleashed, 9-mana 4/12 dragon. Battlecry shuffle 7 Dream Portals into your deck when drawn. Summon a random dragon. So it doesn't do anything immediately, but has a pretty powerful later effect.
Yeah, I mean, dragons can range from. That's 9 mana. Interesting. Cast when drawn. Yeah, I mean, the dragons can have a pretty wide range. You could literally get like a fairy dragon, and I think there's even some middling dragons like 5/4. There's a lot of 2/3s now, and then they range all the way up to like 8/8s and 9/9s.
12/12s even. Like the range is insane. You either get something that's like 12/12, or you get like the 2/3 lifesteal guy, and you're like, why? Why did I get that?
Yeah, I mean, this card's definitely playable. I think I don't know.
I don't like it that much.
I'm just gonna give it a 2. I don't really have a lot to say about it because it's just Quest Druid's just obviously a better deck.
That's what I'm saying. Is like you're not gonna put this in Quest Druid. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't think so. Like, I mean, you already have like infinite combos in Quest Druid. Why are we doing this? I don't know. I don't like it personally. I gave it a 2 because I could see it being played in a Druid deck, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I give it a 2 as well.
All right, that's the token for it. I think it's kind of cool. It's weird that it costs 9 mana. I don't get that. Alright, that was Druid. On to Rogue. Let's see what Rogue has to offer. Alrighty, right off the bat, a pirate card. I like to see that. 1-mana 1/1 pirate. Bloodsail Flybooter. Battlecry. Add 2 1/1 pirates to your hand. Alright. I'm liking this card. What do you think about it?
Seems really strong. For one, this can be played in pretty much any rogue deck because getting 1/1s just helps you with your combo enablers. Sometimes you sit there in your hand, might be a little clunky, and you need something to activate your evil miscreants. It's kind of similar to the reason why evil miscreant's so good. Just like the 1/1 lackeys always turn on your combo cards, and they're always like rogue is a really aggressive class, and you want to use all your mana, and cards like this just help you do that. And speaking of pirates, rogue is the class that's been supported the most by pirates, not warrior.
Yeah.
So there's another pirate I want to mention. It's a neutral. It's 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you summon a pirate, you summon it from free for your hand. And I think like that card with this card might actually make Raiding Party good.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. I mean, if you could just imagine playing this and getting like a 2/2 for free, and then Rogue has like really good follow up, it could be some really
Imagine
good
this stuff in
strong
like
starts.
Wild too, where like you play this, you get the 2/2 for free. Patches comes out the deck. You know, you're 1 mana 4/4 turn 1. Like, oh my gosh, I really like this card. I like
This
the
card
flavor of it. I
actually-
think it's good.
This card probably replaces Swashbuckler and Odd Rogue and Wild because I don't think they use the
No, they don't typically use that
Classified.
card.
yeah. So yeah, this card seems really strong.
I give it a 4.
I was
I
gonna
like
give
a
it.
lot.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay. It depends on how good the Pirate Rogue actually is. Here's a token for it. It's a Sky Pirate, just a 1 mana 1/1. Next one is Candle Breath. Oh, let me make sure we have Praise Galakron. Okay, that's the one after that. All right. Candle Breath, 6 mana spell, common. Draw 3 cards, cost 3 less while you're holding a dragon. So if you build this in a dragon deck, 3 mana, draw 3. That's a lot of draw.
Yeah. There's just I think they're really struggling with Rogue right now because with Rogue they like went down this Burgle route. They've gone down the Death Rattle route. Rogue has always been a part of like whatever the new push for the expansion is. Like in the past, they've had Mechathune support. This set it's Galakron support. But like to be honest, competitive Rogue decks have always just been about like backstab, shadow step, Edwin, eviscerate, sap. Like the entire classic set has already laid down the foundation for Rogue, and it's just every time I see a new Rogue card, it's like, is this good enough to deviate from that? And it's always been no, and this card's kind of no exception. So
I'm gonna agree with that.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a 1 just because it's a Rogue card.
Damn, I'm actually gonna give it a 3. I think one of the cool things about this is there could be like in the future like a Malygos Rogue, and you just want to cycle through your deck as quickly as possible. Could be wrong on that. I do think this card is like absurdly powerful in those decks because it's not even like you have to control the dragon; it's just holding it. So I think there is potential for it. So I don't think it's like that bad. But I definitely see your point where, you know, why am I going to differ from the other Rogue decks? That's what's been working with Rogue for a long time. But I'm still going to give it a 3. I like the card a lot.
Now that you mention it, there was a Malygos Rogue deck a while ago that only played like I think 4 or 5 minions. It played like 2 Cobalt Illusionists, 2 Elven Archers, and then Malygos, or not Elven Archer, 2 what's the 3/2 that draws 2 minions from your deck? Minstrel, Elven Minstrel.
Oh, yep.
I think in that deck, like, yeah, this card's a lot more reasonable because you draw your Malygos so often. But
That's true.
I don't recall any Malygos tutors, so maybe if there's one I'm forgetting, this card becomes playable.
Maybe. All right, next one is 1 mana spell, Praise Galakron. Give a minion +1 attack, invoke Galakron. Let me go check what the Rogue invoke Galakron is real quick. Just to double check to see what it's doing. Add a lackey to your hand.
Mhm.
So it is 1 mana, give +1 attack to a minion, and add a lackey to your hand. I mean, combo Rogue decks, maybe. It's a good like miracle card.
I don't know. I need a reason not to give all the Galakron cards for Rogue a 1. Like, I mean, this card's like good. Like spending 1 mana and getting a lackey, and like that's just like decent. I mean, it's kind of similar to the Warlock card, 1 mana discover a lackey, except giving +1 attack is like
it does
kind of like +1 damage.
It doesn't force you to play Galakron though, correct? Because like you'll invoke Galakron no matter where he is, even if he's not in your deck.
I think you at least have to be playing him.
Okay, all right. I'll give it a 1 then.
Says when an invoke card is played, the hero power of Galakron will be activated as long as the player has Galakron hero card in their hand, deck, or battlefield.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
you
then
do
I'll
have to
give it a 1
include
then.
Galakron in your deck. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 1 too.
All right. Well, then I'll give it a 1 then.
Yeah, I think I can give it a 1 too.
All right, next one is another 1-mana spell, Dragon's Horde. Discover a legendary minion from unknown. I don't like this card. I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't really see the potential for it.
I'm giving it a 1 as well.
Next one, 3-mana, Seal Fate, rare spell. Deal 3 damage to an undamaged character, invoke Galakron. So, deal 3 damage, add a lackey to your hand. You have to be playing Galakron. I don't know if Rogue wants to be doing that. I'm going to give it a 1. I don't care for it. I feel bad, like, you know, I think Rogue Galakron just, like, it doesn't make sense. You don't really want to be playing it in the deck.
I mean, this happens every expansion with Rogue. Like, Rogue just gets a bunch of unplayable cards, and then it's still
good.
Still top of your deck because the classic expansion is just nuts.
They have Edwin Van Cleef.
Yeah.
It's also undamaged characters. I guess you could go face with it, but like, I mean, it's like Sinister Strike. Yeah, I know, right? I need to invoke Galakron. Face. I mean. All right. Next one is Away. 5-mana 4/4 Battle Cry. Rare minion. If there are cards in your deck that didn't start there, draw 2 of them. I don't like it. I want to give it a 1, but unless there's something I'm missing, like I don't know.
The only thing I thought of was with Pogo Hopper. You can like play Pogo Hopper and then Togwaggle Scheme, but like your 5-mana card to draw them is Myra's unstable. Like you already have the payoff card, and Myra's is like insane compared to this card. So yeah, I don't think the body's gonna make up for it. So I'm gonna give it a 1 as well.
Yeah, someone in chat said he looks terrified. He looks scared for our rating we're about to give him. Like, oh God, please don't give me a 1.
He just saw all the new rogue cards.
All right, let's get to some better rogue cards now. All right, Necrium Apothecary, 4-mana 2/5 combo. Draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck and gain its Death Rattle. What are you thinking? Like that? I mean,
Necrium Blade is still legal. There's not really that many. We have Anka or whatever, the 5-mana 5/5 that like makes a Death Rattle a 1/1, like a 1-mana 1/1 version. That card's like pretty good. Maybe someone smarter than me can figure out a combo with Mechathune, but I don't know. I don't really. I just don't really see it.
Okay, what do you think about like playing something like Karen Bloodhoof in your deck?
Yeah. I think Karen is like probably one of the higher payoffs, but even that's
this card's good. I mean, I'll give it a 3.
Really?
Mechanical Whelp. Maybe it's like some newer version, like you just play tempo, you just play those cards at the end game. I can see what you're saying though. Like you're really like heavily focused on like how Rogue is now.
So like if Mechanical Whelp and Karen are the only Death Rattle minions in your deck, this card's a lot better. But then you have Karen and Mechanical Whelp in your deck. So how are you winning Hearthstone?
I'm playing this on 4, on 3.
I mean, yeah. Like maybe. All right, I'll give it a 2. I think it can be used for like cards like Spiteful Summoner, for example, which is like 6-mana 4/4 reveal. Like if you can build your deck around these cards to specifically like abuse their effects, then I think they're a lot better. But yeah, you have to make some real sacrifices because you have to put Karen and Mechanical Whelp into your deck. And maybe you only need to like play 2 copies. Like maybe you can optimize it. Maybe there's some other Death Rattle. I don't know.
I like the potential it has because like I just think it's really cool. Let's see. Next one. 4-mana 3/3 epic minion Umbral Skulker. Battle Cry. If you've invoked twice, add 3 coins to your hand. The odds of you invoking twice before this card comes down, I guess in Rogue is strong. Adding 3 coins to your hand, is that good enough?
Interesting. You can play this with Auctioneer. That's like really insane. Like, and Galakron draws cards and makes them cost 0. So now I'm thinking, is there actually like a Galakron Auctioneer deck? Probably not. This is like way too like out there, I think. Although I think this is like one of the better payoffs for being invoked twice.
I think so as well, because like I just need to get access back to the cards real quick. I'll get it in just a second so I can like, because I've been cycling through the cards myself. I just want to make sure I have access to them. But like you said, just mentioning on that card, like 4-mana 3/3 add 3 coins to your hand. I think it has some potential. The issue is like you gotta play Galakron cards. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like,
If Rogue got better Galacon cards, I'd be more excited for this. But right now, the support just isn't there.
all right, we're back in. So sweet, I've got control of it again. Um, I thought this card was good at first, and then I realized you gotta play Galacron cards, and I don't like the sound of that because I don't know if I want to play Rogue with Galacron. But maybe I'll change my mind later if I see Galacron. 2, I think, in those decks.
Giving it a 1.
Fair enough. All right, next one. 5 mana, Legendary Dragon, 7/5, Waxadread, Death Rattle. Shuffle a candle into your deck that resummons Waxadread when drawn. So, there's some potential for the 2/5, yeah.
Oh, wait. But that also works with the Stowaway, right?
If you have a card in your deck that does... Oh my gosh, man. Weird here. Because it didn't start in your deck, and you draw it.
Yeah, I think it works with the Stowaway. But even then,
is that worth it?
Yeah, is it worth it? Not really. I mean, I don't know.
So the plan is, you only play this for your Death Rattle. You coin out the 2/5. They kill it. Then you shuffle the candle. Then you play Stowaway the next turn. 5 mana, 4/4. And you draw the candle. And you have the 7/5 again.
Is that... So, it says... The Death Rattle says resummons Waxadread. So if you play the... What was the card called again?
It is called Necreum Apothecary.
Yeah, if you play the Apothecary and copy this Death Rattle, and then you draw the candle, does the Apothecary come back, or does it come back?
Waxadread.
Okay.
So that would be the Death Rattle. Resummons Waxadread. Not resummon this minion.
Okay, so it wouldn't do anything with the Apothecary then, right?
Would it not? I feel like it would.
Well, Apothecary is just Apothecary. Like, it wouldn't resummon...
But this minion doesn't say, like, it goes dormant. It just says when you... Let's see what the candle says. Cast when drawn, summon Waxadread.
Interesting. So I wonder if that would actually just straight up summon Waxadread if the Apothecary does.
Because, like, in the case of old cards, like the plant one, I forgot the name of it, but it was like the 4 mana 5/3 that would go dormant, and then after you played 3 cards or 4 cards in a turn, you would resummon it. Whereas this one initially says summon Waxadread. So I think it just, you play the 4 mana 2/5, you get that card, and then you draw Waxadread's candle, and it summons a 7/5.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still just going to be a 1 for me.
Fair enough. I'm going to give it a 2, because I would love to build that deck, but I could see where you're saying, like, it might just not be good. Especially with how Rogue is.
It just sounds like so many steps for such little payoff is kind of my issue.
That's fair. Alrighty. Next Rogue Legendary. 6 mana 4/4. Flick Sky Shiv. Battlecry, destroy a minion and all copies of it wherever they are. So even if they're in the eternal plane of the 4th dimension or whatever, you'll destroy them. This is, I mean, I saw Firebat's review of this card, or like the reveal of this card, and it was actually hilarious. And I like the theme of this card. I think it's really cool, and I like how it has like the chance to stop infinite combos. Like, that is no longer a thing. You see Baleful Banker, it is destroyed forever. Don't worry about it. What do you think?
I wish this existed in a different class.
Do you wish it was neutral, though?
Yeah.
You wish it was neutral? Okay, I guess
if this was neutral, it might be too good, because the effect is really strong, and I think a lot of classes would love this. But just being in Rogue specifically, I can't really see playing this card. Although I think it's... I'm trying to think. What's like... Said the 5 mana 5/5 and Shaman was like really good, but that's because it could go face. But this is like kind of similar because it just straight up destroys a minion, so it could be even like better. And like, I guess cards like Oasis Searcher and the new 5/4 Rush that like makes another 5/4 Rush. It's like good against that as well. Like, I don't know. I think to me this card's power level is going to be dependent on how good the secondary effect, the auxiliary effect of this is.
Okay.
Like, straight up the destroy minion. So I think just for 6 mana 4/4 destroy minion, this card's not good enough. But
all right, hear me out, Bloodyface. I'm gonna whisper this into your ear so that no one can hear. All right, they play Oasis Searcher on 5, and you play this.
I mean, yeah.
That's like the dream situation. But wait, it says wherever they are. Like, how would that work? just like not discover Oasis Surger from Worthy Expeditions? Like,
I think it just nukes it from like hand, duck, and
I think so as
build.
well.
Yeah, being able to like nuke a Oasis Surger from their hand as well is pretty sweet. So
I'm gonna give it a 3. I like the potential of this card.
I'll give it a 2. It's
All
just
right.
higher than most
Fair
other rogue
enough.
cards I've given.
Yeah, you have not been nice to the rogue class over there. I think that's the most we've differed. Like,
I mean, the Flybooter, I
the
think,
day.
is the best card.
Okay, makes sense. Alrighty, and now we get to Galakron. I'll go through all of Galakron's iterations. 7 mana, Battle Cry, draw 1 card. It costs 0. Invoke twice to upgrade. Gives you 5 armor, of course. The hero powers add a lackey to your hand. And then you draw 2 cards that cost 0. Then you draw 4 cards that cost 0, and you get the Dragon's Claw. So, I mean, it's fairly powerful. At least you get to play the card the turn it's drawn. The issue is you have to invoke it with, you know, the neutral cards and the rogue cards, and I don't think those cards are that good, but I could be wrong. Maybe this is just super powerful.
I think the effect's really powerful, and I still wonder about like maybe there's an Auctioneer Mechathune deck. Like maybe if
Okay.
there's a way to if you can somehow make Mechathune your last card and then play Galkaron. Or I guess like if that was a thing, I guess people had already figured it out with Togwaggle and Wand, because Wand can do that. Yeah, this card's effect seems pretty similar to Togwaggle. I think Togwaggle's like a lot easier to pull off because you just already want to play lackeys. But then again, you can play this with Togwaggle because invoking
you can do
Galkaron gives you lackeys. So I don't know, maybe there's like there might just be this rogue deck that just like tries to never run out of cards and just keeps generating lackeys and like keeps trying to draw cards over and over. And maybe in that case, like Galkaron could be good, but like he's like it's just the sad part about to me is the invoke Galkaron cards are just so weak. And like deal 3 damage to an undamaged minion or just give +1 attack. Those are just both just so underwhelming.
I mean, even with the fact that you get the lackey along with them, you think they're just underwhelming?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Like Evil Miscreant's really good. It's a 3-mana 1/4 that just gives you 2 lackeys. So maybe in like the deal 3-mana deal 3, it just gives you 1 lackey, so it's kind of similar to Evil Miscreant. Obviously you can't like abuse it, you can't shadow step it, you can't like synergize with the shark, but like it's still like on the surface like decent value. I mean, I'll give Galkaron a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 3 because I actually see potential in this deck. Like I think there could be potential in the Galkaron deck. I think it's just though I think this honestly Rogue and Galkaron is gonna be the hardest to evaluate because I don't know how much stronger it'll be to like all the other decks that are gonna come into play. But I do think it has potential. Like it seems like I mean drawing 4 cards costs 0 if you can fully upgrade it is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So that's the take on Rogue. Next, we're going to move on into Mage. Let's see what Mage has to offer. Mage is another one of those with, does not have Galkaron, but has side quests. The first one, 1 mana, learn Draconic. Side quest, spend 8 mana on spells, summon a 6/6 dragon. Is it worth it? I mean, 1 mana, 6/6 dragon, pretty decent, but gotta spend 8 mana on spells. Is Mage going to be doing that anyways? I'm not sure. I think it's a 1 to a 2. I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't like it.
Can you get side quests off of like Mana Cyclone, or those have been omitted?
I don't think side quests are the same as spells. So I'm gonna say no because I think it's like a card in and of itself to be a side quest. So I'm going to say no unless someone in chat wants to correct me on that because they have corrected us in the past. I'm gonna say no on that.
I'm gonna give this one a 2 just to make it stand out from the other ones. I think this one's reasonable. I think in like a Mana Cyclone type deck, it's like one mana is already like pretty low, and I know it's like a quest, so it's not like exactly a spell. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I think even if you play this and then Mana Cyclone, like it'll still count as a spell to like generate.
Okay, so Cyclone. Clarifying, side quests are spells.
Okay.
Is what someone said. Someone said Kalento did it. And then there's also counterspell would counter the quest.
Right. Yeah, that's always been a thing.
So, but I don't know if you can like discover them. You can't discover quests.
Yeah. So. It makes sense if it's not part of the discover pool, but it also makes sense that it's a spell. Yeah, I think this card's fine. Like I think this card's just straight up fine. I think like spending. Oh, it's 8. I actually thought it was 6. Okay, 8 mana is a little bit more. So I was thinking like, oh, just 2 secrets. Maybe it's not so bad. I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it stands out.
Okay, that's fair. I think it's probably one of the better side quests if you do it.
Well, what I do like about it is that you can kind of make a power spike turn with it.
Okay.
Like in combination, like you just play it and then you have your mana cycle in turn, and maybe you drop like a giant along with it, and you get a 6/6 to complete the quest. You just like put a lot of stuff on board. I like that part of it, but yeah, I kind of can see like it's still kind of weak.
Okay. All right, makes sense. All right, that's the token Draconic Emissary. That artwork's nice.
That's pretty sweet.
I do like that. I wish I was like card. Alrighty. 1 mana, 1/1 elemental, Violet Spellwing, Death Rattle. Add an Arcane Missiles spell to your hand. I mean, it's cool. I don't know if it's powerful, but I like the flavor of it. I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't think it's that strong, but I could be wrong. Maybe like some tempo deck. I don't know.
I mean, would you give Arcane Missiles a 1 though?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. I would give Arcane Missiles a 2.
Okay.
I don't.
I'd give it a 3 for each damage it does, but
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because I mean, I don't think it'll see play this expansion, especially since Babbling Book made a return, and that's all pretty much no play. Even in the Flamewaker Mage deck that you would think might see play, and it still don't see any play. Yeah, I'll give it 2.
That's Arcane Missiles. You didn't know. Alrighty. All right, we're getting back to this trend of having the dragon as a 2/3 that discovers another one. This one is a 4-mana 2/3 dragon, Azir Explorer, spell damage +2, battlecry, discover a dragon. How good is spell damage +2? I mean, Mage it's pretty good, but I don't know if Mage is like. I think Mage is like past the days of like shipping burn spells at face. Like they kind of moved quite away from that. So is this good?
No, not in those types of decks. For me, it's just in a Highlander Mage specifically. There's also the Malygos card, the new Malygos we haven't gotten to yet. And the problem when I was building Highlander Mage was there felt like there weren't enough good dragons I wanted to include. Like I think I hit around like 5 or 6, and in order to reliably have Malygos active on curve, I had like 7 or 8. Especially since I was playing like other cards like Crowd Roaster and stuff. So this card might be a necessity that you have to play in Highlander Mage just to turn on the rest of your deck. And I mean, it's fine. Like it's not that big a deal if you have to play this to replace itself. And the +2 spell damage can be a little bit scary for your opponent sometimes. Maybe you get like something good off Zephyrus or like combination with Flame Strike or Blizzard. But yeah, I think as a card overall, it's still pretty underwhelming. So I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, I give it 2 as well. I think it has potential, but I guess like the one thing is like most of the Mage dragons are pretty scary that you can discover. But ever since they did like that nerf to class specific discoveries, like it's not strong. Imagine
it was still class specific. Ooh.
Oh, I mean, imagine Malygos, Aspect of Magic, and then Caligos. You can get that one as well. Like, oh my gosh, that would be nuts. All right, next one is Arcane Breath. It's a 1-mana rare spell. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, discover a spell. So this goes right along with that Dragon Highlander. If you're holding a dragon, just discover an extra spell. 1-mana deal 2 is pretty decent. I mean, I think this card's okay.
I give it a 3. I really like this card. Has the exact same effect as Fire Tree Witch Doctor, but instead of being 2 mana, it's 1 mana. Instead of being a 2/2, you just deal 2. So those are
Which is sometimes better.
Yeah, I think those are like both 2 upgrades. Like I think for Mage, you'd rather be dealing damage than just summoning 2/2s, anyways. Yeah, being able to discover a spell is, I think, really important in Highlander Mage. Just gives you extra flexibility. So not only is it like, and like at the floor of it, like even if you don't have a dragon, just 1-mana deal 2 against stagger decks are fine. Against any other deck, like you're just gonna wait to draw a dragon and then it's gonna be good. So
yeah, it's true. I like giving it a 3 as well. I think it's a really solid card and we'll see play.
Yeah.
Next one is another side quest. 1-mana Elemental Allies is a rare. Play an elemental 2 turns in a row. Draw 3 spells from your deck. I don't really care for this. I don't want to be playing elementals back-to-back turns.
Yeah,
like I've never liked cards that restrict what you're doing. So like this card, when I play it, if I've played an elemental, I'm going to want to be playing an elemental the next turn. Like that locks up my turn, and I never like doing that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also have to play elementals and not dragons. So that's not as fun.
Alrighty, next one is a 6-mana 4/4 minion, Dragon Caster. Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, the next spell this turn costs 0.
This card is like what the hell? This card's too good. Like what was the other one? There's like a 7-mana 5/5 that was if you have no duplicates, you get your next spell free. And that card was
Grandmaster Celia.
Yeah, that card was insane in Highlander Mage. And now we have Puzzle Box. We have also we have ways to discover spells. You could like discover a Pyroblast.
Yep, Pyroblast, Fireball in the same turn, 16 damage.
I do want to note that I did check the stats on Power Overwhelming for this expansion, and Power Overwhelming got a nerf. Or is it Power Overwhelming?
Which card are you talking about?
Power of Creation.
Okay, Power of Creation, yeah.
That card got a nerf. I went and checked all the 6-drops. I'm pretty sure we got no new taunts, and all the minions are just like basic stats. Like they don't have like rush or anything for all the 6-drops. So Power of Creation got a slight nerf, which makes this card a little bit weaker because there's not like a ton of like really expensive spells, and Power is one that comes to mind. But even without Power, like Puzzle Box, Flame Strike, Blizzard, even the new Rolling Fireball card that we're going to get to.
There's also someone in chat mentioned Pocket Galaxy.
Oh yeah, Pocket Galaxy
earlier.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Wow. All right, Pocket Galaxy might be back on the menu. Yeah, this card's just insane.
Yeah, dude, this might be a 5. Like this card for Mage will do a lot. Like it will put in a lot of work. I'm gonna give it a 4, but I'm wondering if you give it
4 too.
Oh, holding on for that 5. You are really waiting for that. I like that card a lot though. Next one is 5 mana spell, epic, Rolling Fireball. Deal 8 damage to a minion. Any excess damage continues to the left or right. I love the flavor of this card. I didn't read this card. That's one of the cards I didn't read, and now reading it, I'm like, wow, that's really cool flavor because it's like it could go to the left, it could go to the right. You don't know. 8 damage to a minion for 5 mana is quite a lot too.
Yeah, it's no Meteor, but Meteor was like super pushed. Meteor was insane. But this card has more flexibility than Meteor because it can clear a board of 1/1s. It can just 3 or 4 2/2s or something. And you also get to choose where to put the damage. And this card's almost impossible to play around too, right? It's just because you don't really know which direction it's going to go in. So, I mean, you could theoretically play around it, but it's going to be really difficult to figure out the optimal positioning.
Maybe you do the VOD research on your opponent when they've been playing this card, and you realize that it goes to the left 70% of the time. So, but no, I do agree with you. You really can't play around this, but I like it a lot. I'm gonna have to give it a 3. I think dealing 8 damage to minions.
Give it a 3 as well.
All right, next one is a card. I've heard a lot of controversy over this one. This one has a lot of potential. It is a new giant. 8 mana, 8/8 elemental, mana giant. Costs 1 less for each card you've played this game that didn't start in your deck. So how good is this to you, Bloodyface?
I think it's definitely on the underwhelming side of things. Okay. I've seen some people think it's one of the best cards in the new expansion. And I think they're maybe remembering Cyclone Mage too fondly. Part of the reason why Cyclone Mage was so good was because it had 5 mana Pocket Galaxy, it had 3 mana Conjure's Calling, and it was also when there weren't very many expansions out. I think there were only 3 actual expansions out at the time, whereas we've picked up 2 new expansions since then, and Cyclone Mage has actually been invalidated since last expansion. It hasn't really seen play in top tier play. And it feels like this is trying to bring it back from the dead, but you have to play a lot of spells before this gets really cheap. Having to actually go through the motions and playing 8 spells that didn't start in your deck, because you have to have a way to generate the spells first of all, and that's going to take some time, and it's going to take some mana. And then after you get the spells, they have to be good enough to play. Which
that's been a big issue.
You don't want to, and then the payoff is, all right, let's say at the end of the time you get a 0 mana 8/8. Well, what turn is it? Is it turn 8? Is it turn 9? Is it turn 10? 0 mana 8/8 on those turns is it's good, but if that's all you've been working towards this whole time, it's you could do better. And there's also the combination.
Do better.
Yeah. I mean, just think about how
so much better with your
Highlander Mage gets Reno, which is just 6 mana board clear, and Zephyrus, and there's also the new Alexstrasza card. So if you're not playing Highlander Mage, you better be getting a really good payoff, and I don't think Mana Giant is that payoff.
All right, I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't like this card at all. I think you hit the points really well. Back to Rolling Fireball real quick. I think Monsanto asked. I'm not sure the clarification on this. Someone in chat can comment it. Deal 8 damage to minion. Any excess damage continues to the left or right. I'm not sure if it does all the excess damage to one spot or if it bounces back and forth.
The way it reads, I would assume it just continues in one direction and
I would
doesn't like
assume
bounce
so
it around.
too.
Because it's
But,
like rolling. I don't know any fireballs that like roll one direction and then stop.
I mean,
and
it
just
hits
go
the
the other
wall of the
direction.
minion and then it bounces back. And
I could see that. Actually, if it does hit like the wall, I could see it like going the other direction.
So if someone chat can clarify that, I'm not actually sure. I'll comment it when I get clarification. But I would assume it hits all of the damage on the next target, but I could be wrong. All right, another one for controversy over here. Chinvala. I hope I pronounced that right. 3-mana 2/5 elemental. After you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 elemental. I think if there is some weird, Cyclone Mage of the past that has potential, it is probably because of this card. I think this card has potential, but like you're saying, I kind of want to play Highlander. I'm not sure if I want to be playing something with this.
I mean, this is like one of those cards where kind of what I envision is if my opponent plays against this on me like a turn 3, I'm really scared. But I think the reality of it is, even if I just pass back, a lot of the times they're not going to be able to make a 5/5 on turn 4, which means that, and reliably, they're only going to be able to start making 5/5s on like maybe turn 6, turn 7, turn 8. Which at that point, I can handle a 5/5. Like, how many 5/5s do you need to make before this card starts being overwhelming? Like, probably like 3. Maybe like if you make 2 5/5s, it's like it's like pretty decent value, but that's pretty hard to play 6 spells. If it just makes 1 5/5, it's like you had to make a 5/5 and it inconvenienced you. Like you also had to like hold cheap spells, and I don't know.
It's also like, spells. It's not like cards, so like you can't like innervate out or whatever the 0 mana spell that makes the elementals reduced. You can't do that with Mana Cyclone, and then that's 2 of the cards. That's only 1 because it is 3 spells. It is not cards.
Yeah, but then again, like 3 mana 2/5 is like a pretty decent stat line, and
it'll probably stick quite a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think this is like realistically what'll end up happening is your opponent will play it, you'll just ignore it, and then it'll probably do nothing for a while. It'll either die, like it'll either get value traded, or it'll make a 5/5, and that's probably going to be it. Like if this makes a 5/5, it probably did its job, and if that's its job, that's kind of underwhelming. So
yeah, and then there was Flamewaker for a period of time where people tried that deck, and that wasn't even good enough. And Flamewaker for 3 spells deals 6 damage to random targets. Like that's also an insane effect. So maybe it's not as good. I'm still going to give it a 3 because I think it has potential, but I don't see it right now.
Yeah, I was going to give it a 2.
Okay. And here's what the elemental looks like. It's a snow elemental. Oh, I like that. Why can't that be a card? A snow elemental. Alrighty. Now on to the last legendary. Malygos Aspect of Magic. 5-mana 2/8 dragon. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, discover an upgraded mage spell. I'm going to go through all these mage spells before we review the card. First one is Malygos Frostbolt. This is 0 mana Frostbolt. Next one is Malygos' Missiles. It is 1 mana, deals 6 damage randomly split. Malygos' Nova. It's a 1 mana Frost Nova. Malygos' Polymorph. It's a 1 mana Polymorph. Malygos' Tome. It is a 1 mana, add 3 random mage spells to your hand instead of just the 1. Malygos' Explosion. Instead of dealing 1 to all enemy minions, it deals 2. And Malygos' there's a couple more. Malygos' Intellect. Draw 4 cards instead of 2. Malygos' Fireball. Deal 8 damage instead of 6. And Malygos' Flame Strike. Deal 8 damage to all enemy minions instead of 4. So those are all of them. Unless I said the mana cost was different, it's going to be the same. So some pretty insane spells there.
Yeah. I actually want to change what I said. I was only going to give 1 card a 5, but I think I'm going to give this card a 5 as well.
Really? Oh, we got the 5 out of Bloodyface.
I mean,
so what makes you give it a 5?
All these cards are nuts, especially the Tome, the 1 mana add 3 random spells, and the Arcane Intellect, draw 4 cards. Like I really like getting more and more value. It also, because like part of the problem with like Highlander mages, you can't find room for cards like Barista. But like the thing with Malygos is you get to choose. You get to choose Greed or if you need some immediate effect. And not only does that like offer you really good flexibility, but if you choose Greed, the Greed part is like just so good.
Oh yeah,
it's just so insane.
My gosh. It's also, I like how versatile it is. I mean, it's just so cool. I think the only issue you might have with this card, which is why I'm not going to give it a 5, is that like let's say your options are Missiles, Nova, and Explosion. Like, you're not going to be too happy. So there is a chance you can whiff on this card because it is Discover. And I doubt they give you all,
like even if this was just like get a random upgraded mage spell, I'd still give it a 4. But being able to discover it to me is just what puts it over the top. Yeah, that's what puts it over the top.
That's fair. I'm gonna give it a 4. I think it's good. I think we'll see a lot of play, but I don't know about 5 level, but probably finally got that 5 out of you. It took a while. And going back through the spells, we're done with Mage. Time to move on to Warlock. First Warlock card is 1 mana spell, Rain of Fire. Deal 1 damage to all characters. I don't like it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a 1.
Okay. Kind of like a side quest. It's a 1. I just don't see the applications for it when there's so much better removal. Alrighty. Fiendish Rites, 3 mana spell. Invoke Galakron. Give your minions +1 attack. Let me go double check what the Invoke Galakron for Warlock is. It is Hero Power. Summon 2 1/1 imps. So effectively, this card is 3 mana. Summon 2 1/1 imps. Give your minions +1 attack. That's not bad,
right?
Yes, they will be 2/1s because it says Invoke first.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the order of the Invoke which matters how the minion comes out.
I think this card's reasonable. Like getting 2 2/1s on 3 on curve is like fine, but just getting the upgraded Invoke Valakron card is just what makes it worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it I'll give it a 2. I don't think it's crazy good, but you will play it in the Invoke Galakron decks.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more playable ones out of some of the other ones we've seen.
I agree. It's no Shaman. Like, there's no Shaman Invoke.
Oh my god.
Alrighty. Next one is Abyssal Summoner, 6 mana 2/2. Battle Cry, summon a demon with taunt and stats equal to your hand size. So if you're playing Handlock, you get that 6 mana, you get that big taunt out there. It does synergize with some of the other cards you'll see later on with Warlock. I'm not a huge fan of it. What do you think of it?
So if you summon, I feel like most of the time it's going to be like 6/6 or 7/7 ideally.
Okay.
And then if you're playing a really greedy matchup, you can get all the way up to a 9/9.
Maybe an 11/11. If you got that.
Yeah.
12 cards in hand.
Cards. I don't know. I don't think it's like that great, but like, I just want to know if there's like a way to like abuse the body. It's a 6-drop. Like, Warlock doesn't really have any mutate effects, and like I don't think I really want to Brewmaster this card.
I guess you could get the Lackey, like the upgraded Lackey, but like you don't really want to be playing those in Handlock. I don't think.
Yeah. Like, it feels like a lot of the potential in this card could be in the 2/2 side of things. Like, maybe there's some way to abuse the 2/2. But if you're just playing it just for the pure stats, then it's kind of underwhelming, I think. I think it's still playable, though, so I'll give it a 2.
Okay, I give it a 1. I don't think it's playable. I don't like this card that much. Alrighty. Next one. Dragon Blight Cultist. Battlecry. Invoke Galakron. Gain +1 attack for each other friendly minion. So effectively, when you play this, you will be guaranteed 2 imps. When you get those 2 imps, this is guaranteed to be a 3 mana 3/1 at the least. I don't think it's good. I'm gonna give it a 1, but
yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1 as well.
Alright, so you gotta go down 1, I think, because they were out of order.
Oh, gotcha.
Alright, just making sure. I mean, maybe you have to play the Evoke Galakron decks, but I think there might be good enough neutrals that you don't have to play this. I don't like it that much. Alrighty, next one. 2 mana spell, rare, Nether Breath. Deal 2 damage. If you're holding a dragon, deal 4 damage with lifesteal instead. Now this, it seems like a pretty good Warlock card. Maybe you play like a Highlander Warlock with some dragons in it. Maybe you just play a straight up Dragon Handlock. It seems like it's got potential.
Yeah, I mean, this card reminds me a lot of Spellstone, which is a staple in Warlock for the longest time. And it's only 2 mana. I think this card's... I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay, wow.
This is like the kind of card where I wish I could play like 4 copies of. Because I think something Warlock lacks is removal, strangely enough. Especially removal that gives you lifesteal, so it's good at any point in the game. Being able to like kill a Northshire Cleric early, or like an you just need ways to interact early with Warlock, and we're gonna get to it in a minute, but there's also another AoE card that Warlock's gonna get for dragons. And so I think that like out of all the dragon classes, I think Warlock has got the better end of the stick.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4.
All right, I'm gonna give it a 3. I think it's really good. I think we'll see playing all those decks. The question is, how good will those decks be? I guess that's the new question we'll have to see. It'll probably be pretty good though, so maybe it does deserve the 4. But for now, I'll give it a 3. Alrighty, next one. We're gonna get to the first dragon Warlock has 5 mana 5/5 Crazed Netherwing. Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all other characters. Okay, can I go back and change the
yeah, this is what I was
to a 4? I forgot this card existed. This is a Hellfire for 1 extra mana with a 5/5 body. This card is nuts.
Yeah, this card is nuts. Man.
That's a 4. It's an easy 4.
It's a 4. It actually has potential to be a 5 if the rest of the Warlock class wasn't so underwhelming. Yeah, it's basically Dustbreaker. But
wow.
5/5, like the 5/5 is like huge though. Like
yeah, that's massive. You don't even need to play Hellfire in those decks anymore.
I'm pretty sure you just cut Hellfire now.
Dang, wow. Yeah, that's a powerful card. That's an easy 4.
Yeah, definitely one of the best cards of the set.
I liked it a lot. Alrighty, next one is 3 mana spell, Dark Skies. Deal 1 damage to a random minion. Repeat for each card in your hand. Ooh, so that's a pretty powerful removal for Handlock. You know, they just played on turn 3. They'll probably have, you know, cast on turn 1, life tapped on turn 2. If they've got the coin, you know, it does a little bit more damage. What are your thoughts? Because I know you're really excited for Handlock because I saw you building like a Handlock version earlier.
Yeah, I couldn't. The thing with Handlock is it's kind of hard to decide between like how greedy you want to be and like how many dragons you want to play. Because the more dragons you play, the more you're less Handlock and you're more of like this mid-range deck. Okay. But then like, what's your payoff, right? It's kind of hard to find a payoff for Warlock right now. I like the way you kind of like introduce this card. A lot of times Warlock is either going to be playing like a Doomsayer onto or just nothing at all. So just this card really fits into like the tap strategy, which is what Warlock wants to do. Warlock's at his best when it has 10 cards in his hand every turn. It's tapping, and you know, with the file gone, Warlock's been kind of lost and hasn't really had a great way for board clear, and I think this helps a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. It's not quite as strong as Defile, but it's definitely gonna be included in a Handlock deck.
I like 3 as well because I think it definitely makes the cut in Handlock decks. All right, next one we got Veiled Worshipper. 4 mana 5/4 Battle Cry. If you've invoked twice, draw 3 cards. So this card, if played on curve, you know, that's pretty insane. The question is, are you playing the Invoke Warlock cards to do this? I don't think you're playing Dragonblight Cultist, so that remains that you have to play like the neutral ones plus Fiendish Rites to do it. So the question is, does this make the cut? I mean, if you're playing a Galakron deck, you're playing this card. Like, this card is insane. Yeah. The question is, are you playing a Galakron version of Warrior? Or Warlock, sorry.
Yeah. I'm honestly not sure because, I mean, the way they're making the Galakron Warlock seem is that it's not like a Zoo deck where like Zoo is like all about like your 1 and 2 drops and just value trading, and you know, you have a few payoffs like Sea Giant or whatever. But with the way they're making it seem like Galakron Warlock is more of a curve out deck. You just have minions that you can like continuously play on curve, and then when you play Galakron, he summons demons. So that's like your big like power spike or whatever. And this is like kind of another similar power spike as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like the invoke cards are all pretty underwhelming. Like Fiendish Rites is good, but then the X one that gets attacked.
Dragonblight Cultist is not.
Yeah, Dragonblight Cultist is so bad, and you don't have the luxury that Shaman just like got so pushed with Galakron. Like they just got a guy that just invoked twice. Like they just made Shaman's life easy. I don't know why Shaman gets it so easy, and Warlock has to like really fight to invoke Galakron. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 2. I think if Galakron was a little bit better, invoking Galakron was a little bit better, I'd give it a 3.
I think at least with like the Warlock's invoke, you get 2 1/1s as well, which is actually pretty good. So like even your neutral minions, like let's say there's like a neutral like 2 mana invoke Galakron, you'll be getting 2 1/1s with it, which is actually like insane. It's kind of like Shaman's where it immediately impacts the board.
That's true.
So I think I'm going to give it a 3 in an invoke Galakron.
Okay.
Card's insane. But
actually, yeah, you convinced me. I'll give it a 3.
Like the question is, will Galakron Warlock be good? So now we can take a look at Galakron himself. Galakron the Wretched. Battlecry, summon 1 random demon. Invoke twice to upgrade. The hero power is summon 2 1/1 imps. Then these are what the imps look like. I actually like the art of the imp a lot. That's pretty sweet. Next up, you summon 2 random demons if you've invoked them twice. And you've invoked them again twice. Summon 4 random demons and equip that 5/2 claw that we've been seeing over and over. So, random demons could be really good, could be really bad. So at least you're doing something, though. Like, it's not like the warrior one or the rogue one where, well, I guess rogue you would be doing something. But at least it's not like the warrior one where you draw the minions and you have to wait a turn.
Yeah. I think I should have done my homework for this one. I don't know how strong all the demons are. I'm assuming not very strong. There's actually once upon a time where Bane of Doom was playable because
the demon pool was just that strong.
I remember there's a point there was 16 demons, and I remember counting 7 of them were just like completely busted. And that was back when we had like Doomguard and Mal'Ganis and Void Caller. Whereas like nowadays we don't really have any broken demons. So
if anything, we have like weak demons, like fairly weak ones.
There's like a bunch of like mid-statted ones. Like there's like I think the 5/8. Or is that Battlegrounds? I might be confusing Battlegrounds.
You're probably confusing Battlegrounds. There is a 5/8. I don't think that's a demon though. I could be wrong.
All right, I got my Hearthstone client up. So
look through the demons.
We got Jumbo Imp, which is a 8/8. Draxus 3/15. Fellord Beltrug is a 5/7. Rift Cleaver.
Some decent stat lines.
So yeah, we got a few like stuff in the 6/6 range.
But we don't have no Void Lord. We don't have no, Mal'Ganis.
Yeah, there's nothing that is just like, I think like Draxus.
Okay, so the 5/8 is in standard as well, but I don't think it sees play. So you can get the 5/8 taunt.
Is it? I don't see it.
Maybe you just don't have it. You dusted them all. I think it's a common though.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is. I definitely dusted it. So like, if this thing summons 4 things that are around the size of like 4/4 to 6/6, that's like pretty good, especially if you're curving it.
But you could get Wretched Imp, Blood Imp.
Yeah, there's a lot of low rolls. I don't know. I think this is kind of underwhelming.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 2 as well.
I think like the combination of this card plus the Galakron, it's like no Shaman. Yeah, Shaman, you know what you're getting. You are getting 2 8/8s every time. This one's like, some games you play it and you blow your opponent out of the water. Some games you play it and you're like, why am I playing this card right now?
Yep, exactly.
Alrighty. I feel like you have to upgrade it to 4, which makes it even a little bit worse. Because
having to play 4 invokes is a lot to ask for.
Yeah. Alrighty, here we get into some interesting cards. I love the style of this new legendary. I think it is absolutely just cool how they're willing to break the boundaries of the game with this. Next one is Valdris Felgorge, 7 mana 4/4, Battlecry. Increase your maximum hand size to 12, draw 4 cards. So not only are you doing something the game has never been done before in the game, having 12, at least up to 12 cards, you can actually play this while you have 8 cards in your hand. You don't have to be worried about, dumping your hand and then being like, all right, now I can play this card finally. It's like you draw 4 cards as well. That is crazy. How good is it though?
Struggling to give it a 2. I mean, it's just seven mana for a 4/4. Is like,
yeah.
When is that ever playable? Especially in a class that has a hero power where you get to draw cards anyways.
That's true. And I mean, you're kind of fine with having 10 cards in hand. I don't know. If I had 12 cards in hand, I might be overwhelmed, dude. Knowing what cards to play. I already have a hard enough time. I'm an aggro player. I like having 1 card in my hand that I know I'm playing, let alone 12.
I don't know. Octosari is 1 more mana for an 8/8, and it draws 8 cards. I was trying to think of the other ways. Maybe instead of hand lock, you play this in a mid-range type Warlock deck, and you use this as reload. But the body is just
care about the 12 hand size. You just use it for the draw 4.
Because if you play in a hand lock deck, you can't really afford to spend 7 mana and just not really develop on the board. I mean, you can sometimes, but what's the payoff for doing that? Yeah, but what's the payoff? You get to play the 6-drop 2/2 that summons a 12/12 or 11/11 instead of
you get a life tap with 10 cards in hand and not burn a card. The payoff.
Yeah, I just don't really feel like the payoff is there, unfortunately.
No, I
So
agree with you. I'm giving this card a 1. I don't think I'll
yeah,
see playing.
I was
It's
hoping
really
you
cool.
could convince me otherwise,
No,
but
I'm not convincing you. If anything, I'll convince you to give it less. Like I don't like this card. All right, let's get on to another interesting one. 8 mana 4/12 dragon. I'm gonna butcher this name. Zizaraku, maybe. Zizaraku the Warped. Whenever your hero takes damage, summon a 6/6 Nether Drake.
is he like?
That's
Sounds like he was sleeping. You got the couple Z's at the beginning.
yeah. He definitely won't be putting his opponent to sleep, though. He'll definitely be waking his opponent up with how many 6/6s he's gonna be summoning. I mean, on turn 10, you can like play this life tap, get a 6/6 as well. That's what 10-18 worth of stats on turn 10. It's pretty strong.
Kind of reminds me of Jiraxis a little bit, because Jiraxis hero power makes you a 6/6, and this also technically makes your hero power give you a 6/6 as well. So, and it also works in conjunction with the 5 mana 5/5 that Hellfires. So you're probably gonna play these two in the same deck if you do end up playing this card, which I'm not sure if you do. But if you do end up playing it, it does synergize well with the other 5/5.
It's also hard to remove. Like 4/12 is difficult to remove. Like if it sticks up for a turn and you start doing crazy stuff like life tap, dark bomb your own face, like you just like. I mean, I know dark bomb's not in standard, but you get what I'm saying. Like if you start damaging your own face, like. This card's got some strong potential. I mean, I don't know if it's like meta defining, but I'm gonna give it like a 3. Like I think this card's really good.
Oh wow. I was like,
think it's that good?
I honestly think it's a 1, but I was gonna give it a 2 because I like the card. I just can't really picture it like fitting in the meta.
Okay, I can see that. I just love the card. I don't know. I think it's got potential. Could be wrong on that though.
It's at least a dragon. Gets bonus points for that.
Yeah, there we go. We can hold it. Maybe it's a 2 originally, but because it's a dragon, the other card's better. I give it. Alrighty. I think that's it for this is what the Nether Drake looks like. I like the artwork on that one as well. The artwork on this cards have been insanely good. I think up next we're gonna move on to Priest. This will be the last class, and then we'll move on into your neutrals. I don't think the neutrals will take nowhere near as long as like the class ones, because like class you have to talk about like dynamics of it. You have to figure out how they're working with the other classes in the old cards. The neutrals are just like, all right, what decks do you put this in? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of fillers as well for neutrals.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's do Priest. The first one is Whispers of Evil. 0 mana, add a lackey to your hand. And the lackeys, of course, you should know them all by now, hopefully. There will be a new one, Draconic Lackey, 1 mana, 1/1, discover a dragon. So, I mean, 0 mana Priest spells. I mean, Priest spells pretty decent. I mean, I don't really see what this goes in right now, but maybe if there's like another like Chef.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nomi
like
Priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nomi Priest is the only application for this right now. And even then, I don't think you really needed more 0-cost spells. Like I think that deck already had enough 0-cost spells. If anything, that deck's been cutting 0-cost spells because the recent iterations of Nomi I've seen are running Northshire Cleric and Wild Pyromancer, and they're using like Circle of Healing to draw most of their deck, and like Auctioneer is more of like an auxiliary card draw. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give this a 1 just because it's useful.
As well.
Its usefulness is literally that it's a 0 mana spell. The effect just is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, especially in like Priest, like what are you really looking for lackey wise? Like the other lackey generators in Priest were never played. Like you don't really want lackeys in Priest. Yeah. I mean, maybe you want to discover the Draconic one, but it's not even discover, it's add. So like.
Yeah. If it was discovered, it'd actually be really good.
Okay. Here's the next one. 1 mana, 1/2. Disciple of Galakron. Battlecry, invoke Galakron. And I will remind everyone what the Priest Galakron Battlecry is, or hero power is. Add a random Priest minion to your hand. So it is 1 mana, 1/2. Add a random Priest minion to your hand.
It's basically Pharaoh Cat.
Yep.
But only Pharaoh Cat if you're playing Galakron. And Pharaoh Cat and Priest is not the class I care about having a good 1-drop for. Oh man, it replaces itself, but like.
And 1 mana 1/2s have been like notoriously pretty decent if they can replace themselves, like Town Crier or Pharaoh Cat. I mean, even 1 mana 1 replace themselves have been pretty good. The issue, like you were mentioning, is it's Priest. It's not Rogue. It's not Shaman. It's not Warrior. It's Priest.
Yeah, I don't. So like I kind of get what they're doing from a design perspective. Galakrond destroys minions. The priest Galakrond destroys minions, and I think Time Rip is the other invoke Galakrond, which destroys a minion. And then Galakrond's hero power generates minions, and like this guy generates minions. So they're trying to like go with the whole, oh, here's your removal and here's your card generators to like try and balance things out. But I think like when it comes to competitive play, this just isn't enough. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I think I'm gonna give it a 2. Like it's not Northshire Cleric, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna give it a 2 because you will play it in the Galakrond deck.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you'll be playing Galakrond Priest. I think Priest is gonna be in a weird spot, but we'll see the rest of the cards. And I did want to go back to the Sleepy Dragon Zizaraku, because someone in chat said something pretty cool about it. If you play this card, your opponent cannot damage your face until this thing's dead. It's not just it's not just like when you life tap. It is like whenever your hero takes damage. So if they are playing Pirate Warrior and they hit you in the face, I mean, you're probably dead.
All right, I'll give it a 3.
Yeah, we got him. Let's go.
I'm surprised I overlooked that. Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's basically like 12 extra health for Warlock. Sometimes.
It basically is taunt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're like I don't care how many 6/6s you get. But then if you're like swinging like 1 mana, 1 attack minions, you're just like, I can kill him next turn, and you give him like 7 6/6s.
Oh man, I'm definitely going to play that on day 1. Like my opponents just won't even notice, just attack me for 2 or something. Thanks for the 6/6.
That's pretty funny. All right, moving on with the pre-spells though. 4 mana Grave Rune. Give a minion Death Rattle. Summon 2 copies of this. So I mean, it's like a really buffed up Ancestral Spirit, I think is the card. For Shaman. Instead, it's in Priest. The question is like, my initial thought is, what does it curve into? What 3-drop do you play? I mean, maybe Injured Blade Master into this, but they're most likely going to kill Injured Blade Master if you don't heal it up.
Yeah, if this was a Shaman card, I'd be more excited because you could go Earth Elemental into Grave Rune. But I don't really know any like big taunts that you can like cheat out.
I guess maybe you do like some weird like you said, like Chef Nomi Priest, and then you play the Grave Horror for free, and then you just slap this on it.
Grave Horror, right. Yeah, but Grave Horror is already like, you're already a Seance.
I know, if you're playing a Grave Horror, it's like, you're playing 2 of them in the one turn because you've been drawing through your entire deck, and like,
yeah,
and Seance, to overkill it.
And you have Seance as well, so you don't even need Grave Rune. You have 2 mana, 7/8, yeah, I think this is a 1.
Okay. I mean, you also, maybe that like Death Rattle version with Mass Resurrection, you play like a good Death Rattle, like the 5 mana 2/6. They don't kill it because it's awkward, and then you put this on it, and they just keep getting it back. So I think it's got potential, but I don't see it being too good, so I'm gonna give it a 2.
Celiax, maybe you could like.
Oh, there we go. That's a card to put it on.
I don't know. It's like we're having to think of really good cards to put this on, and those cards are already good by themselves. Like,
yeah, I know,
they don't need Grave Rune to like lift them up.
Alrighty, so you gave that one a 1. Next one is Breath of the Infinite. It is a 3 mana pre-spell. Rare, deal 2 damage to all minions. If you're holding a dragon, only damage enemy minions. Or only damage enemies. Minions. Yeah. So I mean, some Dragon Priest vibes. Maybe, Dragon Priest might make a return. It was such a good deck in the past. Does this make it
I agree that there might be a Dragon Priest. Biggest issue for me when I was building it was having a finisher, because back in the day you had Shadow Reaper Anduin, then you had Mind Blast and like Alexstrasza to finish.
Okay.
Whereas now with the new Galkaron isn't really like in the game. Like he clears the board. Like he's basically like a light bomb or whatever. He's a mass AoE after you invoke him a few times, but then he just generates random priest cards, and it's not really like how priests should be winning. Like they need to try and end the game by like burning their opponent out. The issue for me with like this card in particular is that it's at odds with Wild Pyromancer. Back when Dragon Priest was really good, they would play Northshire Cleric and Divine Him with Wild Pyromancer and like Power Word Shield, and then you also have Fire Tree Witch Doctor to discover other cheap spells. So I think that like Priest doesn't really have a shortage of being able to deal with like small minions in play. Okay. So I actually don't think this makes the cut a lot of times, or at least when I was building it. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 2.
I think it a 3.
Yeah. I think it's playable, but I personally couldn't fit it in.
That's fair. I mean, it's hard to fit in like certain cards, especially when you have like such little space. The next one we're getting to is one of the first dragons for Priest. It is a 5-mana 4/5 called Chrono Breaker. Death Rattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. I wish this was a battle cry, but it unfortunately is not. I think it's okay. You might play it, but I don't. I wish this was a battle cry, but it'd be too close to like Dustbreaker.
There's one slight upside of being Death Rattle, and that's playing Dead Ringer along with it. Like Dead Ringer's the 2-mana 2/1 Death Rattle, draw a Death Rattle minion. So, like that in conjunction with this, you can always reliably have a dragon in case you're ever worried about not having enough dragons in your deck. And then it also there's another Death Rattle we haven't gotten to, the 3-mana 3/3 Death Rattle, summon a copy of whatever opponent's minion. That card's insane too. So you could like run a little Dead Ringer package with Chrono Breaker, but I kind of agree. Chrono Breaker on its own is like really underwhelming. I mean, you just play it out there, and it does make it kind of awkward. It kind of reminds me of Fate Weaver. Fate Weaver was like the 5-mana 5/3 in Druid, where you like secretly choose something, and most of the time it's like going to be dealing 3. But like a lot of times you can just like ignore the Fate Weaver, and you don't really care about it.
The thing with Fate Weaver is at least you could like kill it off on the next turn on one of their minions. This one is probably not gonna die to an aggro deck.
That's a good point. Trade. This might be better as like a 4/1 actually. Yeah. Because then at least you could like Holy Smite it or something. But
exactly.
Yeah, you have to jump through a lot of hoops, and it costs 5 mana. Like the problem is it does nothing. Like when you play it, it does nothing. Like it needs taunt or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up giving it a 2. I think like in the Dragon Priest, you might play like 1 to 2 of this.
Yeah,
it could be decent, but I don't see it being that good. Alrighty, next one is Time Rip, 5 mana, destroy a minion, invoke Galakron. So again, destroy a minion, add a random priest minion to your hand. It is an assassinate, but I guess a little bit better. I think it's like I'm gonna give this a 1. I don't think priest needs this.
I mean, I felt like Priest Galakron had so much potential because Priest is kind of lost right now. Or I mean, besides combo Priest, obviously, but like having a control Priest is kind of lost, and it would have been nice if the hero power on Galakron was good, or at least something that impacted the board. But like, adding random Priest cards in my hand.
No, I'm not. I don't want to like 2 mana add a priest minion to my hand. Like I think it is minion, right? Let me go check.
I think it is too.
Random priest minion to your hand. Yeah, at least it's not even like card. I mean, I guess if it was card, you can get like some useless cards.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. So you gave Time Rip a 2. All right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Next one, I know, right? It's just like, I mean, I guess you'll play in the Galakron deck. Next one is 2 mana 2/2, Envoy of Lazul. Battle Cry, look at 3 cards, guess which one is in your opponent's hand to get a copy of it. So, I mean, you get to see what your opponent's playing early if you don't really know. Like if they're, some kind of Paladin deck and you look and you're like, okay, let me look at these 3 options. I guess this one. Right, okay, I know what kind of Paladin they're playing. Information's always pretty important, but, I mean, does this make the cut in any priest deck?
Well, Glimmerroot did back in the day. Glimmerroot was pretty good, but I feel like a 3-mana 3/3 is... For some reason, it feels a lot stronger than 2-mana 2/2. I don't know why.
I agree with that.
Just for some reason, 3/3 is like my breakpoint for good like value. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty underwhelming. Pretty underwhelmed with this card. It just doesn't. I think I'm gonna give it a 1. I just don't. I don't know. It's just 2/2 is so weak. Like
it's not even like a 2/3. It's not even a River Croc.
I guess it replaces itself at least.
I mean, sometimes. What if you guess wrong?
If you guess wrong, that's just embarrassing.
I mean, you don't know, man. Maybe you get like the Warrior 1-drop, and it gives you like the Pirate option, and then the Control option. You're like, oh, well, he didn't play a 1-drop, so he's got to be Control.
This card's like really bad when you're climbing to Legend because you play against all those random decks. But like once you get to Legend, I feel like you could reliably guess. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Okay. Alright, next one is Fate Weaver. Is a 4-mana 3/6 dragon. Battle Cry, if you've invoked twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. So, I mean, stat line's good. You can tempo it out if you need to. Doesn't have any special like taunt or anything, but if you've invoked twice, reduce all the cards in your hand by 1. I mean, it's got potential, but I just don't see you invoking this card before like turn 4. I don't know. I think it's okay. I'll give it a 2, but I don't see it happening.
I just don't think the payoff's really there. It's not like, I mean, I guess if once you add all these random crappy priest minions to your hand, Might be nice to
I know, right?
a
It's
little
just
bit.
like, oh, that's so rough because that priest one had potential. I wish it was better.
I mean, this card's such a waste. It is such an amazing art. It is such a nice stat line. It's a dragon. It's nicely costed, and then the battle cry is just like, why? Why did you make that the battle cry?
Yeah, that's fair. So what do you give it?
I'm giving it a 1. I don't even think this is a skip.
You don't think the art could save it?
It's close. I mean, the art disappoints me more than makes me feel good.
Speaking of good art, though, this next one, 3 mana, 3/3, Mind Flayer, Karj, or Kraj, I don't know how to pronounce that. Battle Cry, choose an enemy minion, Death Rattle, summon a new copy of it. So, you know, they've got that huge 12/12 Deathwing that they killed your old board with, and you play it, and then death it, and now you have a 12/12. What do you think?
This card is nuts. It's like absurdly pushed, and it feels kind of random. I don't really know why they chose to like push this 3/3 so hard. But yeah, like you said, just copying a big minion, even on curve, like even if you just play it and just copy like a 3/4 or something, getting a 3 mana 6/7 in stats. It's also really awkward for your opponent to play around because like they don't really want to kill it, but at the same time, like they don't want to let you choose to where to put the 3 damage. So not only are you going to get like a nice minion when it dies, but you're also, I think, a lot of times going to get to dictate where the 3 damage goes. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. But
yeah, I originally was gonna give it a 3, but I have to give it a 4.
It's kind of it kind of reminds me of Bloodsworn Mercenary. Like when Bloodsworn Mercenary was revealed, that was like one of the few cards I gave a 5 out of the last set, just because it's so absurdly powerful. But at the same time, it's like it's in Warriors. So where is this going exactly? Like if this card was in an aggro class, like if this is like for some reason a Hunter card or a Shaman card or even like a Warlock card, it would just be like so busted because they have other insane tempo tools, and this card alongside it would just be like way too big of a power spike too early on. But it's in Priest, where Priest has like very little tempo options early on, so they get like a really random power spike, but they don't really have anything to combine it with.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Galakron now. Galakron the Unspeakable, 7 mana, 5 armor, just like all the other Galakrons. Battle cry, destroy 1 random enemy minion if you want to upgrade it. If you invoke twice, you upgrade it. The battle cry or the hero power is Galakron's Wit. Add a random priest minion to your hand. And the next one is destroy 2, and then destroy 4 to equip the claw. And of course, the claw. So this guy right here, I mean, I at least like that his battle cry affects the board. It does something good, kind of like Anduin, but the hero power is lackluster, and you have to like upgrade it, and the invoke cards aren't that good.
Yeah, I think I might have been too generous on the other ones.
I want to give it like, I want to give it a 2.
I can give it a 2 as well. It's just a kind of a conditional AoE. I don't know. I think Priest Galakron overall is pretty underwhelming. I'm actually, I should probably go back and flip flop my ratings for Priest and Rogue, because I think Rogue Galakron cards at least like get me more excited to build around. Like the payoff for Rogue is actually there, whereas the payoff for Priest is like, all right, cool, you killed a bunch of shit, but like, what are you going to do at the end? There's no N'Zoth to like pull you in, right? There's no like.
Yep.
I don't know. There needs to be something more. Like Priest needed a finisher in order for Control Priest to like.
And adding random Priest minions to your hand, I don't think is a finisher.
Yeah.
Let me. And maybe if you get a bunch of Katrina Muertes, you keep playing them, like you'll eventually end the game. But
there's that random Priest legendary that summons all minions that didn't start in your hand. So like. But like you have to play so many bad cards. Like that card sucks. You have to play these shitty like Galkaron cards. Like you have to play so many bad cards just to make this worth it. And at the end of the day, that's probably not going to be worth it.
Alrighty, so let's get to the most interesting Priest card. A lot of people have been talking about 8 mana, 8/8 dragon, Morazond the Infinite, battle cry. Play all cards your opponent played last turn. So I mean, you can do everything from play a huge board that they had played. To, they played Dr. Boom last turn. Let me go ahead and copy that and see what I can get. What do you think about this?
This card is nuts. Like
I like it a lot.
It's also impossible to play around. Like, what are you going to do? Just not play your best cards in your hand?
I just pass back and forth. Like, he'll play something.
Yeah, like it's impossible to play around. So like, what I don't know. This card's just going to get people sometimes. You can also hold it in your hand and just wait for that perfect moment. You can just get the perfect swing back. To me, this is like kind of the linchpin that Dragon Priest needed. It's I think Dragon Priest is going to end up being about playing like big minions on curve, like playing Fire Tree into Scale Worm into
Okay.
this guy basically. I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah, I give it a 4 as well. I think this has potential, especially because like even like a slower priest deck, like you have the chance to like dictate when this card gets played, like especially in certain matchups. Like let's say your opponent played like I don't know, their Shaman Galakron, and you just copy that and then get the 2/8/8s and
exactly.
start doing stuff. So I definitely think it has potential. Alrighty.
I think my camera froze.
No, you're good now. Don't worry about it. It was just Galakron. Getting back at you for everything. So now we move on from Priest to the neutral cards. We are done with all the classes. Again, you want to look at how we've rated these classes so far, go ahead and type in ! ratings. You will go ahead and see how wrong I am and how right. Well, actually, bloodyface and I have been pretty like consistent. We have not like really had too many arguments on any of these cards. So it either means that bloodyface is now washed up or I am getting better. It's one of the two. All right, let's get into these neutral cards. First one, we're gonna go through the commons first. Is 1 mana 2/2 Blazing Battle Mage. That is it. No special text. I'm gonna give it a 2 because it is a 2/2.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2 as well. I mean, I do appreciate that they're starting to kind of let 1-drops make a comeback, because for a while there, 1 and 2 drops in Hearthstone were just so underwhelming, and we're stuck playing like mid-range and like infinite value decks. But at the same time, they didn't want to like fall back into the mistakes they made in the past where we had Mana Worm and Tunnel Trog. So I think 1 mana 2/2 is a good balance. I think it's a new benchmark for 1-drops, and I think I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I always liked, like, as weird as it is, like, I don't want to talk about this card too much, but I've always liked just seeing, like, a good 1-drop, like Small Time Buccaneer and, like, Dire Mole, and, like, the cool 1-drops, like, the neutral ones were just so cool, because they're, like, flexible, you never know what they're going in. So even if this card doesn't really get played much, it's still just cool to see that they're willing to put, like, 1-mana cards that could be decent, because this just reminds me of Enchanted Raven, which could be good enough. All right, next one, another good 1-drop. 1 mana 1/2 Hot Air Balloon. At the start of your turn, gain +1 health. So, I mean, maybe potential combo priest card, maybe just a potential, play it in a tempo deck. What do you think about this one?
I think it probably will likely fit in a Highlander deck, like Highlander Paladin. It's not as good as Beaming Sidekick, but it's hard to be as good as Beaming Sidekick because Beaming Sidekick is so good.
Really good.
This is a nice card to like build on. I say Highlander Paladin because like if you like put buffs on it, like blessings and stuff on it, then it starts scaling a little bit better. So it's definitely playable. I'll give it a 2.
I give it a 3. I think it's got potential. I just like cards like this, especially when they have like an infinite ceiling, where it's just like if this thing keeps living, like you blessings.
I don't know if your audio cut out or if you muted yourself.
My audio may have cut out. Can you hear me? All right, let me try this real quick.
Yeah.
All right, let's try that again. Can you hear me?
I still can't hear you. Oh no.
I'm not sure if anyone can.
Are you guys hearing audio issues as well, or is it just me?
Because I can hear you. All right, they can hear me on stream. I can hear you. They hear me.
I can hear you now.
All right, there we go. We're back. Yeah, he probably heard me give that. He probably heard me. Bloodyface. He probably heard me give that card a 3 and didn't want to hear me anymore. So I don't blame you.
Oh, you really like that card? Wow.
Yeah, I gave it a 3. So I don't blame you. If you heard half my card reviews, that's probably why. So I think we're good now. We can continue on.
Okay, cool.
Let's go ahead and pull those cards back up again. We're just at Hot Air Balloon. I think the next one up is Evasive Chimera. I'm not sure what that one is. Just need those cards to be pulled up whenever you're ready. Production.
I'm good. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think we're both good. There we go. Perfect. Next one. Evasive Chimera. 2 mana 2/1 Beast. Poisonous. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. I mean, it's kind of cool. I think it's a good arena card. I don't know if it'll be good in the standard set. I think it'll be like a good tool if like Mage gets popular. You play this, like you said, you can play it into your opponent's Twilight Drake turn, prevent them from doing that. I mean, I think it's got potential, but I'm gonna give it a 2 for now. I don't think it's like super good. Probably a good arena card though.
Yeah, I agree with the 2. It's kind of like Stubborn Gastropod, which saw a little bit of play in Even Lock, but this might see a little bit of play in Highland Hunter maybe.
Yeah, maybe just like
probably doesn't need it though with the Poisonous Dragon.
Fair enough. All right. I think 2 is a solid rating for that one. Alrighty, here's a cool one. 2-mana 2/2 pirate, Parachute Brigand. After you play a pirate, summon this minion from your hand. So Patches 2.0. What do we think about this one? You can draw from some cards. You know, if you're playing the rogue version, you can get some insane tempo early on. You can draw it with Raiding Party as well. I think it's got some potential.
Yeah, I think that like I would like to see this more in the warrior build because you have the new ship's cannon that deals 2 extra damage. So I think just getting a 0-mana 2/2 is it's just not that good. Like we have Enchanted Raven as a neutral now, which is just 1-mana 2/2. This is like basically the same thing, but like it could be plus or minus 1 mana. And right now I think there's only one drop pirate for rogue. There's just the new one that was spoiled.
The new one, yep.
So I just don't think there's really enough support for it.
Okay.
I could see this being really good in wild though, especially in the pirate warrior in wild, where you have the anchor now, and you also have Bloodseal Cultist, and you just have a lot more better pirates. So
it sounds like
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay, I gave it a 3 because I'd like to see this card's potential. And the one thing with this card though is like you can't really compare it to Patches, although it has a similar effect. Because the reason
my
Patches
audio
was
keeps
so...
cutting out. Hold on.
Alrighty, well I'm gonna keep talking about it because I'm
hear
pretty sure
you.
the stream can hear me. So bloodyface fixes that issue. Just because, you know, it's
Okay.
a free pirate. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I'm just gonna mute Discord and keep Skype up because Discord keeps bugging out. All right, I think I'm good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we're good now.
Alright, perfect. Sounds good. I was just gonna say, like, last comment on this card was that it's not like you can't compare it to Patches because Patches came from the deck. It's a free card. This one you have to have in your hand, so it's kind of like you just get this card on the board for free. You don't necessarily get a free card. That's my only like 2 cents on that there. Let's go ahead and move on. Tasty Flyfish, 2-mana 2/2 Murloc. Death Rattle, give a dragon in your hand +2/+2. I don't think it's that good. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool card though. Pretty cool art.
Yeah, dude, I love the art on this card. This card's so cute. This card's art's great. It's just like dragons are big enough. You don't need to give them +2/+2. Like the best thing you hit is like a fairy dragon, and like at that point you should have played the fairy dragon over this card.
This card buffing Nightmare Amalgam is pretty good.
Ooh, okay, all right.
That was the only.
There's some potential.
It's the only thing I can see though.
You put this. You put it in a Murloc deck, and your only dragon is the Nightmare.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Firehawk, another one of Raven's top 3 cards in the set. 3-mana 1/3 Elemental. Battlecry, gain +1 attack for each card in your opponent's hand. I don't think it's super bad. I think it's got potential. I'm definitely not gonna say it's one of the better cards of the set. I'm gonna give it a 2.
I'm giving it a 1. I don't.
I give it 2 just because, like, if you're playing against like a control deck and they have like let's say something like Handlock and they're like life tapping, and then you just play this on 3 and it instantly has like an insane like you're playing like an aggro deck and you play this on 3, like it has potential. I don't think it's like super strong though. It's like seems pretty situational. So I think it could be good. If depends on like how the meta is. Like like I said, you play a mid range deck, you play this on 3. It's like a 6/3, and they have to answer it. If they don't, they get hit for 6. So that's my opinion on it.
Fair enough. I just can't think of a single deck that I want to put this in.
That's probably the hard part though. Is like what decks do you put it in? Maybe a Highlander, maybe an aggro deck. You never know. Alright, next one. 3-mana 3/3. Gobbo Glide Tech. Gobo. It's like Bogo, buy one, get one free. Gobbo Glide Tech. Battlecry, if you control a mecha game, +1/+1 in Rush. So it has potential to be a 4/4. With Rush, it does work with, the Paladin one. You know, that 3-mana 1/2. You can play this afterwards, get Rush. I want to say it's only really good if you curve it out, though. I don't think it's, like, better on 4.
I feel like we've come a long way. Tinkertown, Tinkmaster back in the day, and GBG was a 3-man 3/3, became a 4/4, and it gave you a spare part, and that card was like a staple in all the mech decks. Now I struggle to see like any like Mech Hunter is one of the only mech decks I know of, and I don't think Mech Hunter would even play this. Because the strength of all the mechs right now is like War Gear and Replicating Menace, and just basically getting pseudo charge damage out of them, and this card just kind of goes in a different direction, goes like in a trading direction. Like sure you get above average stats, but I don't know.
I give it a 1.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 1 as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like good on 3. I mean, maybe you play like the upgradable Framebot into this, and it's like decent, but then again, like why am I not just like magnetizing something on like a spider bomb onto my frame bot. So yeah. All right, next one. I think this is like I don't know how good it is. But this is like one of my favorites of the set because I think it's really cool. 3-mana 3/4 elemental, living dragon breath. Your minions can't be frozen. So, what do you think? You don't think it's that good? You think it's good? Like, what's your thought on this one?
I think it's a pretty niche card. This card would have been great for Master Tour Soul, where I remember there's a group of players that played Quest Druid back when everyone was playing Mage. And Quest Druid's biggest weakness was that your minions would keep getting frozen, and the Mage would develop. And I remember that like the group of like I think it was like Killing All Day and like Papa Jason, they actually played the 2-mana 2/3 silence adjacent minions just to unfreeze them. So I think they would have appreciated playing this card over just like something that literally is only there to silence your own minions. So yeah, I think for that reason, I'll give it a 2 because I think it's been proven that this type of effect can be useful. But overall, unless it's like for a specific tech scenario, I don't think it's going to be that good.
I think it's pretty cool how like you're playing against like something like Freeze Mage or they have Frost and have a Doomsayer, and it's turn 4, and you're like you got this Zulok board, and you're like all right, living dragon breath, and then they look at it and they probably cry in the inside, realizing they can no longer Frost over Doomsayer you because they've been waiting for that turn for turn 5. So I gave it a 2 as well for that very reason.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, next one, 3-mana 3/3 Scale Rider. Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, deal 2 damage. Seems pretty good for dragon decks.
It's basically the SI7 agent for dragons, which, as we know, SI7 agent's been a staple. It's been cut here and there, and I kind of see the same thing happening for Scale Rider. It's not going to fit in every dragon deck, but I think for the more aggressive ones, it's going to see play. So
I give it a 3.
I think I'll give it 3 as well.
Yeah. And Monsanto for Living Dragon Breath. I'm not actually sure if it unfreezes your minions. It just says your minions can't be frozen. I don't exactly know because we never had an effect like that. Do you know if it unfreezes or not, Bloodyface?
It can't be frozen. I mean, just by the word.
I would assume that they would stay frozen if they already were. Maybe not. I don't know.
I feel like that's true. I think the wording is misleading. I think if you take it literally, they should be unfrozen, but I think they would have specified that if that was the case.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if anyone had chat has like a source or anything, just let us know. All right, we'll move back on into it. Devoted Maniac, 4-mana 2/2, Rush, Battlecry, Invoke Galakron. So I think overall, I would say this card's fairly weak. I guess it depends on which Galakron deck you want to put it in. I think the best one might be like Shaman, because then you get a 4-mana 2/2 and a 4-mana 2. You get a 2/1 as well.
I think that just shows how powerful Shaman is. Just like that, you're actually fine invoking, whereas all the other ones, this is very underwhelming. I think I'm going to give it a 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not really care for this card. It's like you only played in Shaman, and even then you have like much more powerful ones.
Yeah,
you just wait an extra turn and get the 3/3.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next one. This one's pretty cool. 4-mana 5/4 Dragon, Evasive Feywing. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. So it is a big fairy dragon.
I really like this card.
I like it too. I don't know how good it is, but I like it.
I don't think it's going to see very much play. I think specifically the only deck that comes to mind is Highland Hunter. Because Highland Hunter has those dragon synergies, but also wants to have an aggressive slant to it. So I think this card fits perfectly for that. But I think a lot of these other dragon decks, they would rather just be playing Scale Worm instead. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 2. But I think
I give it a 2 as well. I do like that they're doing this, like they're testing around with this can't be targeted. Alrighty, Hippogriff, 4-mana 2/6 Beast, Rush, and Taunt. So we haven't really seen Rush and Taunt put together. I don't know how powerful it is together, but I'm going to give it a 1. I don't think it's that strong. But
I agree. I think Amani Warbeast was the last one.
Okay, but that was like that was like overly powered on stat wise. Like 7-mana 5/7 was actually pretty decent for Taunt and Rush.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good 4-mana 2/6 is because I feel like this isn't really killing anything.
Yeah. Just arena filler.
Yeah, probably. Alrighty, 4-mana. I mean, the set has to have filler eventually, right? Like you can't. Yeah. So 4-mana 3/3 Troll Bat Rider. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. I think this is arena filler. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna give it a 1.
It's arena filler.
All right, let's keep moving on then. Maybe like a couple of these that we just give 1s because It's kind of self-explanatory, I think. Alrighty, Wing Commander, 4 mana 2/5 has +2 attack for each dragon in your hand. So this could be a 4 mana 2/5. This could be a 4 mana 4/5. This could be a 4 mana 6/5. What do you think on this one? Because I think this one's actually a little bit more interesting. I'm still only going to give it a 2 though.
I'm gonna give it a 1. It's just not good enough. Like, I'd rather play Scale Worm if I have a dragon in my hand.
But think about the dream of having 10 dragons in your hand, or like 9 dragons, and this thing is big. Think about that. Like,
and they don't have removal for it.
Yes.
I just somehow have 9 or 10 cards in hand, and
you have a 4 mana 25, and then you hit them.
Maybe you could like use this with Warsong Commander, like pre-nerf Warsong Commander. But,
I know, right?
The charge trigger actually works.
That'd be hilarious. All right, we're getting to your favorite card of the set.
Yes.
Big ol' whelp.
Yes.
5 mana 5/5 dragon, battle cry, draw a card. Can't get any more vanilla than that.
I mean,
what do you give it?
There's so many 5s on it, I have to give it a 5.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, originally I was going to give it a 4, but when I was like building decks for this set, I just could not help myself. Like, this is like a 2 of in every deck I built. Might be right, might be wrong, but if you guys remember Azure Drake back in the day, that was a pillar of the format. It pretty much made its way into every mid-range deck, and I mean, who doesn't want to draw cards? Like, it's also dragon, so it works with a lot of dragon synergies, and then on top of that, it's like they have to answer a 5/5, you know, or you don't have to answer it, but 5/5 is a pretty big chunk, so
yeah, he's big old. He's big old whelp. He's not one of them typical whelps. He's not a whelp you see from Leroy. Like, he's big. So yeah, no, I give it a 4. I don't think it's quite 5 level, but I can see your logic behind it. All right, let's move on to Plate Breaker. This one's the one that everyone's been talking about because they're so excited for it. You can finally control Warrior, and finally, you put the rest here. 5 mana 5/5. Battle Cry, destroy your opponent's armor. So no more armor Druid, no more armor Warrior. Pretty situational though.
Yeah, to me this is just a combo card. Like, specifically like Shirvala Paladin against Control Warrior, you can just have a way to take off all their armor and actually still OTK them. And like maybe Priest as well. Priest might have an issue with like high armor counts. Basically any deck that's like kind of a control deck that needs a way to kill Warrior. And at least it's a 5 mana 5/5, so it's not too dead, I would give it a 2.
Yeah, I gave it a 2 as well because I think it will see play, like if Control Warrior gets out of hand, but I don't think it'll be something that you'll see like in a lot of decks. Like, it seems very situational.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next one. 5 mana 4/5. Shield of Galakron. Taunt, Battle Cry, Invoke Galakron. I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't see this because so here's my opinion on the neutral ones, and like you can step in at any point if you think I'm wrong about this. But the neutral ones don't seem like they're insanely powerful to invoke Galakron for the most part, and all the invokes on Galakron really aren't worth it. I think the best ones are like Shaman, of course, and then Warrior. But in those decks, like, you've already got pretty decent like invoke ones that aren't neutral, so you can like start using other cards rather than this 5 mana 4/5 with taunt. So I'm gonna give this a 1, but I could see it being played in some of the Galakron decks.
I think this is just for people that can't afford the premier Galakron versions and they need something budget. That's how I see it.
All right, can't argue with that. All right, next one. 6 mana 6/6 mech camouflage dirigible. Do you know how to say that word? Because I'm really bad at pronunciations.
Dirigible.
Floating camouflage.
It's definitely not like E sounding. It's definitely A.
Alrighty. Battle Cry. Give your other mech stealth until your next turn. I'm gonna give it a 1. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I don't think it's that good.
Yeah, I agree with the 1.
Alrighty. Next one. 6 mana 5/3 dragon. Evasive Worm. Divine Shield. Rush. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. I think it's a 1. Maybe not. I mean, there's like Argent Commander. Argent Commander is 6 mana 4/2 charge Divine Shield, and that's all play. But that goes face, and this has to trade initially. So maybe it's better than I think it is, but I still want to give it a 1.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little bit bigger stats than Argent Commander. I don't know. I don't really know what deck it would fit in. I think there's still other better dragons. Might see play after Scaleworm rotates out, maybe. I don't know.
And maybe you can compare it a little bit to Firelands.
Actually, no, I
I
changed my mind. It's a 1. I changed my mind.
Oh, even with the Firelands Portal comment?
No, I think I'm being too generous. I think I do this sometimes after a long stat review.
You start getting more generous?
I start getting either too optimistic or too pessimimistic.
That's
I think
me.
in this case I'm being too optimistic.
I'm just like, nope. 1.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next one. 6 mana, 4/5 mech, Gyrocopter, Rush Wind Fury. I think the only other Rush Wind Fury minion we've seen has been the Floating Fountain, and that was really good, but it also has a 4/8 with Lifesteal.
Oh yeah.
So does this, make the cut anywhere?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Definitely a 1.
It's a 1.
Or Gyrocopter. He's no like copter earlier. What was the other copter's name that was so cute? Helicopter. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That one's a 5.
There's the Paladin one too. Does that summon copters?
Yes, that's the one that summons the copters. His little mech, little like cute little thing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Let's keep moving through. Almost done with the set. We've made pretty good time so far. These sets always take, quite a bit of time, but let's see what we can keep doing. Alrighty. I think this is one of the last common ones. There might be a couple more. Evasive Draconoid. 7 mana, 7/7 dragon. Taunt. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. I think it's a 1.
Really?
To
me, this is at least a 2.
You think so? I don't see what it gets played in.
I might just be thinking too much about his counterpart. I think Sogoth was its name. There's like a 9 mana 5/9
with the can't be targeted.
Yeah, and that's all played at the end of the meta. It was more of a role player because in certain matchups, it was just very hard for certain decks to like get past it. And I think something similar could be said for Evasive Draconoid. I could see it maybe as like a 1 of in Highlander Mage or something. I mean, it's just like you play it against any mid-range aggro deck, and it's like they have to trade minions into it.
It's true. I'm still gonna give it a 1. I'm not very optimistic about this card, but I was a Sogoth enthusiast. I did play Sogoth back in the day, so maybe I'm being hypocritical here. Alright, moving on to the next one. It is Twin Tyrant. 8 mana, 4/10 dragon. Battlecry, deal 4 damage to 2 random enemy minions. This card's hard to evaluate, but I still want to give it a 1.
Yeah, I think it's a 1. 8 mana is just too much.
Yeah, this is where I start getting pessimistic about the set. I'm just like, everything's a 1 at this point.
Well, that's what happens when you look at neutrals. You can either be pessimistic in the beginning or you at the end. I mean, 9% of neutrals are just unplayable.
This one's probably good in Arena, though.
Oh, this is like
it's probably insane in Arena.
Because the Kraken, the 9 mana 9/7 deal 4 is like every time I play Arena Tracker's like you must pick this no matter what.
Arena Tracker's gonna be like 100 best card.
Like different minions, so and has 10 health.
Alrighty, now we're getting into the rares. First one is 1 mana 0/5 Depth Charge. At the start of your turn, deal 5 damage to all minions. So it is the new Doomsayer. I still want to give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't think I've ever wanted to play 3 Doomsayers, and I especially don't want to play a 3rd Doomsayer if it's a lot worse. Like the problem is like the mana discount isn't doing anything, right? Like it's not like if Doomsayer is 1 less mana, it'd be so much better. Like
I guess the only thing is like if there's like an insane pirate turn, maybe like if they get the 1/1 and the 2/2, and then I mean maybe, but like then at that point,
I guess
if they get answered,
I guess for like Highlander decks.
Maybe, yeah. So they can play 2
Doomsayers. If you only can run 1 Doomsayer, you might want to run this, but I don't know.
Alright. I think that's fair. I give it 2. Alrighty. 2 mana, 2/3. Dragon Breeder. Battlecry, choose a friendly dragon, add a copy of it to your hand. So, I mean, it's got potential. If there's a dragon you really want in your hand.
I really want Malygos in my hand. I also really want the Warlock one as well.
The 4/12?
Yeah.
Or the 5/5. Which one?
The 5/5.
Either. Okay.
But mostly for Malygos. And also copying like Big Ol' Whelp isn't bad either. I think I'm gonna give this guy a 3.
I'm gonna give him a 2. I think like I see what you're saying. Like there's some good dragons to have multiple copies of, but then again, you have to be playing this in your deck on top of like. I mean, maybe it's better because you can play it on turn 2 just in case if you're in like playing an aggro matchup. Just put a 2/3 out there. It's got potential, but I don't see it being played over certain other cards. I'm gonna give it a 2.
That's definitely fair.
Alrighty, next one. 3 mana, 4/3 Beast, Bad Luck Albatross, Death Rattle. Shuffle 2 1/1 Albatross into your opponent's deck, and the Albatross are just 1 mana 1/1s. This card seems powerful. I don't know, 3 mana 4/3 is decent. You know, you shuffle 2 dead cards into your opponent's deck. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, obviously it's here to like counter Reno strategies or Highlander strategies, but I don't know. Like, what deck actually wants to add this to their deck? Like, it's just one of those things that it's hard to know without the context of the format. If this card was around when last format, like there was Malygos Druid and there's like other just like value elite Druids for a while, but I feel like even then this card's not good enough because those decks just end up drawing their whole decks anyways, and just adding 2 dead cards, they only need to draw 1 of them before all their stuff's active again. I don't know, but at the same time, it might buy you enough time. Like, to me, I could see this being played in like Highlander Hunter, for example, because the 4/3 stat line and being a beast are both relevant, while also shuffling 2 dead cards can also be relevant because that deck's more about just putting pressure. Yeah, it could like win you the mirror. Like you don't have to worry about them like playing Brand for at least maybe a few turns. I'll give it a 2. Like, it's definitely playable, but it's gonna be a very niche card.
All right, I gave this one a 3. I like it a lot, and I've always loved because like anything to disrupt other like players and what they're doing, I think has always been really cool. So I like it quite a bit. Next one, 4 mana 4/4 Dragon Maw Poacher. Battlecry. If your opponent controls a dragon, gain +4/+4 and rush. Whew. I'm giving this a 4.
I'm giving it a 4 too. Especially with like, I think Big Ol' Whelp will be very popular, even if it's the only dragon played. And even if that's the case, like this card's going to be active a lot of times.
8/3, kill your opponent's 5/5. Like, yeah, I'm taking that.
Yeah, this card is extremely pushed.
It's better than Dragon Slayer, I'd probably say. Like this, oh my gosh.
I think so too.
What a card. Alrighty, we'll go next one. More pirates. 4 mana 4/2 pirate. Horde Pillager. Battlecry. Equip one of your destroyed weapons. Whew. I like this card a lot. I think it's Go ahead.
I like it too. The only issue is like, so this obviously fits more in like Rogue or Warrior, whereas like with Rogue you have the dagger, so reviving the dagger is going to be very sad. So you have potential low roll there. So it makes me feel like more towards Warrior. And if you're only playing good weapons, like if you're only playing like Arcanite Reaper and like maybe a 3 damage weapon, this card's pretty insane. So
yeah, imagine equipping Arcanite. You swing twice with the Arcanite Reaper, you just bring it back with the 4/2. Like that's absurd. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I think it might make some pirate decks.
I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. I think this card's very powerful.
Imagine this back in like Pirate Warrior days, man.
Oh no.
Where like you just play that 3, you just play that 3/2 Fiery War Axe, and like you're done swinging with it.
Oh god.
Like, you don't even need to play Arcanite Reaper at that point. You just play the like,
yeah, right.
That would be nuts. I wonder how this is gonna affect Wild too.
I think this is more of a wild card. But when something's more of a wild card, it shows you how powerful it is. It's more just about the... Yeah, if it had a little bit more support, it would be completely busted.
Alrighty. 4 mana 3/9 Zoldrak Ritualist. Taunt. Battlecry. Summon 3 random 1-cost minions for your opponent. Pretty big taunt, but I mean, what is the average attack of a 1-drop? Maybe like 2 attack. So, you know, if they summon 3 of them, you know, probably is like a 3 mana 3/3 with taunt. I mean, maybe that's... 4 mana 3/3 with taunt. I think it's a 1. I don't think it's that good, but I could be surprisingly wrong on this.
I think it's a 1 as well. At least with Cornered... What is Cornered Sentry? The 2 mana 2/6 warrior card that summon 3 whelps. At least with that one, there's like the combo where you have the 2/2 that gains armor for each minion they have. So unless you have a way to like take advantage of giving them extra minions, it's going to be a very underwhelming effect. And 4 mana is just too expensive. Even for that combo, it's too expensive.
Yeah, you could also give them Depth Charge though and clear their whole board if they're playing Zulok. So that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
That will definitely be in a Trollden highlight video somewhere. So next one up, 5 mana 3/5 Dragon Cobalt Spellkin. Battlecry. Add 2 1-cost spells from your class to your hand. Okay, all right. You gotta look at like 1-cost spells across the classes. Some of them are better than others. Like I would say Shaman ones on average are probably pretty decent. Mage ones are okay, but then you got like some that might not be too powerful. Like maybe even Warrior would be good because you got Shield Slam. Maybe this card's just good.
When I made Dragon Warrior, I think I put one of these in my deck. Just being able to draw up to 2 Shield Slam seems very strong. In Paladin, you can draw 2 Crystologies, but that might be too late for it. To me, this is more just like a Warrior, Dragon Warrior niche card. And I don't know, it might not even be good enough there. 5 mana is a lot to ask for.
That is true.
But I mean, big ol' up's probably just better, right? It's just better stats, and you always draw a card.
I give it a 2. I think it might see some experimentation, but I don't think it'll make the final cut.
Yeah, I'm giving it 2 as well.
All right, next one. Faceless Corruptor. 5 mana, 5/4. Rush, Battlecry, transform one of your minions into a copy of this. So people are saying this might be like the next like Fungalmancer kind of. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, I think it has potential to be solid. I mean, imagine taking a value trade and then just, taking another value trade.
Yeah, I've seen it being compared to Corridor Creeper even, which I don't think it's that strong. 0 mana 5/5 is it does not exist. Whereas with this, it requires you to have a minion in play, so it restricts the type of decks that this fits into. I think like you said, being able to value trade initially is really good. You can also like develop a minion and then give it rush. The problem for me is I don't know what deck this necessarily fits in. Like maybe this card's just
some like Zulok thing.
Yeah, like I don't know. Maybe this card's just strong enough to go in any tempo deck. Like every Highlander deck should just run it, perhaps, except for like maybe Mage or something. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I have trouble seeing where it's going to fit in. I've seen some people even say like Quest Shaman, but even there, I don't think it's that good. I'd rather just play.
Someone said it was good with lackeys. If you play a deck with lackeys, maybe potentially. But then you're playing this on 6. I mean, it's still pretty decent on 6. Like it's pretty good. I gave it a 3. I think it has potential. I think it will see play, but I don't know how much.
I think three's a good number.
Alrighty. Start with that. Next one. Utgard Grapple Sniper. 6 mana 5/5. Battlecry, both players draw a card. If it's a dragon, summon it. I'm going to give this a 1. I think there's potential for this card to blow your opponent out of the water. But you also could draw your opponent's Ysera and put it on the field.
Yeah.
And I do not want to do that. I do not.
I think honestly the best application for that is high rolling against Malygos Druid and just summoning their Malygos.
Oh yeah, and then trying to kill it that same turn. That'd be pretty fun.
That's like the only thing I can think of.
Alright, next one is 2 mana 3/3. 2 mana 3/2. Yeah, I can't speak. It's been a long day. Grizzled Wizard. Battlecry, swap hero powers with your opponent until your next turn. I mean, it's cool. I don't know how good it is. I mean, 2 mana 3/2 is a good stat line.
So I saw a combo on Reddit where you play Major Domo, you play Treachery to give them Major Domo, then you kill it, you put them at 8 life, and then you swap their hero power. So I don't know, maybe a 2 for the memes, but realistically, it's a 1.
I'm gonna give it a 1 as well. Maybe it has applications, but I mean, all right, I'm going into Wild day 1 just to do that to somebody.
If it was a permanent swap, I would be so much more interested in this card. That would be crazy.
I would hate to have like a permanent swap at 2 mana.
If it was like 10 mana, permanent swap. Like you could turn off your
maybe
like Quest Druid, you could just completely destroy their whole deck. I don't know.
you just don't have a hero power for the rest of the game.
You don't have a hero power,
fine with it. But
you don't either, basically. So
you're just like, let's make this game fair again.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, maybe a 10 mana would be fine. All right. 2 mana 2/3. Transmogrifer. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry, I'm so bad with pronunciation. Whenever you draw a card, transform it into a random legendary minion.
I think it's Transmogrifier.
Transmogrifier. Mogrifier? Yep. That sounds good to me. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1, nonetheless.
I don't want to like transform the cards I put into my deck into, worse cards.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I am excited for this one though. 2 mana 3/2. Wormwrist Purifier. Battlecry, transform all neutral cards in your deck into random class from your cards. So, maybe you want to put in some neutral cards into your, Paladin deck, but you just draw this and you get rid of them and you start to work with your other Paladin cards. I don't think that'll be the case. I think you'll naturally build it, but, it gives you some options and versatility.
Yeah, I think I'd rather just put all Paladin cards and just make sure on turn 4 when I've had the True Silver card, I get the True Silver.
I gave it a 1 still, but I think it's cool.
Give it a 1.
I like how they're experimenting with it, if anything. Alrighty, next one. 3 mana 3/4 Blowtorch Saboteur. Battlecry, your opponent's next hero power costs 3. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1.
I was trying to think of where it might see application. Yeah, the 3 mana 4/3 version was. Yeah. But that one like literally said you cannot use your hero power, right? Because that was like your hero power costs 5 extra or something like that, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this one's like if they really wanted to, they could still use the hero power next turn.
I mean, just wow, I can't hero power. Oh no.
no, I played my card I was gonna play anyways. All right, 3 mana 3/4 Beast, Dread Raven. We dreaded Raven's predictions, by the way. Has +3 attack for each other Dread Raven you control.
Wow, that's a good response to his tweet. You need to jump on that.
I know, just oh my god, someone.
That's a perfect response.
Spam it. Just spam it with this picture. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1.
Alright, keep moving on. There's been a lot of 1s in the neutrals. I didn't expect this many 1s, but I guess it makes sense. Alrighty, 5 mana 0/3 Chromatic Egg. Battlecry, secretly discover a dragon, hatch into it, death rattle, hatch. So, you get 3 options of dragons. Maybe it's a 12/12, maybe it's a 3/2. You don't know. What do you think about this card?
Yeah, unplayable. It's just too expensive.
I don't know. I don't want to say unplayable. It probably is too expensive, but imagine just getting the 12/12 off of this and they don't have silence. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 2. Alright, this card, I love this one. I love pirates. 5 mana 4/4 Kobold Sticky Finger. He's a pirate. Battlecry, steal your opponent's weapon. So you don't want to get hit in the face with that Arcanite Reaper anymore. Bam. Just take it and hit them in the face with it.
Can you imagine this in the Q block mirror?
Oh my god.
The Skull of Manarai just like not wanting to play your skull because it could get stolen.
Yeah.
It's so degenerate.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, this card's obviously absurdly powerful. I don't think there's really any weapons we're scared of right now, but
if we're ever scared of weapons, like this card, I'm gonna give it a 3 for that reason. Like I'm
gonna give it a 3 as well. It's definitely gonna impact deck building and like it's gonna impact the meta at some point while this card's legal.
And the cool thing about it is like if you play it like in Warrior, right? Because you have a bad matchup. Like let's say you were playing against Q block. You could just play the 4 mana 2/3. This be the only pirate, and you instantly draw it with the weapon, and then you just play it next turn and override your weapon. Like, because whenever you swing with Inkar, you draw.
Oh, with Inkar. Oh yeah.
So you just guarantee draw this. Like you could put the Inkar in and this card if there's like a really bad enough matchup and tutor it out, which I thought was pretty cool.
Thank God Specialist is not a thing anymore. It's hard to be so not like this card would invalidate like weapons classes, right? Like, could a weapons class ever be tier 1 in Specialist while this card exists?
Probably not.
You're just gonna get massively punished.
You just play like the 7/4 Arcanite Reaper you spent upgrade, and it's like, oh, thanks for 21 free damage. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then they do it back because they've also been teching the card. Alrighty, let's keep moving on. Next one is Skyfin. It is a 5 mana 3/3 Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, summon 2 random Murlocs. 1.
Yeah, it's a 1.
Alrighty, we're almost done. We're getting on to the Legendaries, I think, next. There might be 1 or 2 more epics. 5 mana 6/5 Tentacled Menace. Battlecry, each player draws a card, swap their costs. I'm going to give this a 1.
Yeah.
I think there will be a meme with it, but I don't think it's good.
I agree. 1 as well.
Alrighty, 4 mana 5/4. 4 mana 5/4. Yeah. Battlecry, Frizz, Kindle Roost. Battlecry, reduce the cost of dragons in your deck by 2. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I'm not gonna say it's good.
Really? These cards are insane.
I guess you will play this in every dragon deck, right? And then you'll get a 3 mana big ol' whelp. So
3 mana big ol' whelp and a 3 mana big ol' whelp.
Oh god.
3 mana 3 mana Malygos. Like even the Alex Straza card we haven't gotten to yet. Getting that for 7 mana.
Oh god.
I'm giving this a 4.
That's a 4. You play this, you Barista Lynching it back, and you play it again.
Yeah.
That's the dream right there. Oh my god, you get the 6-mana 4/12 Warlock card.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
yeah,
card's
that's a
really
4.
good.
That's a
Or
4.
also 3-mana 5/5 Hellfire everything.
Oh my
Like
god.
everything's just good.
I'm not looking forward to seeing my opponent. This is gonna be like the new Raza where they play.
Yeah.
I'm
This
like
is
looking at my hand like, damn it.
you're gonna go on HS replay. This is like in its own tier of like mulligans. Like everything else is just like down arrow for this.
Alrighty. Next one up. 6 mana, 6/6. Kronk's Dragonhoof. Battlecry, draw Galakron. If you're already Galakron, unleash a Devastation. The Devastations include Annihilation, which deals 5 damage to all of the minions. Decimation, which deals 5 damage to the enemy hero, and you restore 5 health to your hero. Domination, give all of your other minions +2/+2. Reanimation, which summons an 8/8 dragon with taunt. And here's what the 8/8 dragon with taunt has: some pretty sick artwork. And those are all of the devastations that Kronks can release. I think this card's pretty good if you're going to be playing a Galakron deck.
Yeah, this card's busted.
Give it a.
I'm giving it a 4.
I want to give it a 3 because I don't think Galakron decks will be that good.
I'm just mostly thinking about for Shaman.
But for Shaman, it's absolutely nuts.
Like, especially with Shutterwalk. Just another thing for Shutterwalk to rebuy. Like,
gosh dang it, that's crazy.
It's going to be so hard to beat Shaman if they ever go Galakron to Shutterwalk. Because it's just going to... You have to have, like, 2 AoEs.
That's insane.
It's basically Warrior's the only class that can deal with that, I think. Or maybe
Probably.
Priest. The Priest might be the only other one, but Control Priest isn't really a thing.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm still going to give it a 3, though, because I think it'll only be in Shaman. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be surprised. Alrighty, and that 8/8 dragon, that artwork is sick. Look at
Yeah.
that is sweet.
That's definitely the one you want to hit. I think.
Yeah. Alrighty, next one is Shuma. 7 mana, 1/7. At the end of your turn, fill your board with 1/1 tentacles. I'm going to give it a 1 in the spirit of the 1/1 tentacles.
Yeah, I can't really see. So like
This does die pretty hard.
the
to
only
Mossy Horror.
thing I thought of is like if Meat Wagon was still legal, I could like buff my Meat Wagon up and summon this for like cheat.
that'd be kind of.
I think you need a way to like cheat it out though in order for it to be good.
If you can cheat this out, it's probably decent. But other than that, I mean, maybe you play like a Warlock deck with only 2 minions and you cheat it out.
You can draw it off Crystology.
Oh, now we're
I don't
thinking.
I just feel like there might be some way to cheat it out. I just haven't figured it
Maybe.
out. Maybe someone else will.
Alright, so there's a way to cheat it out and give it a 2. But if not, I'm going to give it a 1. Alright, this is what the tentacle looks like. Dude, this set has really good artwork. I like the artwork on the set of that. Alrighty. Here we go. Another powerful card. Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. 9 mana, 8/8 dragon. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, add 2 random dragons to your hand. They cost 0. And it can add itself. So for Highlander decks, they are going to love this card.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason why I gave the 2-mana 2/3 added dragon to your hand like boosted rating. I feel like a lot of Highlander matchups, like especially Highlander Mage matchups, are going to come down to like who gets Dragon Queen first, and then like if you can rebuy your Dragon Queen, it's just going to be like way too good. Like I don't think you can ever beat like this card twice. There's just too much tempo.
Imagine if you just keep getting this card though, like that. Just like bam, bam, bam.
Can you get this?
You can get
Dragon
this
Queen
from
off
its
Dragon Queen?
battle cry, yeah. Because it says that you just add 2 random dragons, and it's a dragon.
Oh
so
god.
I can't wait for that highlight reel.
I can't wait to just be fucking tilted. I'm gonna get relegated out of GM off of this.
Oh gosh, I gave it a 4 because I think
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good, but I don't think it's 5 worthy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5 worthy either, because you can definitely low roll. But it's
That's true. You get
definitely
like
top one.
Fairy Dragon and something else. Alrighty, and the last card, Sarthavar. We've been playing around with this card quite a bit, so you should know what it does by now. But if not, 9 mana 5/5 demon. Battlecry, choose a friendly minion, add a copy of it to your hand, deck, and battlefield. I'm gonna give this one a 4 because we've already seen it be pretty good in certain decks, and I think it only has room to grow.
Yeah, I think it was good specifically with Kuhn and Shirvala were the 2 cards I
Yes.
saw it. We don't have Kuhn anymore, but we still have Shirvala, which is
And maybe there's
I don't know,
something
I
in
don't-
this, set we are not thinking about that it could do well on.
yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 2. I just don't really it needs
That's
to
fair.
prove itself more to me. If Kuhn was still
Didn't
around,
prove enough already. All right, that's fair. With Kind of Forgotten King, it was like absolutely insane. Like that was I remember doing that. And I was just
Yeah,
like, this just does not feel right. This feels disgusting.
yeah.
Whew.
Kuhn and Evolve probably should never have come back.
No, they definitely shouldn't
Just
have.
though too good.
And I'm pretty sure that is all of the cards. They have all been rated. It only took us 4 hours and 3 minutes if you were timing us. So yeah, though it is mine and Bloodyface's predictions on all these cards. You can go ahead and type in exclamation point ratings if you want to see what we gave each card individually. If you did miss a card earlier, for instance, like you just want to go back and see what we gave the Warrior cards, you can see the average rating between the two of us. I think we were pretty similar on a lot of the cards. So with that, where does this set rank on the sets? Like, is this like a grand tournament, awful, or is this like, probably the best set ever produced by Hearthstone? What do you think?
It's definitely not Grand Tournament. Actually,
we all can agree on that.
I think it's up there with the Knights of the Frozen Throne. I think Knights is still the most powerful set ever released because the Death Knights were just, oh my god, the Death Knights were just insane. And then there are actually just so many other cards that like the Death Knights overshadowed all the other broken cards that were released in that set. But yeah, I think it's probably the second set. I think there's a lot of things about the set that are more balanced, and a lot of things in Knights of the Frozen Thrones ended up getting nerfed because it was a little bit too pushed. Whereas with this, I think there are like 1 or 2 cards I can see getting nerfed. So yeah, I'd say
so we're saying like set. Second most powerful set. Wow, that's pretty high.
Which is still pretty huge. I mean, we've had what, like 15 Hearthstone sets now.
That is quite powerful. Wow. No, I'd have to agree with you. I think it might be in the top like 3 sets most powerful ever. I mean,
and like flavor wise, I mean, people just love dragons. I mean, this is really great for Hearthstone. Between like Battlegrounds coming out and this new set, like for example, my girlfriend Holly, she plays Hearthstone from time to time, but she kind of like fell off of it. But even this new set alone is just like she wants to play it so bad just for the dragons. So anything that appeals to like the casual player aspect, I love.
Yeah, so good artwork, good cards.
Because in the past, it feels like dragons have just not been like good enough, or just like there hasn't been a critical mass of them. And in this set, they wanted to make sure they're like, we will make sure there is enough dragon support. Like, we want you guys to play dragons this time. So I'm happy to see that.
That makes sense. I guess one more question before we, try and wrap this up a little bit. Is there any card you think you could be royally wrong on? If there is any card you think you are spot on? Or is there any card you're hoping surprises you with how good it is? Like, do you have any opinions on that?
I think the card I might be the most wrong on was either the Paladin, get the True Silver, or the 7/7. Like those two are just so insanely powerful, and maybe I'm overrating how hard it is to build a deck with those cards. And then I think the other one I might be underrating is the Rogue Galcaron.
The Rogue Galcaron cards. Okay.
Yeah, we've already seen infinite value Rogue with Shark before, so I think we might be able to see another version of that with Galcaron. Like maybe they play Spirit of the Shark and they can like play Life Drinkers, and maybe Galcaron's just another way for them to go over the top. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty spot on about Big Old Wealth, though.
That's the only one you need to be spot on about. Alrighty, Bloodyface. Well, it has been a lot of fun. Who would you like to shout out, plugs you would like to put in here before we leave this set review?
I guess I just want to plug my stream, my Twitter. You already see it at the bottom. At BloodyfaceHS is my Twitter. Stream is also twitch.tv/BloodyfaceHS. I stream some Battlegrounds, mostly I stream ladder. So if you want to like watch competitive gameplay, I'll be streaming a lot once the new set comes out. I'll also be streaming my prep for Arlington too. So if you want to see what that's like, you can tune in.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that'd probably be really exciting to see. So go check it out. I'm sure you'll be out of standard when that a new set drops tomorrow. So thank everybody for coming out and watching. The only thing I have to plug is my Twitter, DrJikininki. You can go ahead and follow it there. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching the Tempo Storm Descent of Dragon set review. I'm sure there'll be VODs up later on YouTube onto the Tempo Storm channel. If you would like to go check that out and see how we, discussed the cards and what we rated them. But other than that, I think that's everything from us. Thank you so much for coming out and enjoying our time. And have fun playing the cards tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody.